Sup Nerds, welcome to the Drunk Bolter Podcast! Hey! Ooh.
Hey.
Ah.
Whoa.
Hey. Ooh. Alright, and that is our official Drunk Bolter theme song, Cumbia Mexican Banda by Julius H., 17-year-old keyboarder who arranges and plays their music conventionally. Thank you, Julius H., for specifically allowing anyone to use your music for free. And again, that is Cumbia Mexican Banda by Julius H. Now, here on the Drunk Bolter Podcast, we like to start everything off with a drink. And this new segment is brought to you by Kilroy200 from the North Georgia 40K Discord. Kilroy200, who I have it on good authority, is a big fan of the Imperial Guard. This is Drinks Before Dice. So I am Grandmaster Lager. Here with me today,
Imperial IPAgent.
Imperial IPAgent. What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking Monday Night Space Lettuce Double IPA. Reminds me of the Grots because they're green.
Space lettuce for the Grots. You drink them, you eat them, you love them.
Yeah.
For me, to go with my outfit today, and in honor of our ignominious Lord Regent, Robert's girly man, I'm drinking Michelob Ultra. For superior tacticians, a superior light beer. All right.
Only 98 calories.
Only 98
95.
calories. And only 2.6 carbs. The lion could never.
Cheers.
Cheers. And with that, we're going to get to the purpose of our show today, Imperial Agent Stout, which is to do our rankings for all the Grotmas Detachments, all 30 Grotmas Detachments. Some might say we're a little late and the media cycle's moved on to the Imperial Guard Codex. And to that I say, we're still doing it.
We're doing it
And
anyway.
then we're going to do the Guard one next week, all right? So that's what we're doing.
Tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
But, we're not going to do just like these other podcasts. We're not going to do S tier and A tier. We're going to go on a Drunk Bolter TM trademarked ranking system, officially trademarked, you heard it here first, from hammered all the way down to sober. So, if an attachment's really lame, no one really wants to hang out with it, it's complaining all the time, we're going to put that attachment where it belongs in the sober ranking. If you're kind of feeling an attachment a little bit, but he's not really serious about what he's doing, if he's just kind of dipping his toes into playing the game, we're going to call that attachment buzzed. If you're feeling attachment a little bit, you're starting to feel an attachment.
Yes.
You're not fully feeling it, but you're starting to feel it. We're going to call that attachment tipsy.
Tipsy.
If an attachment is really kind of, he's getting there.
It's getting hot.
He's getting there. It's getting a little hot in here. He's walking into the bar. You're hoping he didn't bring his keys. You hope he's not driving home. We're going to call that attachment loaded. And if an attachment is absolutely prepared to drop to the floor on all knees, throw up, eat it in public, get up and order another drink, ready to dominate the meta of the competitive scene, what are we going to call that attachment?
It's hammered.
It's going to be
Of
hammered.
course.
Has to be hammered. And so we're gonna kind of just jump right into it. So I've made painstakingly crafted an almost 200-page PowerPoint that says the exact same things that you can already say without me having to write it on the Warhammer site, but it's on a PowerPoint, and that's how we're going to do this presentation. So without further ado, the Drunk Bolter 2024 Grotmas Rankings Show. Oh, and I think just as a rule to spice things up, anytime we say an attachment's hammered, Imperial Agent Stout, we have to chug what's the rest of our drinks.
That's right.
That's what we're doing. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Here's our Drunk Bolter logo, designed by my very talented wife. The 2024 Grotmas Rankings. Now, on the first day of Grotmas, what did the Red Gobbo give to us, Imperial Agent Stout?
The Death Guard Flyblown Host Attachment.
Stinky. And now,
smell from here. Oh.
As a part of, going the detachment, I know a lot of you guys watching this already know all about this stuff, but we're going to make the video so that anyone can watch it. So we're going to do a brief overview of the army rule so that everyone watching this video is going to understand how that army rule then interacts with the new detachment rule. So starting off with Death Guard's army rule, there's some stinky boys, aren't they, Imperial Agent Stout? They frickin' reek. And because they stink for 3 inches in the first battle round, they stink for 6 inches in the second battle round, and they stink for 9 inches in the third battle round, meaning they have an aura of that many inches in that battle round and onwards, And if an enemy unit is in that aura, they get -1 toughness.
Yeah.
All right, that's what Death Guard get no matter what detachment they choose. Now, in this detachment, the Flyblown Host detachment, the detachment rule is Verminous Haze. And that the base detachment rule is that Death Guard infantry units that aren't within transports get Scout 5 inches and stealth. That's not bad. It's not bad, especially considering, Death Guard infantry are the slowest infantry in the game.
They're slow.
4
inches.
They all move 1 inch less than they should. The power armor models move 5 inches. Foxwalkers move 5 inches instead of 6. Terminators moving 4 inches, extremely slow. This kind of makes the Terminators and the boys out, like it's saying, outside of transports. That's because the meta has been just Plague Marines and Rhinos, essentially, because they can't get out the board any other way. This kind of allows them to at least get a head start, a 5-inch scout head start, and if that puts them in a bad position, they do have stealth, which kind of, -1 to hit at range kind of helps make up for the fact that they're no longer in the transports protecting them. They do get the -1 to hit coming in them. Yeah. So it is nice.
Much needed buff for that.
It's a nice way to kind of, especially for the Terminators that were almost entirely unplayable without doing a rapid ingress, to make them a little more playable. Getting into the enhancements, we have the Droning Chorus, 15 points. An infantry model gives his unit assault on all ranged weapons. That's not great for Death Guard. They have like a plasma gun in a Plague Bearer squad, but usually their shooting's not too much red home out for the infantry. No. Insectile Murmuration, 20 points. Infantry model, if the unit attacks a target in contagion, you reroll a wound roll of 1. That is actually really good because remember, they're minusing their toughness. So a Man Reaper, which I think is strength 8 or strength 6, you're wounding a Space Marine that's down to T3 because of your aura on 2s now, rerolling 1. So that is actually really, really good to put on your character leading in either of your flavor of Terminator units or even on basic Plague Marines. But you would probably put this on a Terminator Lord or a Lord of Virulence. All right, then we go on to the Rejuvenating Swarm.
3 times fast.
This one's kind of a cute one. It's only 10 points. So it's kind of a fill out the list. But if an infantry model, a character is partially damaged at any phase, in the end of the phase, he regains all his lost wounds. Yeah. So the Insectile Murmuration is better if you don't have the points for it. Rejuvenating Swarm, the unit of Custodes gets into your Terminators, kills every Terminator, brings the Lord of Virulence down from 7 wounds to 1 wound. He'll heal back up full and probably live another turn and a half or something to do a little more damage back than he normally would. If that flips an objective, probably not, but it is kind of a cute little 10.1 to have. Plague Veil, an infantry model, while in range of an objective, their unit gets 18-inch alone op.
Okay. I like that one.
This one is a must-take. Let me set the scene for you guys, all right? I think their Terminator squads are only in 3s or whatever, but whatever. I have 3-man Terminators with a character with the Plague Veil on them. I get the first turn. I've deployed them on the edge of my deployment zone by the No Man's Land objective where they're already safe. Because I have the first turn, I now scout forward, and then I walk or am able to advance forward and sit on that objective with a very killy melee unit starting in turn 1 that has lone op. I mean, they're going to have to commit something so big to go that far out to reach because it's going to be their shallow No Man's Land objective. It's going to be far for the opponent. The smart play is probably at that point just to ignore it if you don't have anything fast enough or don't have any multiple deep strikes to come down. So it's a very powerful combo that allows you to put a unit with some staying power on an objective, and then that objective is essentially yours unless your opponent really does something to move it. And at that point, they're diverting too many resources from the center of the battle.
At least for 1 or 2 turns.
At least for 1 or 2 turns, you're going to get primary on that objective. You should, unless you're playing like Grey Knights or something. and then on the stratagems. There we go, Imperial Agents. On the stratagems. Why don't you start with the stratagems?
Imperial IPAgent.
Imperial IPAgent. Please do not burn me for heresy.
No, that's okay. So on the stratagems, first we got is nauseating paroxysms. For 1 CP, start of the fight phase. Make an enemy unit battle shock test. As we all know, in this whole edition, battle shock is essentially lame. That's not very useful. Next is Vermin Cloud, 1 CP. Fight phase infantry that hasn't attacked yet, they get to move Consolidate 6 instead of 3. And pile in. That's good.
This is one we're seeing in a lot of these Grotmas detachments, and it honestly is very good, especially if you make you barely make a charge and you're going to have units that get left out, and that seriously takes down the planned damage output. This can really come in clutch to save your turn. Or similarly, if you're consolidating, you need to get more bias on your objective. That's really good. Denying your opponent swing some points immediately, 5-point swing, or just making your charge better when it was a shitty charge roll in the first place.
Yep. Eye of the Swarm is next. Shooting phase, every gun is a pistol except for blast ones. That's cute.
It's cute.
I guess.
Again, the problem here is that their infantry
Shooting's
don't have good shooting.
Not good. What?
So
Stormbolter equivalent plasma pistol.
They have one plasma pistol and one plasma gun in a plague bearer unit, which is where you or normal plague marine unit, which is where you would use this. But it's one plasma gun. It's one plasma gun.
Drowning Horror shooting phase. Reroll once to hit and reroll all hits in half range. That's good if you're always close to them like you should be. Especially using your detachment rule.
It's good. You're rerolling ones to hit. Most of your stuff hits on 3s. Your characters are hitting on 2s, so it's always good to just reroll some dice.
Yeah.
Rerolling dice is statistically the best thing you can do in Warhammer, so reroll as many dice as possible. This is going to be a good one to use. But again, it's shooting on an infantry unit, so all these infantry shooting buffs, I get that they're trying to make it an infantry-focused detachment, but really the infantry and Death Guard are meant to be in melee.
So going on to a more melee-focused one, you got Enervating Onslaught. It's basically going to be a tank shock for your infantry, which is always good.
Always
more ways to do mortal wounds.
Always good, and it's fun.
And it's more fun. A little fun one there. Mephitic Invigoration. Opponent's shooting phase. If you're within 6 inches of a Mephitic Blight Hauler, if the strength is higher than toughness, you get -1 to wound. So good.
That's good.
And strat. And it lasts all phase.
It's really good, and it stacks that you already have stealth, right? So you're definitely going to want to bring, the 3 units of Mephitic Blight Haulers. You're probably going to just want to bring 3 units of 1 because you're really just looking to use this stratagem. Their shooting is incidental at best. I think this attachment is good. We'll go on to, we have some pre-prepared points over here, but we're just going to pull that up. It is good. Again, this Death Guard list, you're going to have to bring Mortarion. It is going to potentially struggle into vehicles, but at least if you bring those vehicles into your contagion range, because with your very fast infantry running up the board, it's going to lower their toughness by 1. They're tanky. It does help make tanky units on foot more tanky. This Death Guard's very tanky. They have higher toughness. The infantry's going to get stealth. You're going to have that 1 lone op unit that's going to be really powerful. It's my main problem with this Imperial Agent Stout is that it's so much better, or Imperial Agent IPA.
That's it.
And again,
something like that.
It'll be the penitent engine for me the next time. It's so much better if you go first. It really is. Absolutely. It really is. I mean, because you go first, you can scout really aggressively. You get that lone op onto that objective turn 1, so you ensure that you're getting that turn 2 primary. You're putting everything up the board. You're scouting everything forward 5 inches, and then advancing your melee infantry units to stage behind those no-man land walls. If you have to go second, you kind of already are deployed to as if you were going first. Do you scout backwards with the slowest infantry army? Probably not. You probably still have to scout forwards and then not quite be able to get into the cover situations you were thinking about, opening yourself up to an Alpha Strike charge from an army with advanced charge like World Eaters, or shooting lanes from across the board, Tau shooting, stuff like that. So just the way that competitive terrain is, this is going to be way better if you go first. Let's take a look at our ranking boards. Unfortunately, if you were guaranteed to go first in this attachment, I might say this is hammered.
Yeah.
But because it's a 50-50 on whether you get to use your army rule to its fullest capability, or you're kind of hung out to dry in the first turn and open to alpha strikes, I'm going to say it's just buzzed.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's just buzzed. It's not really that serious.
Having a game decided in the first coin flip of the game, essentially.
Yeah.
You either know you're going to win or not.
Yeah,
so,
you know you're going to win, or you're going to be having a really hard time. Not saying
large uphill battle.
Not saying you can't win if you go second, but you're really only getting to maximize the benefits as intended if you go first.
Yeah. Stink jail. Got to put them in there.
You got to put them. You got to get them up the board. You got to put them in stink jail. But you need that movement on top of that 5-inch scout before they have a chance to do anything to really make sure that happens.
All right, on to the next.
On to the next one. Oh. On the second day of Grotmas. Let's see if I can remember the shortcut for this. Yep. The Gabo gave to me the Dangles, Lion's Blade, Task Force.
Ooh, drink to that.
Drink to that. Cheers, buddy. Oh. So, Imperial Agent IPA over here is an avid Dark Angels player.
It's my first army.
I'll let you go ahead
and
read your army rule.
Yep. It's, as everyone knows, shitty Oath of Moment.
It's shitty Oath of Moment, y'all. Oath of Moment without +1 to wound, but you can bring your Dark Angels units with their fancy hoods.
They're fun. They're very fun.
And going on to the detachment rule for the Lion's Claws.
Yeah. So it's when an enemy non-monster vehicle attempts to fall back from a Wavering unit, they've taken Desperate Escape. If they're Battle Shock, it's -1. So you're getting destroyed on a 1 through 3 instead of a 1 through 2.
That is good.
It's cool. But as we know, Ravenwing, especially Black Knights, you're not going to be falling.
You're not going to need to fall back from Black Knights.
You're going to kill them in one turn.
If you're alive, you're gonna the clapback's gonna kill most of the squad.
The more fun part, I think, is what happens with the Deathwing, where you would get a +2 to charge if their enemy is engaged with Ravenwing. So as we'll get onto it in just a second, that could be interesting. Deep strike, 9 inches. Now you're making a 7-inch.
Now it's a 7. Now it's a 7.
A lot more possible.
Captain in that squad, it's a 7
reroll
with a free reroll.
Yep. And then you got a CP reroll for the next one. So that could work. Enhancements, +1 damage, melee weapons, 15 points.
Cute.
Fine.
Not
cool.
great.
Use it on a captain if you want to, if you have points. Lord of the Hunt for your Ravenwing model, basically the Raven command squad. Shoot and charge after fallback. And you reroll this.
That sounds good, but the main problem here is going to be the durability of the Ravenwing unit and living to the point where you're going to be able to do that fallback shoot and charge. Yeah.
Most of the time, you're using your plasma weapons. You're going to try hazardous, of course.
Yeah.
Supercharge them.
So
you're gonna blow half them up.
And one turn of shooting, you're good. You're putting them up. You're using half of them, and you're shooting. You're making a charge. You're not killing the unit that you charge because you got damage 1.
Damage 1. AP2 damage 1. Devastating wounds now. Great. If it's a monster vehicle, you're gonna be doing those on 4-ups.
Yeah. So you're maybe strip 5 wounds off of it.
Have you killed anything with that?
No.
Haven't killed a thing. Stalwart Champion. +1 OC for captains, champions, or lieutenants. Okay, great.
It's also for the whole unit, so this is actually good. This is a theme we see. It's a lot of access for different Space Marine armies to make their Terminators, kind of like battle line with 2 OC.
Yeah.
So that is good for them, but it's not. It is what it is. 25 points is a little expensive.
It's kind of expensive.
But if you're running a Terminator 10 brick, it's a 20 brick of OC now instead of a 10 brick, which does matter.
Good for Knights as well, since they're gonna be on objectives a lot, and 1 OC is one of the just out OC'd a lot of the time.
Yeah, just walk a unit, a 60 unit, 60 point 10 man guardsman up there.
Grots up there, or guardsman, whatever. Just stand there and laugh at them.
Yeah.
Fulgus Magnet, probably the most interesting one of them. It's a redeploy for Deathwing. Back to reserves, up you downy. Great, useful.
That's kind of very interesting when combined with the fact that you're getting that +2 charge.
Yeah.
So you're coming down, you're getting a 7-inch charge with your free reroll. You wipe that unit, and then you immediately do it again because you're uppy downing. Yeah. That's pretty powerful.
That's fun. Stratagems. You do for the first one, command phase. You can do it's another battle shock one.
Great. Yay, battle shock. I love battle shock.
Armor contempt. We all know it. Surge to Unity. It's another one. It uses Ravenwing and Deathwing. So if it's the Ravenwing, there's to be -1 to hit. If it's engaged with the Deathwing, it's -1 to wound.
Now,
so it's buffs.
An interesting thing here is because of the army rule, you want to be getting a Ravenwing and a Deathwing in there at the same time. So even if they both get in, it's not the unit that they're clapping back into. It's whether or not their unit that's attacking is engaged with one of each.
Yeah.
So even if they're only attacking the Ravenwing unit, as long as you have that Deathwing unit there, that Ravenwing unit is also going to get the -1 to wound. So we're complaining about how fragile the Deathwing is. If you get it off how they want you to get it off, although it's kind of a hard thing to do, we'll talk about in a second. You do have this stratagem which will make either of those units, the Deathwing unit or the Ravenwing unit, both -1 to hit and potentially -1 to wound in combat.
A nice defensive buff.
That's
if
nice
you can pull it off.
If you can pull it off.
Yeah, Knights of Iron. Ravenwing can move or charge through a wall. This is very powerful.
It is very powerful.
This is definitely necessary to be able to get any of these things going off.
It is, but unfortunately, you're not going to want to do it on a giant brick of Black Knights.
Yeah.
Because the best thing to do isn't to move through the wall, it's to charge through the wall.
Yeah.
And again, their melee sucks. It's going to be very, very powerful on a maximum squad of just normal Outriders because they get the Ravenwing keyword, which is unfortunate because you're playing Dark Angels. You want the Black Knights to be cool, but really Outriders, now that they have +1 damage and +1 strength on the charge innately.
And they're cheaper.
And you're going to lead them with a Chaplain, not a Ravenwing command squad. You're going to lead them with a Chaplain and then just charge them through a wall. It can be good to spend the CP to charge a minimum unit of Outriders through the wall just to get the buffs off. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's continue to the next one.
Yep. Shooting phase, illuminating fire. Target within 12 inches of a Ravenwing that shot. Deathwing adds 1 to the hit roll.
So when you think about
for their shooting,
it sounds good. When you think about it, though, your Deathwing units are your Terminators, your Black Knights who have no shooting. And then Land Raiders. So really, this is a 1 CP stratagem to potentially give a Land Raider if you're bringing 1+1 to hit.
It's crazy.
If you're not bringing a Land Raider, you shouldn't use this for a squad to shoot 1,000,000 Stormbolters and 1 plasma cannon into something. It's really only useful on the Land Raiders, so that's unfortunate. And then we got one of the weirdest
It's very
stratagems
very
included
weird.
in any of these Grotmas Detachments.
I still don't really understand it. It's supposed to be like it's a Khorne intervention, but 2 CP.
But it costs 2 CP.
I
So
don't know.
the only difference that I can see is that Heroic Intervention, which is 1 CP, happens as soon as the enemy charges in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is done at the end of the charge phase.
That we actually made a mistake on Illuminating Fire. It's not +1 to the hit roll, it's +1 to the wound roll for Deathwing shooting.
So that's better.
It's better. It's better, but it's still you're shooting Stormbolters, maybe a Cyclone Missile Launcher, or a Plasma Cannon.
So in that case, you don't want to use it in the land area because you're wounding anyway. You would have to use it.
The only time it'd really be good is with Dreadnoughts.
Dreadnoughts
are also...
Redemptor Dreadnought. So
Dreadnoughts.
It is good on a Redemptor Dreadnought shooting into a tank. That's what it is.
That's about it.
Well,
so Dreadnoughts will do good shooting.
That's nice, and we gave it credit.
And then we're looking at Inescapable Wrath. I'll be quick with it. It's a Deathwing Infantry or Walker that is within 6 inches of one or more enemy units and be able to declare a charge as if it's your charge phase. Now your unit declares a charge.
It's Heroic Intervention.
It's Heroic Intervention. I'm reading it right now, and I don't see... You don't even get charge bonuses.
So the only thing... There's one of these in somewhere else in these Grotmas Detachments, but I think it's actually 1 CP elsewhere.
I don't know why it's 2.
So this one is like, the only utility is like, okay, you have 3 CP, or you're going to use Rites of Battle on it and have 2 CP, and you want to do 2 Heroic Interventions because it's named something you can do it simultaneously. I don't know. It's a dumb one.
It doesn't make sense to me. Sorry.
All right, next one. The good. So as we talked about, and something we didn't talk about, the good thing here for you and your Dark Angels cohorts is that every other detachment that was included in that Dark Angels Codex is absolute garbage and unplayable. It's been a bad addition.
Playing Gladius just to have a chance feels kind of bad.
Feels bad.
We're not blue. We're green. I don't know.
Superior tacticians.
Yes, that's what they drink.
But yeah, I mean, the Dark Angels Codex still sucks. They've changed every word in every one of those attachments, and they're all still pretty unplayable. There's Strength and Unity is a good strat. Getting 7-inch charge out of Deep Strike is an 82.64% probability with CP reroll. So if you take your minimum units of Outriders, you get them in, that's good. Getting a 7-inch charge with Deafening Whites, like I said before, wiping the unit and then putting them back in strat reserves and doing it over and over and over again is pretty awesome. I guess the Focus Magnet is a once per game thing, but you get to do it twice. That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. OC2, Deathwing Terminators, better holding objectives, and a full squad of Black Knights or Outriders moving or charging through walls is good. Again, you're probably going to want to do the Outriders and not the Black Knights. Yeah. The bad things is that there's a lot of complex staging involved to get the charge bus to go off. In the games that we've played,
I've not been able to do it.
Because those bikes are getting overwatched on the way in. They're T4 or 5.
They're T5. We got 3 wounds. They'll die to an overwatch from anything with good shooting, with blast, especially if you have those big bricks.
Yeah,
they're going down.
It's not the best thing to try to set up to get a pretty normal buff. I mean, a +2 to a charge. It's not like the best buff in the world.
It
and
+3 even.
The fact that you have to stage it so much kind of devalues the whole detachment to me. The need for small sacrificial Rainbow units and I don't think maybe you either bring just a brick of Outriders or you bring no brick and just everything is minimum size squads to get the buff off.
Miss you.
Yeah. Like we've been saying, the Raven Wings units die quick and they won't live to do a lot of cool things.
It is fun though, from a lore standpoint.
Oh yeah,
it's fun. It's cool.
Riding the bike to the walls is fun, but unfortunately, like we were saying before, the best thing is playing like you've been playing Gladius. Mm-hmm. If you like bikes, there's Stormlance, which is probably better bike detachment than this.
Advanced shooting charge.
You're just kind of, and at that point, it's like the Outriders are better than the Black Knights.
Yeah.
Stormlance is better than this.
Yeah. Better than Company of Hunters.
You might as well not play Dark Angels. You might as well just play Space Marines with no special units
and get that better oath
play Stormless and get the better oath the moment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
For this one, that's it.
It's gonna. I think it's.
I would say it's sober, but the fact that it's better than any of the other Dark Angels attachments makes me want to put it in a buzz. What do you think?
I could say buzz just for.
Well, no, honestly,
it's
no. If the Fly Blown Host is buzz, this one is definitely.
Yeah, no, definitely. We gotta rank him.
We gotta rank him relative. So we made the Fly Blown Host buzz. We gotta have this one be sober.
Yeah, if I had won a game, I would put it in buzz, but. No, we're close.
All right, we're gonna go on to the next attachment. On the third day of Grotmas, the Gobbo gave to me the Tyranids Warrior Bioform Onslaught. Mm-hmm. So now this one is all about Tyranid Warriors, which did not see a ton of competitive play before this. So we'll see what this gives them. Now the Tyranids army rule, you got Synapse bugs. They give off Synapse range. If a guy's in Synapse range, they get to roll 3d6 for Battle Shock, and they get +1 strength and melee. Great. And then once per game, you can make all your enemy units take a Battle Shock with -1 if they are within 6 inches of the Synapse creature. And I think there's also a -1 if you have just a Nurgle on the battlefield, so potentially minus 2. or Neurotyrant. That is honestly the best. I mean, we shit on Battle Shock a lot, but Tyranids are the only army that does it right because they have so many minuses and they make you take it so often. If they're Battle Shocking your entire army, you're going to fail at least a couple of those rolls. And they also have units like Lictors that are like in your shooting phase, pick someone and they Battle Shock. So you're consistently making them take multiple Battle Shocks every turn, and eventually you're going to bear some fruit out of that.
Definitely. It's a strength in numbers sort of thing.
Yep. And then going to the detachment rules. So the detachment rules, Tyranid warriors, they're kind of like shitty Terminators naturally. They don't have invuls. They're like T5, but they have a 4-up base save. This does give them a 5-up invul, which is nice for them to increase their survivability. Like, they are 3 wounds now, 5-up invul, T5. The Tyranid warriors become battle line, so you can bring, up to 5 of each of the variants. There's a ranged unit and there's a melee unit. They become OC3, which is very nice for them, especially if you're not going to be running your actual battle line units. Then this is going to, and it makes you not get screwed on the secret mission that's like for the battle line shit.
Yeah, so it could be helpful.
So the enhancements: a Synaptic Tyrant, a Neurotyrant can lead Tyranid warriors. Great. Like I said, you probably want to Neurotyrant the army if you're only going to have warriors. Put them in there. Ocular Adaptation, a Winged Tyranid Prime models in that unit add 1 to all hit rolls. That's pretty good because they're hitting on 3s. Or 4s, I think, and ranged, and 3s in melee. So that reroll 1's always good. You're going to want to put that on a melee squad, probably. Wing Tyranid Prime, the Bears unit is target subtract 1 from hit rolls. Again, just increasing the survivability of the warriors who the Wing Tyranid Prime leads. Another good one. And then a Tyranid model, Bears unit gets advanced in charge. This one is just Tyranid model. So you can put this on a Norn Emissary because he's a character. So that's kind of nasty. That's a charge there. You could put it on also, in the Spirit of the Detachment, you could put on a max Tyranid melee brick with Tyranid Prime, and then they can hide stage behind a wall and then advance the charge out of it. That's probably the intent. But the best use is probably putting this bad boy on a Norn.
Nice. On the stratagems, so we got Synaptic Amplification. Shooting your fight phase, select 1 Tyranid Warriors unit and 1 Endless Multitude unit within 6 inches. You can both reroll wound rolls of 1. Tyranid Warriors can reroll hit rolls of 1 too. Like we all know, rerolls great.
Rerolls are great.
Not bad. Simultaneous Hyper Corrosion. Shooting or fight phase Tyranid unit, +2 strength of range, or +1 strength of melee of Tyranid Warriors or Tyranid Prime models unit. Good if you're hitting those breakpoints. It adds 1 to your wound roll. That's always gonna be good.
Yep, and so this is really good on it's good in melee. I think they're melee strength 6, so it goes up to strength 7. Well, that's not the real use here. Venom cannons, you get 1 venom cannon per 3. So on a max squad of shooting boys, you have 2 venom cannons. They're strength 9, AP 2, damage 3, or something like that. So this makes them strength 11 and makes them punch down into rhinos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so that's pretty
good.
sick. Yeah.
That's good. Restorative Impulse command phase, you turn 1 dead model to a Tyranid Warriors unit. Kind of expensive.
It's probably not worth 1 CP for 1 Tyranid warrior.
Yeah.
But
how much is a Tyranid warrior?
He's less than 50 points, I think.
Yeah.
So
if that's gonna swing your objective,
if it's gonna count for OC, or if you're like in a pivotal combat and you need him to wake up, maybe
situational.
But situational if it's worth it or not.
Then you get Synaptic Micronodes movement phase objective you control. It's a sticky objective.
Sticky objective is good to have.
It's good to have, useful. Parasitic Payload, shooting. Tyranid warriors with ranged bioweapons get ignore cover and select 1 unit, and they cannot get the benefit of cover.
So that one's okay. It's good if you're shooting into a unit that's visible to a lot of different units, but in cover because your guns are probably AP2 and not anymore. So getting ignores cover and AP2 is pretty important, especially if you're facing against a natural 2-up save.
Yeah.
But it's situational. It really requires your opponent to have done some poor staging for it to really matter a lot.
It's very easy to get cover. Yeah. So I suppose it could be useful sometime. Synaptic Shield, opponent's shooting phase after target selected. Tyranid Warriors and 1
Endless Multitude. So those are your Termagants, your Hormagaunts, your other Gaunts, the little guys
little dudes.
that could be running swarm to 20.
Within 6 inches, if the strength is over your toughness, it's -1 to wound. So yeah.
So it's good for the Warriors. Again, the Endless Multitude units are getting wounded on 2s anyway.
Right.
So bumping them down to 3s doesn't matter that much, but it is good that it's just like a little throw in. The good Tyranid Warriors get 5+ invul. The bad, I had to hear that Tyranid Warriors suck. I've did some more research into them and changed my opinion that they are now mids. So the bad is that Tyranid Warriors are mids, and your whole point of this attachment is to run as many Tyranid Warriors as you can. Does the 5-up invul make them less mids? I don't know. We'll see how it works out.
More durable, but
1 Tyranid Warrior is probably not worth the CP.
That's right. If it was like D3, then
it would be
better,
cool.
right?
But the endless multitude units are also, them having +1 to wound and -1 to wound doesn't really matter. They're not doing anything anyway. They're just literal bodies. So all the stuff that's like, and then in this multitude, within 6, it's cute. It's not going to affect anything in the game. You might as well not even have written that down, GW.
I'm going to rank this one.
All that being said, I do think it is probably better than the Dark Angels one. It's probably worse than the Flyblown Host one. Now that the Flyblown Host one is kind of get grouped with this one, I kind of wish we had made it tipsy, but we're going to stick to our guns, and we'll see how the board looks at the end. We're gonna.
I'm thinking sober, honestly.
You're thinking sober. I was thinking buzzed on it.
I was thinking buzzed on it for good.
Yeah.
You get an invul.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Yeah, it's sober. It's not as good.
I'd say it's sober.
It's not as good as the Flyblown Host. It's sober. Now you
Yeah.
can still bring the advance in charge in the Norn is very good.
Sure.
You can still bring big bugs to do your damage, but I mean you're probably better off just bringing big bugs and small bugs. These medium bugs, these are like diet small. Why? What's their use case?
Yeah.
There's a reason that people don't usually run them. All right, moving on to the next detachment on the...
They do look cool, though.
They do look cool. They do look cool. On the 4th day of Grotmas, the Gobble gave to us the Tsons Hex War Thrall Band.
Nice. We love our Egyptian boys.
All right, so the thousands of our army rule, I'm just going to summarize this. You have sorcerers on the board. They have different values that give you different cabal points. You can spend that to do cool shit. You can reroll one failed saving throw with it. You can do a Doom Bolt, which is a crazy psychic attack with potential of doing D3 plus 6 mortal wounds. Mm-hmm. You can get AP plus 2 AP on one unit for your entire army. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the cabal points, and that's called doing a ritual.
Doom Bolt is the best.
Doom Bolt's the best.
Also,
great. Well, the plus 2 AP one's pretty good too. It depends. Yeah. It depends what the best one is going to be for your turn. If you're trying to kill one thing, if you can get it with the mortals, or if you need the 2 AP because the mortals aren't going to be enough. Right. Detachment rule, the flow. Magic. Ooh. So this is a zone of control detachment. There's several of these both in Grotmas, and there was a few before as well.
Necrons.
Necrons, and then kind of the Demon's Army rule. Essentially, if you control your home zone, your deployment zone is always in your zone of control. The mid board, if you control at least half the objectives in the mid board is in your zone of control, and then your opponent's deployment zone, it's in match play. It's only gonna have one objective. So if you control that objective, you control you get your zone of control in your opponent's deployment zone. The buff for this one is every time you make an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. But if you're in your flow of magic, reroll all wounds. Now, all the other ones, Imperial Agent, IPA, are about hit rolls. This one's about wound rolls. And you would think that'd be a downgrade, but it's not for Thousand Suns. And do you know why?
Because devastating wounds.
Because they have a fuck ton of devastating wounds.
Lots.
Every sergeant and every character has at least a psychic shooting attack that has devastating wounds, and I think there's only one character on which it does not have an anti-X4+ keyword. So you are going to be getting, essentially every single unit on the board, if you're running an all-infantry army, or at least most of them, you're going to be able to re-roll every time you do that with every squad across the board, probably averaging over 10 devastating wounds a phase from this.
That's crazy.
So that's pretty crazy. In an all-infantry army, you might even be averaging close to 20 because you're getting it half the time and you're re-rolling for it, and it's like D6 plus 3 attacks apiece. So this is going to be a very powerful detachment. Oh, yeah. Moving on to the enhancements, Arcane Might, 1,000 Suns model, add 1 to strength characters with psych weapons in the bearer's unit, in the flow of magic plus 2 strength. That's okay. It matters mostly, like we were saying, for his psychic shooting attack and for his little guy on the sergeant psychic shooting attack. There is some psychic melee in 1,000 Suns, but it's not that great. It's like AP 1 damage D3, and only the sergeant gets it. The rest of the Terminators don't get it.
More of a shooting army.
Yeah. Empowered Manifestation, Tsons model, while in the field of magic, add 6 inch for psychic abilities, including rituals, and reroll hazardous tests for psychic weapons. Now, this one is pretty spicy because it means that guy, 24-inch Doom Bolt.
That's long.
Woo!
That's crazy.
Whoa there. All right. And then Empiric Onslaught, 1,000 Suns model, while in the field of magic, add 3 to the attack characters, the bear's range psychic weapons. Again, this is really going to only apply to that one sorcerer's psychic shooting attack. Probably not worth 25 points. If you have the points, it is nice, but that's pretty expensive for what it does.
This is actually good. This next one.
The next one's really good. Do you want to read it?
Yeah. So this is the Not to Lift Mantle. It's a Tsons model. The bearer's unit is always in the flow of magic, but it can't use rituals.
Wow, you know what that'd be great on, but we don't have a way to do Imperial Agent Stout? is a max squad of Warp Flamers
Ooh.
that had Deep Strike.
Huh.
Too bad Rubric Marines don't have Deep Strike.
Darn. Rubric Marines.
Moving on to the stratagems. Warding Hex, 1 CP, command phase, thousands of psychers, stickies, and objective you control. Great.
Yep.
1 CP, Wrath of Doom, fight phase. After enemy has selected targets, 1,000 something of those targeted. It gets a 4+ fight on death, and with a +1 at the field of magic. That's okay. Again, the melee units are not that great, but it's nice to fight on death if you know you're going to die.
Not
Might as
bad
well
for
pop
1
it.
CP.
Not bad for 1 CP. Strands of Time, movement phase, thousands of psyker that just fell back. Fall back and shoot or charge outside the field of magic. Fall back, shoot, and charge inside the field of magic. That's awesome.
That's great. Especially for a shooting
army.
Yeah.
That's huge. And it's cheap, 1 CP.
Mm-hmm.
Through the Veil, 1 CP. Starved Reinforcements at your movement phase. Rubric Marines, or Scarab Occult Terminators and Reserves, the Rubric Marines get Deep Strike.
Whoa, what?
The Rubric Marines are led by a sorcerer that makes them always in the flow of magic. The Rubric Marines are deep striking in your opponent's deployment zone, turn 2, and having a 9d6 Warp Flamer Barbecue, rerolling all wounds because they're always in the flow of magic.
That's spice.
That is spicy right there.
That's it.
And then the Scarab Occult Terminators, they get to Deep Strike 6, but they can't charge. Okay.
Good.
If you can steal an objective with it, it's not as good as back when you could Deep Strike 3 with these kind of rules, but it's still nice. Scouring Warp Flame, 1 CP, shooting phase, thousands of psychers, wholly within the flow of magic. Range Lords get ignored cover and strip cover, so that's good. This is a shooting army, so it's better here than it was in the other detachment we talked about. Kaleidoscopic Tempest, opponent shooting phase, thousands of psyker that was targeted gets stealth, and they also get cover if they're in the flow of magic. So it's like a smoke grenade for an infantry squad. You run all infantry. It's probably going to come up once or twice in a game that you'd like to use this. So if you have the extra CP for it, it's decent enough.
Yeah.
The good, like we were saying, Thousand Suns got access to dev wounds, so you rerun all the wounds there. You get +3 attacks, makes that even juicier, even though it's expensive. 24-inch Doom Bolt OP. Reroll all wounds on the Rubric Marines with 96 Warp Flamers from Deep Strike, baby.
That's it.
That are always in the flow of magic. That's the wombo combo that everyone's going to be afraid of with this one. Stealth strat's good. All the strats are pretty much decent and useful.
Yeah.
The +2 strength you can give to a Demon Prince for his psych weapon, so that's kind of cute.
Yeah,
that's
good.
a little cute. And then the bad is that you do lose a pretty sizable buff from your other detachment. I've seen a lot of Thousand Suns players online complaining and thinking it's not as good. I think it's actually going to be better than the index detachment that's already out there just because of the rerolling wounds fishing for devs, and the rerolling wounds with 9d6 flamers is pretty crazy. But yeah, you don't get to choose lethal sustains or devs, even though a lot of weapons have devs already. You get to another attachment. You get to choose one of those to last the whole game for all your psychic weapons.
We'll see. Madness wasn't wrong. Let's see if the players are wrong about this one.
We'll see if the players are wrong. You also lose a damage blank strat, which a lot of people use with the ritual that blanks it, do a double damage blank per turn on Magnus to make Magnus survive more. So you might not even want to run Magnus in this attachment. This attachment is really about the infantry. We'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and rank it.
What are you thinking?
I am thinking that this one is... I don't think it's hammered yet because I know what else is in Grotmas, but I think this is definitely loaded.
Well, a good load.
I think that it's going to have a decent win rate, and I think that it's going to have some tournament wins, but I don't think it is going to be the top 2 or 3 meta detachments from Grotmas. All right. We are going to go into the next detachment.
No hammered one yet.
No hammered one yet. Let's see if we're still recording. Wouldn't that be something? And we are. Okay,
all right,
awesome.
We're good.
And on the fifth day, we're back, baby.
We're back. All right.
On the 5th day of Grotmas, and you said no hammered. I think you should be a little careful of what you wish for, because
oh boy,
I don't like the Admech, but the Admech from the Gobbo received the gift of the Halo's Creed Battle Crate. Now, if you've played against Admech in 10th edition since they rewrote their codex within errata, you will know that it is the most confusing set of simultaneously contradictory and overlapping buffs I've ever seen in Warhammer 40k. A Admech player could tell me at a tournament that his unit cannot be shot within 4 inches and also gets to re-roll hit rolls because they're standing next to this guy, and also gets once per game 3-up invulnerable saying, and also they have dev wounds from a 0 CP stratagem that actually they gain a CP because they have this other unit in the left corner of this feature of terrain, and I would believe it. Because there's no fucking fact checking this shit. They don't understand it. I don't understand it. The TO definitely doesn't understand it.
No.
Let's get into this attachment.
If you have enough money to afford it,
more power.
Sponsor us, please.
The Admech army rule is Doctrine Imperative, so every battle round, you pick between one of two buff sets. Protector Imperative, your ranged weapons get heavy. You improve your BS skill by 1, which means a lot of your stuff's hitting on 2s. And you get -1 opponent's melee hits rolled if the target is within 6 inches of a battle line unit. See what I'm talking about? The Conqueror Imperative, ranged weapons get assault, improve weapon skill by 1, and improve AP of all attacks by 1 if the unit is within 6 inches of a battle line unit. So already, just off the base, what does the army do? You get 3 buffs or 3 buffs. So we're already at buff count 3. Let's keep counting the buffs.
3.
Buff count is 3. All right, going on to the detachment rule. New spirit transference. In your command phase, select some units. 1 for 1k, 2 for 2k, 3 to 3k. And until your next command phase, those units gain the Halo Override keyword. Oh, what do those units gain? Of course, they gain another buff. So they get +2 move, +1 toughness, advance in charge, or stealth. So now every unit on the battlefield has 3 buffs, and then 2 units per turn are getting 2 buffs. All right, we're gonna keep going on.
Keeping track of that, everybody.
Let's look at the enhancements. Transocular Dryad wafers. The Cybernetic Datasmith. When the bear is attached to Castellan robots, the Cybernetic Datasmith attaches to Castellan robots. Traditionally, they do not give the Doctrine Imperatives. They're not an imperative or whatever. They don't have the keyword that gives it to them.
Okay.
But the Cybernetic Datasmith, in order to make up for that, naturally, guess what he gives them? He gives them a
keyword.
buff that you pick. So
okay, there we go. That's 5 now.
+2 attacks in melee, +2 attacks in ranged, or +2 movement by himself. So now that unit that would only have the 1 buff from him is getting all the other buffs because you can make him the Halos Creed if you want with your selections. And this enhancement gives them the imperative. And actually, this enhancement gives them Doctrine Imperative and the Halo Override keyword. So you don't even have to pick them as Halo. They're permanently Halo Overrided, and they get the Doctrine Imperatives where no Castellan robot before has gone. So this unit is permanently getting now 6 buffs because you don't have to spend a selection on them, and they're getting the buff from the Cybernetic Datasmith himself.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Great.
Reinforcements. Anyone but the Cybernetic Datasmith, Conqueror, and Protocol Imperatives are always active for the Bears unit. So now that unit is getting 6 buffs without anything, and they get that 7th buff if you make them a Halo Override keyword. So now we're at the maximum amount of buffs that can be put on a squad of 7. Let's keep reading. Sanctified Ordnance. Any character adds 6 inches to the range of the Bears' unit's weapons and reroll a hazardous test. There's a unit called Cataphoron Breaches or Cataphoron Destroyers. One of them has a hazardous plasma cannon essentially. So this is really nice for them. It makes it, I think, 30-inch range, and it lets them reroll their hazardous test. They're not going to blow up as much.
Nice. Love that.
In Literally Lethality, Tech Priest Dominus Manipulus gets +3 attacks and +1 damage to Bear's melee weapons. You're never going to take that. Why is that more points than Sanctified Ordnance? That's dumb. Stratagems. Eradication Protocol. In the shooting or fight phase, 1 CP. Any Admech unit gets to reroll a wound roll of 1. If they're Halo Override, they reroll a hit roll of 1 as well. Great. Lots of rerolls, lots of buffs, lots of rerolls.
Yep.
Targeting Override. Shooting or fight phase, any Admech unit gets crit hits on 5. There's a character that gives you lethals on those big squads of plasma guns. Now you're getting on 5s. Those squads also innately reroll all hit rolls of the data sheet.
That's a good buff.
So they're getting that buff. They got the 7 other buffs. They already reroll all their hit rolls. Moving on.
You essentially get your fire discipline.
I'm just gonna you want them to shoot them? It's gone.
They're done.
They're done. Here we go. The Tortillo, I lost.
Yep.
Neural Overload, movement phase. Any Admech unit, make a Halo Override ability active for that unit. If they already had that Halo Override, then they can take D3 mortals and get a new ability that's also active for them.
Cool.
So that is a maximum of 8.
It's 8 buffs.
8 buffs.
Aggressive Impulse.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, movement phase. Scorpius Dune Rider. Unit inside can disembark and charge after you made a normal move. So yeah, great for movement.
That's cute. There's not a lot of good melee units at Admech, but it's cute. It's trying to get the Electro Priest in play, I think. I still don't think you're going to see it. But it's nice. It's nice to have.
Yeah. Guided Retreat, movement phase, fallback, shoot, and charge. If you have that Halo Override, you can re-roll Desperate Escape attempts.
Fallback and shoot, great for a shooting army.
Yep.
If you are at a point where you might have to do Desperate Escape, you can re-roll it. Mm-hmm. But also, if you're battle shocked, you can't use a stratagem. So if it only counts if your opponent's causing a Desperate Escape with a stratagem.
Huh.
So it's weird.
Or you're moving through enemy units.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Hopefully you don't get in that situation to begin with. But it's good to have that option.
Well, you probably won't because you probably shot them all to death before they're within charge range of you. So.
Analytical Divination. Opponent's movement phase within 9. It's a reactive move.
Reactive
6 inches. If you got anything, you move 6.
You move 6. Great.
Yeah, good. Yeah, love it.
So the good Castellan robots get a big glow off. So if you have the Castellan robots, a max squad of them, right, and you've given them the +2 attacks and melee from the little Cybernetic Datasmith, and he's the one with the enhancement that gives them all the buffs. And you pick all the good melee stuff, and they're in a Conqueror protocol. Their melee profile for a max squad of those guys, all right, is going to be 24 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 12, AP 3, damage 3, twin linked.
D3.
D3.
Is that D3?
No, that's just damage 3. It's damage 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you.
Twin linked. And now again, remember there's a 1 CP stratagem for reroll once to hit. So you're only missing on 2 just devouring titans, just of anything. Terminators.
That is crazy.
Guardsmen, a Gorkanaut, Stompa, Warhound Scout Titan, doesn't matter. You're probably going to get it because you're rerolling they're twin linked.
That's good.
They're twin linked.
That's rerolling the wounds.
All right. And then again, they are getting an 8-inch move and they can become T10. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can advance and charge. An advance and charge scrap. We forgot about that one. So they have an 8-inch move, advance and charge, and they have a second CP. You can reroll some of the hit rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said before, Cataphront breaches with some text manipulators get lethals on 5s, and then you can crit on 5s with that, so that's pretty sick. Plus 6-inch range for reroll hazardous is nice for Cataphront destroyers. Electro Police charging on the transport is cute. And the Admech the most important thing to remember is that the Admech rule set is so bloated with overriding buffs, your opponent won't know what's going on anyway, and you can take advantage of their ignorance.
Yeah.
The bad, who knows?
We don't know.
I don't fucking know. But
I don't know.
I do know that this one is gonna be hammered. Oh,
I already finished my beer.
Lame.
Excuse me for one moment, everybody. Yes.
Ah.
Right.
The beer of superior time management. The beer of superior resource allocation.
Mm-hmm. As Gilman would know. He's all about those tax codes.
Lord Gilliman, your beer.
All right. Switching over to another Monday night, courtesy of Casca, we got Juice Raptor Hazy IPA.
Don't let Harkin find you.
That's
all right.
it.
So the Hales Creek Battle Clay is gonna be hammered, and we're gonna move on to another day of Grotmas. On the 6th day of Grotmas, the Red Gobbo gave our good friend and
T-boy.
sometimes contributor to Drug Belter content, Tommy Titanium, Tomas Jimenez, the Star Shatter Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Necrons army rule, you reanimate, they heal D3 wounds, it's annoying. You can heal back models, etc. The attachment rule for this, it's going to be focused on the vehicles. Each time a Necron unit targets a unit that's on an objective, you get +1 on the hit roll. That's amazing. Necron's hitting on 2s against the most important unit that works on objectives. Brutal.
Stuff.
Applies to everything, not just the vehicles. And then non-Titanic vehicles, a mounted unit, gain assault. So not your Monolith, not your Tesseract Vault, but everything else, including the Silent King, who's not Titanic, is going to get to advance and shoot, which is great for an army that's all about shooting. Enhancements, the Dread Majesty. And you can use it on Overlord or Catacomb Command Bar to get a 6-inch aura of reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1.
Nice.
Amazing. For 30 points, your best Silent King ability, he gets to pick between 3, this is the best one, is doubled on the other side of the board with something else. So it's a great enhancement. Miniaturized Nebula Scope, any Necron's character with the Bears unit gets ignored cover. That one can be cute. It's not that great. You probably would best use it on a squad of Immortals with Gauss Blasters, but you might not even run those in this detachment. Demanding Leader, for 10 points, any Necron's character in the movement or shooting phase gets to select a friendly vehicle or mounted unit within 6, and that unit gets to fall back and shoot. That is pretty spicy.
Good if they get tied up in melee.
Pretty spicy with a little man called the Silent King.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty spicy with a little thing called an Annihilation Barge with its Doomsday Cannon. It's pretty spicy on a lot of the stuff you're going to be running this attachment. Then we got Chrono Impedance Fields. For 20 points, any character gets to select one matter vehicle within 6 inches in your command phase, and it -1 to all incoming damage. Now, the play here is to park that character in safety within range of your Silent King, and then that Silent King, he's healing D3 wounds in the command phase. He's got, 18 wounds or some shit, 16 or 18 wounds by himself, maybe even 20. I don't know how much wounds he has.
No, it's 16.
You probably have a Reanimator by him that also is healing him D3 plus D3 wounds.
And the mini-ears.
And then now, all damage incoming him, every turn that this other guy's alive is -1 damage.
Makes him very tanky.
Makes him very tanky. If you're running the Silent King in this attachment, you need to run the Chrono Impedance Fields.
On the strats, you got Merciless Reclamation, shooting your fight phase. When attacking unit on objective, +1 to wound. So you're getting that Immortal's ability on pretty much anything. So, except a Titanic unit. That's always good. Adding 1 to your wound roll.
It is.
Yeah. They reroll 1 to win. Anyways,
They're
unyielding
rerolling ones from objectives, and this is adding 1 to wound. So this is honestly, I mean, it's good on everything.
Yeah.
It's good on everything, but also it could be good on Scorpec destroyers.
Yeah.
Charging onto an objective, getting reroll 1s to hit and +1 to wound. So
good for those vehicles too.
Yep.
Unyielding forms. Opponent's shooting phase, non-tank vehicle or mat unit is just selected. If your strength is greater than the toughness, you get -1 to wound. So
great. You can use it on a vehicle. You can use it on a vehicle. Oh, what? You have 1 land raider? Guess what? It's winning on 4s, not 3s.
Yeah.
Good luck with the rest of your shooting phase.
Yeah, Chrono Shift. Movement phase. 1 Titanic monster vehicle that has moved yet. Auto event 6 instead of rolling. So
that's
good
pretty good.
Movement.
It's good because you get an advance and shoot on all these guys too. Not on the monsters, but on the vehicles. You can advance and shoot. So it's great to auto 6 in case you need to get around a corner or something.
Good for Satan.
It is good for Satans, moving him up the board quicker.
Doubling his movement essentially.
So the Satans can't charge afterwards, but it is nice to get him up the board
if they deploy it somewhere else. Anyways, Dimensional Tunnel, and you move in phase 1 non-Titanic monster vehicle that hasn't moved yet. You move through walls.
Move through walls with the Silent King.
Phasing through them.
Just phasing right through them. They're talking about, why do we need to advance around the corner when we can just move through the walls? That makes a lot more sense.
Right.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move a Silent King through a wall. Have fun.
Endless Servitude, end of fight phase. 1 non-Titanic unit on the objective, you activate reanimation. So, yeah, good.
Just more reanimation.
Get more guys.
Again, on the Scorpec destroyers that just got to re-roll half their hit misses and got +1 to wound and killed 10 Terminators on an objective. Maybe they didn't kill the last one and he did a wound. It's gone.
Yep. Pyrrhic victories for everybody. Reactive reposition. Opponent's shooting phase just after they have shot a non-Titanic unit targeted by those attacks makes it's reactive move.
Reactive move, but it's after you take some damage, so it's not reacting to a movement. It's reacting to being shot. This is great because Necron vehicles are not the most sturdy. They reanimate, but they're only toughness 10. So if you focus fire them, even the Silent King, unless you're doing all that stuff we talked about before with the Reanimator and the guy that's -1 the damage, they're all very killable for a shooting army that focus fires them. But with this, the first time it's taken damage, you then get to move it, if you've been careful, around the corner of a terrain, and now no other unit can see it. Right. So you're playing peekaboo with the Silent King. You're playing peekaboo with Annihilation Barge. You're coming out the side. You're killing a unit. They try to shoot back. The first thing that shoots you, you're scooting back over. You're jumping back and forth all game through a firing lane like that with one of your big killy vehicles. Yeah. It's a great stratagem when you think about the strategy of this attachment, what's going to be. Now the good, like we said, the Silent King and Annihilation Barge and Doomstalker moving through walls, great. +1 to hit rolls against objective, great. +1 to wound roll against objectives, great. Assault on various shooting vehicles, amazing. Lots of defensive strats and enhancements to keep your vehicles alive. -1 damage can be used on the Silent King, crazy. Reroll 1s to hit and wound enhancements turn a little guy into the mini Silent King. Ignore it's not as many buffs as a certain someone. Ignore cover enhancement. It's good for Gauss Blaster Immortals, and healing at the end of the fight phase is good for a slowly dying warrior brick. You know, you've been charged, but you still have OC, or maybe even you're like 1 OC short. Right. You get to heal at the end of the fight phase and have it in time for your command phase because reanimation happens after you score, I believe, in the command phase. So it is good for OCs play like that.
Good timing.
Yeah. The bad and the only everyone online, the general consensus, right, is that this is the best Grotmas attachment. I personally don't think it's the best Grotmas attachment. Maybe it's because I've only played part-time contributor Titanium Timmy Tomas, Tinfoil Tomas, and I beat him. I tabled him in 3 turns just by focusing fire down everything. I killed the Silent King in 1 shooting phase. He wasn't doing the Reanimator. He didn't have the little minus damage guy, so that's something to be said. But the problem is, even if you move guys through walls, if you move a guy through a wall, then the 6 inches reactive move probably isn't getting him back around the wall.
Right.
And if you can't 6-inch back him, something's dying. Something big. You're playing a whole army with big, expensive units that are all toughness 10 or less. Even the Silent King is only toughness 10. A Doomsday Ark is toughness 9. Right. You know, most armies that have decent shooting have stuff that can take that shit out. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. So, yeah, you can move through walls, and the Silent King can't charge through walls, but you know he can move through a wall, then charge, whatever. He's not going to die to Overwatch. The main downside.
That's what I'm bolted for you.
The main downside of this is that the toughness of the vehicles is a little bit low. That being said, I do think they're expensive. Yeah, you're gonna have a small amount of units, and if they start dying, your options are gonna dwindle down pretty quickly. Yep. I think it's loaded. I think it's still loaded. I think it's still going to have, a 53, 54% win rate. I just don't think it's going to be in the 60s like everyone's afraid it's going to be.
I could see it being loaded between loaded and hammered. Definitely top of loaded.
You think
that?
So if you want it to be hammered, then you have to say into the camera that Tomas is bad at Warhammer and that he's misplaying this attachment.
I would say loaded then.
All right.
He's beaten me every time we've ever played. So
okay.
He beat me bad.
All right, we'll leave it loaded. We'll leave it loaded for now. We're probably the only people that don't have it in the top category, but I think once the tournament stats have a few months to meticulate, I think you're going to see that it's really not. If we're saving hammered for like the top 3 or 4, it's probably just outside of that, in my opinion.
Top of loaded. We'll see.
All right. Going on to the next detachment, which is going to be on the 7th day of Grotmas. The Deathwatch exists again!
Whoa! Woo! Deathwatch, yeah!
The Deathwatch Black Spear Task Force, which was the same name as the task force from their since deleted index.
Rest in peace.
Let's see what the rules are. Literally just the original index. Hey! Oh,
we're back.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby. I mean, there are a few minor changes, but it's really not even worth talking about. So it's pretty much literally just the index. You can play it again. Congrats on existing in Deathwatch players. I'm sure out of the 4 of you that exist, none of them are ever going to find our YouTube channel. But if you do, congrats.
Thanks for watching.
Gold star for you. Thanks for watching. Moving on to the Imperial Agents Veiled Blade Elimination Task Force. Now, Imperial Agent IPA, as Imperial Agent yourself,
yes,
I think I'll let you read the Imperial Agent's Army Rule.
Yes.
All right, and moving on to the detachment rule.
We got Extremist Sanction. Assassins can use their once per game abilities twice. Cool. That's fine.
That's two of the, what's it called? What are the guns called?
Vindicator. Shieldbreaker.
Shieldbreaker rounds. Pretty nice.
Those are cool.
2 overkills by the Eversor. He's probably not going to survive to do it, but if he does, it's nice.
Hey, was it the Calidus making the CP more?
Yeah,
within 12.
Twice.
Yeah, not as good as it used to be, but I can never even find one in the store. I've never seen one.
They were in on the Warhammer store a few weeks ago. They're probably out now. They kind of blipped up. You got to put the reminder on the store. Put your reminders on models in the Warhammer store so you can be sure to spend all your money as soon as they're available.
And if you do see your faction dice, buy them immediately. They sell out and then they're gone.
Yep.
Learn that the hard way. You have to take those enhancements and pay the cost. So every assassin, it's going to be really expensive.
Every assassin becomes more expensive. You don't have an option. You don't have an option. The enhancements are mandatory.
Yeah, they're expensive. There's just not enough in this army yet to make it viable. Is it fun? Sure.
Assassins are cool. Assassins are cool.
It's fun. Assassins are cool. All the enhancements, they're buffing all the assassins.
Yeah, Calexis, they get to throw grenades on 3+. Great. The Calidus twice for battle. She gets to kill another infantry model on the battlefield and take its place, like shedding its skin, like it was a Calidus in disguise. Cool. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
The Eversor gets a free heroic intervention or counteroffensive for free. Great. Counteroffensive, it might come into play. He is a melee guy. And the Vindicare, this is the best one. The Exodus rifle gets anti-monster 4+, and anti-vehicle 4+, and it already has dev wounds.
Okay.
So it's nice for an army that has pretty much 0 anti-tank. It's a splash of anti-tank.
You got all these stratagems.
All the strats. So the problem with the strats is they're all about the assassins. We're talking about the assassins are epic heroes. So we're talking about 4 models. Mm-hmm. 4 models, and every strat is about those 4 models. 4 wound T3 infantry models. So the prime target in the shooting or fight phase, any agent's unit when attacking a character gets reroll wound roll of 1. But if it's an assassin targeting the warlord, you reroll all wounds. Amazingly specific. Hyperstims 2 CP.
Cool him is cool.
It's cool, but
it'll be cool.
You have to. One model. Your 4 models max targeting 1 model is the only time you get to reroll all wounds with it. I don't know. A lot of armies get to reroll all wounds just for popping a CP. Hyperstims 2 CP. Opponent shooting phase starts selecting a target. Character unit selected a target. +1 toughness. But if it's an Eversor, it also gets a 4 up Feel No Pain.
Ooh.
The problem with that is, of course, the Eversor has 4 wounds. It doesn't matter if he has a Feel No Pain. He's gonna die.
For 2 CP.
For 2 CP.
Make it make sense.
Will Sapping Salvo. Shooting phase. Infantry unit gets sustained hits 1. If it's the Calexis, increase the damage of the ranged weapons to 3. Orbital Oversight. Opponent's shooting phase. Just after selecting a target infantry unit that was targeted, gets 18-inch lone op. If already a lone op, aka an assassin, you get 6-inch lone op. That one is actually good. That's cool. Because your opponent's within 9 of you. They're shooting your assassin. Finally, I'm within lone op range, and then 1 CP. My lone op range is now 6. Mm-hmm. So that is nice. Blind grenades, opponent declares a charge, -1 to charge, or if you're a Vindicary Assassin, -2 from the charge. Ensnaring trap, 1 CP, in opponent's charge phase, declare a charge an enemy within 6 inches. No charge bonus to your callus, you get +1 to wound. So this is, again, the same one from the Dark Angels Detachment, but it is just 1 CP, and if you are a callus, you get +1 to wound.
See, why couldn't it be that?
Why could it should just be 1 CP? I mean, I get that it's a second. Why you got to pay 2 CP for a second heroic intervention? It's weird.
The good assassins are cool.
Assassins are cool. Agree on that. Vindicare, and unfortunately for Agents players, there aren't of you out there, the Vindicare with the dev wounds and the anti-vehicle is like you're literally the only thing that can wound a vehicle reliably in the Codex.
One model.
The bad agents suck.
For now.
The detachment is entirely based around 4 infantry models that, with their enhancements, are only 580 points to every 2,000 point army. Everything else is getting half use out of the stratagems at best, and no benefit from the army rule, essentially.
Yeah, what's up with that? And they make you buy the whole codex.
They make you buy the whole codex army. Just to use the agents, the assassins elsewhere.
I'm using 1 assassin. Make $60.
All right,
that's it.
And then, so yeah, this one's gonna be sober.
Sorry.
Oh, they're both sober. Sorry. Well, should make Deathwatch sober or buzzed. I'll make it sober. Whatever. Sober. Yeah, sorry. It's probably worse than the Warrior Buyer form.
Sorry, guys. Your units look cool though.
They look cool. Both these armies, very cool lookers.
Yes.
Very cool
lore-wise. Tabletop.
Not so much.
Lore though. Very cool.
All right. The Adeptus Custodes, Henry Cavill Spearhead.
Yes.
On the 9th day of Grotmas, Henry got into his Space Marine pajamas. He woke from his slumber with maybe Millie Bobby Brown, allegedly. He trundled down the stairs, and what did he find under his tree? Imperial Agent IPA.
The Solar Spearhead.
The Solar Spearhead. And what is the Solar Spearhead? Well, his custom rule, Martial Kata, every time you select a fight, they get to pick sustain or lethal hits.
Cool.
The detachment rule is interesting. It's all about vehicles, and specifically gives a little bit more to the dreadnoughts for Custodes, which are, some of they're really more seen as the support pieces. Traditionally, Custodes have been infantry armies. We're giving the vehicles some shine with this one, which is nice. The vehicles at starting strength that aren't battle shot get +2 OC. Vehicles below starting strength, they lose that extra OC, but they reroll hit rolls of 1. And vehicles below half strength reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. So they kind of get
a lot like the Sisters Index.
Yeah, it is. They get a lot more killy as they get damaged. More roadie agents. Walkers get +2 to move, +1 to advance, and +1 to charge. That's a little spicy.
Yeah,
that's a little spicy on the dreadnoughts that have some pretty good melee profiles, honestly.
Do they move 8, or how far do they move normally?
I think they move 8 normally, so this would give them a 10-inch movement.
And plus a charge. Wow, that's pretty far.
And then if only they could advance and charge. Now, 2 walkers can be made characters and can take enhancements, and one of them can be your warlord also.
Really?
So you get to pick 2 of your dreadnoughts to give the following enhancements to. And to be your warlord.
How cool is that? That's fun.
All right, so your enhancements, the Adamantine Talisman, improve the attack strength and damage of melee weapons by 1. Now, on Achilles, I think it's pronounced, dreadnought, pretty spicy, because you're pretty good anyway. This makes you even better in melee. This really makes you punch down. You're punching down into T12 guys. I think your strength's 12 by default. This makes you strength 13.
Wow, that is good.
Augury Uplink, a Feel No Pain 5+ for one of these dreadnoughts.
Ooh,
amazing.
Nice durability buff. Cool.
Honored Fallen, a vehicle only. Infantry and mounted units within 6 inches. Reroll hit rolls of 1, so that turns one of these character dreadnoughts into like a buff guy, which is nice. It is nice. Now, how many infantry and mounted units you're going to take in this attachment? Well, they're not going to benefit from everything in attachment. The attachment's really focused on vehicles. We'll have to give a synopsis at the end of that. Veteran of the Cataphractoi. Infantry and mounted unit only, so it is a little something for the infantry characters in here, or the jet bike boys. In the movement phase, select 1 infantry and mounted unit within 6 inches of the barrier that you can fall back and shoot. Now, this is actually pretty good on the bikes who got a big glow up in a recent errata, and their shooting is actually really good. So if they get into combat there, they are melee focused. They're going to try melee, but now they can fall back, and they have an option for the bikes that's like an AP2 damage 2 Stormbolter, essentially. Or they have an option that's like a one-shot las cannon. So fallback and shoot's pretty good on them.
Definitely better than it used to be. Flawless construction. So opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after they select your target. It's going to be that -1 to wound strat.
We love it.
We like that one. That's a great one. Good defensive strat. Next one, Emperor's Vengeance. Fight phase after you select a target. The opponent does. Unit was targeted. You get a 4 up, fight on death, or 3 up if it was a walker. So
So
good
that's
buff.
great. You know, Custodes is a
Fighting
melee
on death.
army. The walkers get it on a 3. You love the walkers in this attachment. It's
That's
great.
good. Wrathful Advance. Oh, like we were talking, we get a fight phase before they pile in. If you're about to pile in, you get D3 plus 3 inches. So
Weird that they don't get the 6.
Yeah.
Weird that they're like 6-inch pile-in might be a little much for the Custodes.
Too much for them.
But it's still a little something.
You're still getting at least 4.
Yeah.
Which is good. Unstoppable. Start a movement phase. Vehicle and mountain unit can move through walls. We like moving through walls.
All of a sudden, moving through walls 10 inches with your buffed up Dreadnought.
Okay. That's good.
And then he's got +1 strength, damage, and whatever in melee, and then a charge, and pretty nice.
That's nice. Relentless Persecution. Movement phase, vehicle unit that just can advance and shoot. If you're in a walker, you can do that advance, shoot, and charge, like we're talking about.
So maybe you have 2 CP. Maybe you've got a walker right behind a piece of terrain. Maybe you advance, you have 10 inches of movement, you roll a 6. Maybe you advance 16 inches through a wall and then shoot and charge for 2 CP. That's a lot.
It's good. Punishment Inescapable. The shooting phase, a unit that is not shot yet, ignore cover and hit roll or modifiers.
That's nice. You're not a shooting army. If you need it, you need it. Really, it's for if you're shooting into a tank that's smoked.
Yep.
With a grav tank. So that's nice for that. The good, Dreadnoughts advancing through walls, like we said, pretty spicy. Achilles melee weapon beefed. I guess they have 6-inch default movement, so it's 8-inch movement, so it's not as bad.
I see.
But it's still nice. It's still nice. So only a 14-inch max move through a wall, guys. Only 14 inches. Achilles melee weapon beefed up goes to 6 attacks with strength 13, AP 2, damage D6 plus 2 with the enhancement. That's a lot to take to the face, charging through a wall. Dreadnought with 5 Field of Pain's good. Fall back and shoot's good on bikes. And then the Fight on Death is good for every unit in Custodes. The bad is that it's still probably not better than the other Custodes attachments just because your Custodes infantry are still your better units. So all the buffs to vehicles are nice. Does it move it above the attachments that make the infantry better and focus on the infantry? In my opinion, probably not. That being said, you could have a good placing with this army if you're a savvy commander, but you're just kind of limiting yourself a little more than otherwise. I would say this might be our first tipsy detachment.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right, we're gonna put it in tipsy because we're feeling it a little bit, but we don't really think he's too serious about being here.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to one of the funnest ones, without a doubt, and my personal flavor saver from the Grotmas Detachments. Is this not the shortcut? What am I doing wrong? Whatever. Oh. I was just lagging. On the 10th day of Grotmas, the Gavo gave to Chaos Knights the Iconoclast. And now with this, so the Chaos Knights army rule, it's a battle shock rule. Enemies within 12 inches of Chaos Knights models have -1 leadership. Each time a Chaos Knight model attacks a battle shock unit, +1 to wound. Each time a battle shock unit attacks a Chaos Knight, -1 to hit roll.
I think this means a lot for Chaos Knights, because just their lack of units, they need to take that OC away.
No, I mean, so the rule for the index attachment they had was like, if you're within range of a Chaos Knight, always roll battle shock.
Oh, okay.
But I personally got fucked from it one time. I failed all my battle shock rolls. It was astounding. But really, it's pretty much seen as one of the worst army rules in the game because it just doesn't do enough for him.
Unfortunate.
Anything with battle shock is just kind of doesn't do enough. Dreadmasters. So the attachment rule of this one is really fun. You can ally in damned units from Chaos Space Marines for 2k game up to 500 points. So those are going to be your cultists, your Accursed Cultist, and your Traitor Guardsman. And if you want, you can bring a Dark Commune character. In this attachment, you probably don't want to, but if you want. The Chaos Knights have a 9-inch aura of letting the damn units reroll 1s to hit and wound. Nice on Accursed Cultist, okay on Traitor Guardsman. You're not really going to want to use this, and that's because the second rule is the more powerful one. Chaos Knights can sacrifice damned units within 6 inches in the shooting or fight phase to gain lethal or sustained hits. 1, the damned unit has to take a leadership test. If it passes, destroy D3 damn models. If it fails, destroy D3 plus 3 damn models. So the real beef of this attachment, Imperial Agent IPA, is having 20 bricks of Chaos Cultists around the feet of giant Chaos Knights. And every phase, they're picking them up and they're eating them. And every knight you have has this 20 bricks of cultists. And by the end of the game, there's only 2 or 3 left if they're
They're
still
munching.
alive. And then he just picks them up and he eats them. And you move along with your day, and it's amazing.
That's the life of a cultist.
That's the life of Chaos Cultists in the iconoclast beefdom. The
What could be
enhanced,
more honorable though?
nothing more honorable. Eaten by your
Knight?
masters.
That's pretty epic.
For the enhancements, we have Profane Altar, a Chaos Knight model only. When a bear makes a dark sacrifice, which is what it's calling to do the sacrifice, you always do D3 plus 3 damn models, but you get both lethal and sustained.
Ooh, I like that.
That's very spicy, especially
like
from the
that.
big shooting knights that have a billion shots.
If it's gonna happen anyway, might as well get both benefits.
Might as well get both.
That's what the cultists deserve.
That's what the cultists are for.
Yep.
Put two 20 bricks around him. The 20 bricks are 100 points apiece, so you can have 100 cultists and 3 big knights in a list.
You gotta be doing that literally every time.
Yeah.
Seems like the way to do it.
Pave the way. The Chaos Knights model give 3 damn units scout 6 in the equip automation step. Nice for getting your Chaos cultists moving out of the gate because the knights are a little bit faster than them and they might not be able to keep up unless they advance. So it's nice. It works for the detachment well. The Tyrant's Banner, a Chaos Knights model only, can dark sacrifice any visible damned unit. It doesn't have to be within 6. That's amazing for yeeting your big melee knight across the board. He looks back over his shoulder, and then he like fucking magnetos them towards him and eats them. It's awesome. Diabolical Resilience.
For 5 points.
5 points. I mean,
Might as
when
well
are you not
take
going
it.
to take it? Diabolical Resilience, a Cast Knights model only. You get a 6+ Field of Pain and ignore modifiers to move, advance, and charge rolls. Now, 6+ Field of Pain, huge. I don't really know of any ability to move, advance, and charge that's not limited to infantry besides the one in the new Guard Codex that's really hard to get off. So maybe they're looking forward to that. But at any rate, 6+ Field of Pain on a model that has like 30 wounds, amazing. Gives you a lot of wounds back.
It's going to definitely give you a lot of wounds back.
Stratagems, 1 CP, any phase after a Chaos Knight is destroyed, damn units get lethals against that unit. Great. Wretched Masses, 2 CP, any phase after damn unit is destroyed, bring back an identical unit reserves. Great. You can bring a 6th unit back of those 100 of those 20 cultists. Keep sacrificing them more. Soul Hunger, fight phase after CK has fought that if destroyed model, you gain D3 wounds, so you get to heal. And if you battle shock a model with your attacks, because some of them have that ability, you get D3 plus 2 wounds instead.
Nice bonus.
Unrestrained Rage, movement phase after CK unit advances or falls back. Advance, hold back, shoot, and charge. Amazing on all the big knights. 1 CP, great stratagem for Chaos Knights. Worthless Chattel, this is a fun one. Shooting phase, damn unit. Your other units can shoot at enemy units engaged with this damn unit, and if each time the enemy unit loses a wound, roll a d6 on a 4+ destroy damn model. Preserve. There's a few of these that are like shoot into your own model detachments or rules coming out in the detachments, both in the new Guard Codex and in these detachments. I think they're really fun. Preserve the Idols, 1 CP. Opponent's movement phase. When enemy ends a unit within 9 inches of a Chaos Knight, and a damned unit within 6 inches of the Knight can make a normal move up to 6 inches towards that enemy unit. So this is like a unit's moving up to charge a Knight. There's some cultists to the left of him. You can move those cultists in front of him to move block the charge.
Okay.
That's great.
Nice.
The good news is it's freaking awesome. Advanced shoot and charge on big boys is great. They got solid enhancements. You get cheap action monkeys with your sacrifice fodder. A big complaint about Knights players is that even an Armiger is too much to lose to an action. Yeah. Now you have little guys do the actions. Cultists have sticky objectives, Chaos Cultists, so you get to benefit from that. So in an army that doesn't have sticky objectives naturally, you now are bringing in Cultists that can sticky things for you. Other Chaos Knights attachment is kind of ass. It doesn't have a very good win rate. Last time I checked, it's all based around Battle Shock. So this is probably a better bet potentially. And then it incentivizes bringing 3 big knights. So a lot of lists, nowadays are all Armigers, especially for Chaos Knights, because they have an Armiger character who could be the Warlord. This kind of brings the 3 big knights back in the fold. You have 3 big knights. You have your Worthless Chattel. Maybe you still mix in Armigers. Maybe you don't. That's up to you. The bad news, you lose Knights of Shade, which is in their detachment. Their other detachment, they have a big knights move through walls.
Oh,
so they can move 1 big knight or 2 Armigers through a wall. You lose that. That's a very powerful ability. It's probably not as good as the Max War Dog list in the other detachment still. The Max War Dog list in the detachment Knights of Shade might be better competitively than this. But this definitely does have some competitive play. And then
it's also very flavorful.
It's very flavorful. It's very flavorful, which is awesome. Yeah. And then, they're just picking up these guys and just like shoving them into their mouths. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, power up. Yeah.
Love that. A bad thing is that, you might think this attachment, oh, great, I can bring a Cursed Cultist and they could be my infantry melee damage dealers on the ground. Unfortunately, the way that the army rules and the stratagems work, it's all kill damned model. It's not the damned unit takes mortal wounds. So for the same you're not going to get to use your Accursed Cultist with Dark Comedy and Feel No Pain. This is just going to kill the model. And then when you get to your Hideous Mutation guys, the 3-wound models, it's going to kill them just like they're like a cheap-ass Cultist anyway. So you're probably better off just running Cultist and not running Accursed Cultist, you know, because you're just killing models. You're not taking damage that you can, like, circumvent with your Feel No Pains or, like, put one damage on a 3-wound model. You're just killing them outright.
All right.
But that being said,
how are you gonna rank that one?
If we were doing it all based on how cool it was, it'd be hammered.
Yeah.
But I think competitively, it's probably just tipsy, if not buzzed.
I'd say tipsy.
I'd say we'll do it tipsy, give it some flavor points. Is it better than the Flyblown Host? Honestly, competitively, maybe not. But it does. I don't know. It does have play. The Big Knights get so much better. So I think it does. I think tipsy's a good place for it.
For now.
Watch Flyblown Host have like a 55% win rate, and then this is like our big mistake was the first one, but we'll keep going.
We'll keep going.
Going back to the slideshow. On the
11th day?
11th day of Grotmas, the Imperial Knights came to play with the Questor Forge Pack.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Imperial Knights army rule, they get to pick one of 2 oaths, Lalo the Tyrant. Imperial Knights can reroll one hit roll on one roll every time they attack, and when the D is completed, kill an enemy warlord. Reclaim the realm, +1 to move advanced charge rolls for all Imperial Knights. D is complete when you take control of your opponent's home objective. If you complete your deed in your next command phase, you gain 3 CP, and your army becomes honored till the end of the battle, which interacts with strats in the index attachment, not so much in this attachment. So really all you can disattach is the 3 CP. Most people always pick Layla the Tyrant because it's the easier one to do, and the buff that you get before you complete it is better than +1 to move advanced charge. Now, the detachment rule here, the Cogbound Alliance, similar to the Chaos Knights, it's a soup detachment. This time you're souping in with Admech. You get Tech Priest, Guitar Marshals, or Guitari squads up to 500. And you can take pretty much all the Tech Priest variants, just anything with the Tech Priest keyword. In command phase, Imperial Knights units regain 1 lost wound, or if they're within 3 inches of a Tech Priest, they regain D3 lost wounds. So now you're healing your Knights with the Tech Priest like they're Tech Marines.
Oh, yeah.
Admech units reroll hit rolls of 1 within range with range attacks if they're within 6 inches of Imperial Knights. So similar, Big Knights, Admech at the feet instead of Cultists, but now instead of powering them up, so to say, they're just kind of healing them.
I see.
Enhancements, the Omniscient Champion, Imperial Knight, give him +4 wounds. Amazing. Now you have a giant knight with +4 wounds getting healed every turn.
Not bad.
Knight of the Opus Machina, Imperial Knights model. If the bearer is within 6 inches of the Admech, reroll hit rolls of 1 for ranged attacks. Cool. Magos Questors, a Tech Priest. This essentially turns him into a Tech Marine. He gets 3-inch loan off. If he gets loan off, he's 3 inches of Imperial Knight. And in the command phase, he heals an extra 2 wounds. So instead of D3, he's healing him D3 +2.
That's good.
Very good. And it's probably a must take in this attachment.
Yeah.
The Vocifer Magnificent and Imperial Knights model gets a 6-inch aura of -1 leadership to enemies and +1 leadership to friendly enemies. Whatever. It's 15 points. If you need 15 points, they give you something to take it, but it sucks.
I wouldn't take it.
Stratagems. He wouldn't take it out of principle if you had a
Yeah.
1985 list.
Who needs it? Nah.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that.
Who needs leadership? Come on.
Omniscience Grace, 1 CP. Any phase after more wounds allocated, you get the 5 more Feeling of Pain of Mortals. Situationally nice to have. Vengeance of the Machine Cult. When Imperial Knight is destroyed, Admech get lethals against the unit that did it for the rest of the game. Now, this is actually good. Skitari don't have a bad shooting profile.
Yeah.
They have some good special weapons with some AP, unlike the Chaos Knights attachment, where they're just literally worthless chattel, like that stratagem said, getting fed to the Knights. These guys are actually able to do some damage in shooting.
They can hold them around.
Yeah. Bond and Imperative, 1 CP command phase before Imperial Knights use the bondsman ability. They can give their bondsman ability to an Admech unit, which is great because you're probably gonna be running less war dogs or they're called armigers to give them, you're gonna be able to give it to Admech units. And if you have an Armiger and an Admech, you get to give it to both. So it just lets you give it to the Admech additionally. You don't have to sacrifice your Armiger if you're still running Armigers.
Nice.
Machine Focus, 1 CP. Imperial Knights unit can ignore modifiers to his ballistic skill, weapon skill, and hit rolls. That's nice if you're like, you're playing on shooting a unit that has access to smoke screen or just innately -1s to your hit or wound or something like that. Or especially for Imperial Knights, if you're shooting a unit that has the -1 strength better than toughness, you can ignore that. Aggression begets aggression. Shooting phase, 1 Armiger or 1 Imperial Knights carry, which is a big knight, and 1 Admech within 6 inches of it. Ranged weapons get assault. Great.
Hey, get assault.
Assault on a paladin with a rapid fire battle cannon or whatever, or the one with the big plasma cannon is awesome. And if he's got boys around his feet, they just get it for free as well. Throne Guy's Fury, 1 CP. Opponent movement phase, Imperial Knights model, 1 weapon Overwatch. So this is the return of the rapid fire battle cannon Overwatch that terrorized us throughout the first few months of 10th edition. Now, he doesn't get to shoot any of these other guns, which is probably a good call because just the Paladin Overwatch made Imperial Knights. I mean, I think they had a 70% win rate at one point, and that's why they added the rule that Titanic units cannot Overwatch because of that unit overwatching.
Ooh.
But giving him access to an Overwatch just with the best gun is probably not too bad. So I think it's good that they get it back, and we'll see what the effect is on the game.
Yeah.
The good, it's also awesome. I love all these soup detachments that have officially supported rules. Soup detachments where the allies you bring in, like Imperial Agents, that you can just bring them in, that don't benefit from any of the stratagems, that don't benefit from the detachment rule. I don't like that. I like these specific and officially supported detachments where all the models you bring have a purpose.
Yeah, it seems more well thought out.
Yeah, it's like it's
okay. You bring them like you're supposed to bring them.
Yeah,
and they're gonna get buffs.
And you're gonna be able to play with them just like you play with the other toys.
Yeah.
There are 5 battle count. Overwatch is back. That's big for Knight players. A Big Knight with +4 wounds getting healed. D3+2 is good. Assault on Big Knight, go burr. You got cheap action move monkeys. Those Skitarii are still pretty cheap, so they can do the actions for you. Skitari's got the decent damage output that cultists don't have. Skitarii Rangers have sticky objectives, so again, giving guys small unit armies access to cheap units with sticky objectives is very nice.
That's nice.
And then I think it is competitively better than the Chaos Knight detachment. I think that it just is. I think healing them is better than getting them sustained lethals potentially. And I think just the Skitarii being better than the cultists by so much.
Yeah.
And the stratagem set was really
better
good.
Small guys.
Yeah. The bad news, you lose rotate ion shields, which was their strat that gave them a 4-up invul instead of a 5-up. That's going to hurt their survivability.
Yeah.
If you were in the other detachment, you became honored, your whole army got a Feel No Pain 5+. Mm-hmm. So what's going to be better? Healing every turn, or after you are honored, getting the Feel No Pain 5+. I don't know how the maths out. It's probably going to end up breaking about even though. So the heals, they might seem cool, but are they just a side grade to the potential Feel No Pain?
Right.
And then no benefit from being honored besides getting the CP. So and again, in the other attachment, once you're honored, your stratagems get better. They're all 2-level stratagems. So you get this, but if you're honored, you also get this in the stratagems, and then blanketly you get a Feel No Pain if you're honored as well. So there's not enough interaction with the honored rule. All being honored does is give you 3 CP. That being said, we made the Iconoclast class fiefdom tipsy. I would put this as tipsy as well if that's the case.
I agree.
God, dude, we really dicked on Flyblown Host.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, Death Guard. All right, on to the next one. We are going to see what happened. If
you're still watching with us, thank you for staying with us.
We'll add a footnote so you can skip around to each attachment. Mm-hmm, so that's probably going to be more than a 1-session watch if you are watching. And if you do enjoy the content, like and subscribe.
As usual. Thank you.
We're on to my favorite army, an army very close to my heart, and an army that haunts your nightmares.
It does.
Imperial Agent Stout. Mm-hmm. And that's the Grey Knights and their Wolfbane Task Force. Now, as you know, Grey Knights, we are the kings and 10th of Uppy Downey. We get to Uppy Downey 3 units at 2K. Everyone else who has a detachment rule only gets to Uppy Downey 2. So we're the best at it. We love to Uppy Downey. We do it. The problem has been that Grey Knights traditionally have been more of a melee damage dealer than a shooting damage dealer. Now, the Dread Knight buff made 6 Dread Knights a really powerful army for a while. That kind of got nerfed. They made them a lot more expensive. We were back to a place where you had to play very cagey with Bricks of Terminators mixed in with Dread Knights to win. And then we dropped to a 44% win rate. We had the lowest win rate in the last few months of last year of any army. But now we have this. The best zone of control rule in the game, and I'll show you why. So we have a classic zone of control, always home, half mid, half away, get the zone. Our zone, it's a classic hit one. We're fully within hallowed ground, we get full hit rerolls, otherwise we get reroll hits of 1. Sounds great, right? Definitely. All stage. There's precedence for this kind of thing happening Warhammer before. Mm-hmm. Purifiers. 125 points for 5. 250 points for 10, but only 125 points for 5. Purifiers. 5 infantrymen. Purifiers. They can uppy downy every turn. Purifiers. Have a 6-inch aura of hallowed ground. Oh, I don't control any objectives? Let me just pick up 3 units of purifiers and drop them all over the board, and guess what? all my units are rerolling all of their hit rolls all game, no matter what the board state is.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I don't have to control objectives.
It might as well purified it.
They might as well just take away the whole thing about the zones of control, because I can just put it anywhere I want all game because they uppy downy and they have a 6-inch aura of giving everyone, including land raiders, including silly things like servitors, reroll all hit rolls.
We'll get into the big wombo
combo soon. The enhancements here are kind of shitty. That's kind of maybe a saving grace for everyone else. The Mandolin Reliquary, a Grandknight Small, plus 3 OC, whatever. You get a Dread Knight that's 7 OC. It's nice if you have 20 points, put on a Grandmaster Dread Knight. Radiant Champion, 15 points. A GK infantry unit gets precision and melee, and every time they successfully score a wound, whether you save it or not, every time they wound, it causes 1 mortal wound.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool, and it's very spicy on something like a Tech Marine that has 8 melee attacks, potentially doing 8 mortal wounds. Cool. But it kind of lands in the realm of cute for me more than a must take. File of the Abyss, Grand Knight's infantry model, unit gets stealth. So the thing is, Purifiers cannot be led by anyone but Castellan Crow's an epic hero.
So you can't get it.
So you can't put any of these on Purifiers. You can put stealth on a big brick of Strike Marines, which I don't think you would want to take, and you could put the stealth on a unit of Terminators where it's the most valuable, but Terminators don't synergize with this detachment really well.
Right.
So I don't think any of these enhancements are a must take. I think File of the Abyss being 25 points is a don't take in this detachment based on the best way to construct your army. But let me know if you disagree in the comments. Paragon of Sanctity, 10 points. Once per game, any phase, select a visible GK unit within 18 inches, and it's on hallowed ground that phase. Now this is nice. You can drop a solo Grandmaster Dread Knight outside your zone of control, and then once per game that turn, he can make himself get full rerolls in the hit phase, in the shooting phase, essentially. It's nice. It's 10 points. If you have the room, put it on a Grandmaster Dread Knight.
Sure.
On to the stratagems, and this is where the spice really begins. Sanctified Kill Zone, shooting or fight phase, reroll wound rolls of 1, or if you're Purifiers, reroll all wounds. That's a 10 brick of Purifiers led by Castellan Crow. That's 4d6, strength 6, AP1, damage 1 incinerators. That's 8 Stormbolters in rapid fire range, getting 4 shots each to 48 shots from Stormbolters, I believe. Is that math? This is Drunk Bolter, not Math Bolter.
Is it 4 times 12?
4 times 8. 16. 32.
Yeah.
It's Drunk Bolter. It's not Math Bolter. 32 Stormbolter shots, rerolling all hits and wounds. That's 24 Purifying Flame shots, strength 4, AP1, ignores cover, damage 1, anti-infantry 2+, rerolling all hit rolls and wound rolls. That's a maximum of 72 shots, rerolling all hit rolls and wound rolls for 1 CP.
Don't let him deep strike behind you.
Think about something else. Think about, instead, you just have Purifiers by themselves with 4 side cannons. That's the same amount of Stormbolters, only 10 Purifying Flame shots, but 12 shots with strength 8, AP1, damage 2, wounding a T10 vehicle or a T12 vehicle on 5s, but now rerolling all wound rolls. You're going to get a lot of chip damage out of that. I've seen it firsthand. You're going to do maybe 6, 8 damage to a big vehicle just with a little Purifier squad, and then be able to get it down more with the rest of your army. It's great for chipping. It gets big things. It's great for Purifiers, just eradicating even elite infantry in either shooting or combat. I mean, in melee, you're talking about 30 strength 6 AP2 damage 2 attacks. Rerolling all hit rolls and wound rolls. And the best part is, it's only 1 CP. The fact that the Purifiers have the aura of hit rolls, and the fact that this stratagem is only 1 CP is what busts up the balance of this detachment. Flame of Sanctity, 1 CP, end of fight phase, Purifier unit at the thought, roll a d6 for every unit engagement range, and you can do d3 mortals on a 4+ or a +1 if Crow dies leading it. It's cute. It's very situational. Maybe if you're fighting a unit and it has 1 or 2 wounds left, you do this to kill it. Besides that, it's probably not worth a CP. Hallowed Beacon, 1 CP. Now, this is another very, very spicy stratagem, Imperial Agent. Do you want to read this one?
Yeah. So if a non-Terminator infantry unit can deep strike or teleport within 6 inches of an enemy, and if it's wholly within hollow ground, it's still eligible to charge. That's crazy. You get your 6-inch deep strike
That's the only one.
It's the only
one in the game.
That's it.
That's a 6-inch and charge. And because Purifiers have
what is it? Caldo Drago.
Caldo Drago, he gets a +3. So you're still striking 9, but you get a +3. So now we have besides Cal Drago and Terminators, because you probably don't want to bring that attachment.
Hmm.
This lets you. It can only be used on hollow ground, so you have to land within outside 6 inches of a unit and wholly within hollow ground.
Mm-hmm.
But the best part, again, what breaks this is that the purifiers have a 6 inches aura of hollow ground. So you deep strike purifiers 9 inches.
Mm-hmm.
You then deep strike your melee purifier 6 inches using this.
Mm-hmm.
You shoot something with the Shui purifiers that's not the closest unit, kill them. You then get a 6-inch charge with the other unit. You can use the reroll wound stratagem in both phases if you have all the CP. You just kill like half their army with like they make one mistake, leaving you enough room to deep strike one of your purifier units 9 inches behind their lines, and then half their army's gone in one turn.
It happened to me.
It happened.
I was like, oh, you don't screen. You die. Bring your infiltrators, everybody. Please.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to change something here. I think this is a highly likely change.
That combo
either a 2 CP or just taking away the clause that says you can still charge.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't specifically say you can still charge. It just doesn't say that you can't charge. So rules is written, you can charge. So was that a typo? We'll see what happens. Right now, you can put Crow in his incinerators. You can, if you have 3 total CP, Crow and incinerators, full melee purifiers, stacked up behind your opponent's entire army, reroll wounds with Crow, kill something big, charge with the other ones, kill something else big. You're good to go.
That's a good combo right there.
Fires of Covenant. Starve your opponent's movement phase, GK infantry unit, an enemy unit finishing any move within 6 inches can take D3 mortal wounds on a 4+ or a 2+ unit that's wholly within hollow ground. Again, it's kind of It's easy for your opponent to get around. You have to declare at the start of the movement phase it's not reactive to their move, so they'll just be like, okay, I'll just go for a 6-inch charge if I'm trying to move there and then not take the D3 mortal wounds. And even if they do go in there, it's D3 mortal wounds for 1 CP is not the best trade-off. Aegis Eternal in the shooting phase, Grey Knight infantry units get a 4-up invul. So, Terminators have a 4-up invul anyway. This is for the power armor boys. There's no AOC. We don't get -1 AP. This is our only defensive strat. It doesn't come up a lot because Grey Knights have armor 2+ anyway. So they have to be being shot with an AP3 gun. But if they are, and you have the CP to spare, you're not planning on using on Sanctified Kill Zone or on Hallowed Beacon, which are the two ones you want to be popping every turn, then you could do it if you're trying to stay alive on objective or something like that. Repelling Sphere, this is potentially good the part about this, and there's a few that are like this now, right? You declare it at the start of your opponent's charge phase. It's not reactive to being charged. So it's a -1 to the charge for any unit charging the whole phase, or if they're on hollow ground, which purifiers always are, it's a -2 to being charged. But it's weird that they make you declare it before your opponent declares their charges.
Interesting.
So you potentially could be misreading the situation. I mean, probably you're going to know it's going to try to charge you, but it just gives your opponent more flexibility to be like, maybe I don't want to charge them. Maybe I want to charge this unit instead.
Could be useful.
But again, you're probably going to be spending all your CP in this attachment on Sanctified Kill Zone and on Hallowed Beacon.
Probably better things to spend.
The good, what's not to like? Dread Knight rerolling all hit rolls, Land Raiders rerolling all hit rolls, Purifiers rerolling all hit rolls and all wound rolls for 1 CP, Purifiers with side cannons doing big damage to T10 vehicles with rerolling all wound rolls, all melee Purifiers decimating anything less than T12 in melee with rerolling all wound rolls, best zone of control detachment that you can uppy down Purifiers so the zones don't even matter, 6-inch charge out of Deep Strike, no one else has that, 2 of the best stratagems in the game. Both are only 1 CP. The good continued OC7 Grandmaster Dread Knight, a GM and DK solo teleport behind enemy lines, then placing himself on hallowed ground because he can do that for 10 points. Brother Captain with Terminators charging out of Land Raider, rerolling all hit rolls, fishing for sustained and lethal wounds. Not the most efficient use of the points. Still probably a good thing. Still could win a tournament. Tech Priest with Radiant Champion, rerolling all hit rolls and dealing 8 mortal wounds for 15 points. Even the servers are rerolling all hit rolls. They come in off strategic reserve with 4 multiple rerolling all hit rolls, and they nuke an elite infantry unit. Servitors, 50 points, rerolling their hit rolls. Power armor is back, baby. Kill, GK, kill no more. Tic-tac-toe, hidey hole bullshit. And the bad, not really anything. You do lose Mistadamos, which was, it is a really good stratagem, but that's not the focus of this. You don't want to keep these guys alive. This is an attachment about glass cannons, wiping out swaths of your opponent's army, and then immediately dying, taking turns, throwing your Purifiers and your Dread Knights at them, and getting good trades. No armor content, but again, whatever. Let him die. Who cares? No 3-inch deep strike, but oh wait, no one gets a 3-inch deep strike anymore. So in the other one, you have a 6-inch deep strike you can't charge out of, and this attachment, you have a 6-inch deep strike you can charge out of. Definitely better. And with that, I think it's hammered! Oh. All right. Moving on. So. Oh, where are we going? On the 12th day of Grotmas, the Gabo gave to
13th day.
Gave to the Dark Angels because it's better to do the detachments than our Dark Angels attachments.
Right. We got the Librarius Conclave.
I think this one is actually pretty good.
I did try it once. Combos in it. I think it could be really good. Let's just go take a look. All right, so you get your oath moment. If you're not playing a Divergent chapter, you get that +1 to wound. Cool. You got this one's all about the psychic abilities. So you can pick one of these abilities for all your psychic units to have at the start of the battle round. So it's not like tactics. You can choose one every battle round, and you can use them over again.
Which
so
is
you're not
nice.
Limited. You can do it every round.
It's fully in your hands.
You can
do whatever you want to do.
All of them.
Yeah.
Biomancy +2 to move. Divination reroll hit and wound rolls of 1. That one's really good. Pyromancy rage attacks with 12. Within 12, you get +1 AP. So good. Flamers. Pyromancy makes sense. Telekinesis. Each time a range attack attacks them, -1 strength, catching stuff out of the air. Suppose. Telepathy, ignore any modifiers, including wound rolls.
That one's situational, but if you're playing against triple Satan,
that'd be good.
That'd be pretty good.
That'd be good. For your enhancements, you got Prescience, non-Terminator Psyker, once per turn, reactive move, if you're within, that comes within 9 inches. So D6 or 6 if you're in the
reactive moves are good.
They're good. It's very for your big brain boys.
25 points.
It's kind of a lot.
You're probably gonna put on a Phobos infiltrator. They infiltrate it up, so that potentially keeps them alive another turn.
Yeah, but Phobos would be good
because that's the unit that they're gonna try to charge turn 1, and then you just react and move them back.
Yeah. Give those Phobos and infiltrators.
How much is it worth to you? How many points do you have left over after you built your normal army list?
You got Celerity, so you get for a Psyker, advance and charge plus advance and fall back if you're in Biomancy.
Or fall back and charge.
Fall back and charge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There, come back.
Advance and charge is good, and you can put this one on your Terminators. So you could have a big Terminator with Librarian Terminator, advancing charge.
Good.
Great.
Makes them very, very much movement buff. Obfuscation, you got Psyker, you can't be Overwatch, and you get Lone Op 18.
It's nice. It's nice. Your Space Marine, your units are pretty hefty anyway. You could die to like that Admech crazy Overwatch we were talking about earlier.
That or Doomstalkers.
So it's nice to get around that. And actually, you know what? I think it is a good one because that
Overwatch is pretty powerful.
It's situational, but at top tables, you're going to be playing against the armies that have the I delete you in Overwatch. Yes. So bringing this is like, well, I'll charge you with this unit, and I'm going to get in. So it is pretty
Overwatch
good.
Protection, it just makes you get in there safer. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. Fusillade, Psyker, units range weapons, get anti-monster 5 and anti-vehicle 4 up, and get sustained in pyromancy, or +6-inch range in telekinesis.
So this one has a pretty specifically spicy combo that we're going to talk about later. Mm-hmm. There's some talk about that being in like a Soon-Errata, but right now I think it's still active, so we'll still talk about it.
This is for the Sternguard veterans.
This is the Sternguard veterans who have combi bolters that are now doing mortal wounds to vehicles.
So this is potentially very spicy. On to the strats. You got Sensor Assault. That's 1 CP in your command phase. For your psychic unit, select an enemy unit within 18 that's visible. They get -2 to move and charge. Not advanced, though. If you're in the telepathy discipline, they take -1 leadership battle shock test.
It can be good. It's situational.
It can be good. Slowing them down. If it's like a really melee heavy unit, slowing down world leaders, slowing down Custodes, anything like that, that could be good. Armor Attempt, yep. Same old. Love it.
How dare we try to have a detachment with anything else?
Yeah.
How dare we try to just give every Space Marine detachment one extra unique stratagem? Let's not do that. Fun. No army rules for divergent chapters. In fact, fuck them. They can't add 1 to the wound rolls.
Why didn't they do that?
And then everyone has to have Armor of Contempt. No exceptions.
I remember when Oaths was full win rate.
Full hit and win rolls. And the win rate was still below 50%.
And we still were bad. We still suck. Why'd they do it? Come on, James, tell me. Then you get Fiery Shield. This one's kind of fun. I like this one. It's fluffy. Fight phase after the enemy selects your targets. The infantry or mounted unit that was a target of the attack was within 18. It's -1 to hit. If you're in the pyromancy, their weapons are hazardous. So it could be cool.
It's good. The -1 to hit is always good.
Always good.
And if you happen to be in pyromancy, making like a chainsword or a freaking knife hazardous is hilarious.
It's very funny.
And that one time that your opponent rolls half their squad on ones and then dies when they thought they for sure had that objective locked down is going to be awesome.
It's great. Very fun dice tell stories there. Then you get Iron Arm. Fight phase, infantry unit within 18 of that psyker, you get +1 to strength or +2 in biomancy.
That can be
good.
If you're trying to punch them into a vehicle and you're on that line of wounding on 4s or 5s.
Like say you have power fists.
You got a thunder hammer into their strength 10 right into a T12 vehicle.
Strength 8.
Strength 8 into a T10 vehicle and you're in biomancy. So
yeah. Into a Rhino, for example.
It's situational.
Could be good.
But it could be good.
Yeah. For 1 CP. Yeah. Assail. Shooting phase, Psyker select one enemy within 18 inches, excluding those lone ops. Roll 66. You do on 4s, you do mortal wounds, or 3 if you're in telekinesis.
It's good.
Good.
Finish off a vehicle with a few wounds. Finish off a monster with a few wounds. It's good.
Like Doombolt, but
a little worse.
Not as good.
Yeah,
it's still cool. We like it. We like doing mortal wounds. Then you got prescient precision, so that 6 times fast maybe. Shooting phase, a Psyker unit get lethal hits and ignore cover if in divination discipline.
So your Psyker shooting, can they lead Hellblasters?
Yeah, a librarian can.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Ignore cover on Hellblasters and Lethals. Could be nice.
Actually, it's not bad. Lethal hits on them, definitely good. It's good detachment rule. You get a lot of
buffs.
You got a lot of variety.
Not as many buffs as some people, but you get some buffs.
Still good. I mean, Space Streams, they're a Swiss Army knife detachment, or army,
and you got a lot of different situational stuff based on the board state that you can pick through. It's a good.
You got a Psyker for every sort of unit you have, so you're either a Phobos, you're a Terminator, you're a Battle Line.
A good thing is a lot of the stratagems, they're not just for Psyker units. They're like if a Psyker unit can give it to someone with their mind, which is cool. So,
within those 18 inches.
So as long as you have a good splattering of librarians on the board, you should have pretty good coverage.
That Phobos Librarian Infiltrators is a really good combo with that reactive move. I could have sworn there was another. Is it the Lieutenant in Phobos Armor that has the reactive move as well? Does
he just have it for free?
He's just lone op.
Oh, he's a lone op and he does it?
Yeah.
But this is putting it on your infiltrators.
Which is good. And that deep strike denial is great, especially if you're going against Grey Knights.
Yeah.
That just 12-inch deep strike.
Just keeps them alive. Just keeps them alive for another turn.
It's great. Yeah. You're not letting them in your back line. If they get close to you, just move out of the way. Then they can't charge you. Good for secondaries as well. That advantage in charge of terminates of that librarian, great for the movement. I mean, that's why I would take Gladius, is to get that advantage in charge.
And now you can have it and then have something a little more flavorful as well.
Yeah, so that's very good. Using that Sternguard Librarian Feastlog combo, you're doing a lot of mortals.
You're doing a lot of mortals.
I don't know what the math is on that, but that's really good.
Especially if you can, if you combine it with Oaths.
Yeah.
And you're in the right, whatever they call it, divination thing or whatever, then you're getting sustained with Oaths, fishing for sustained.
You're getting force.
You're getting an insane number of shots, and then half of those are going to turn into mortal wounds.
That's great.
So you could potentially get, definitely 10 plus mortal wounds.
Yeah. The Fire Shield, like you said, it's cool. It's layerful. It sounds awesome. The mortal wound strat
is good.
Fun. Cool. We like doing mortal wounds. The bad, it's going to be the trade-off between the better detachment rule and maximize.
So a lot of if we go back to the stratagems, a lot of them specify what whatever discipline you have to be in. Like for example, the +1 strength or +2 strength in melee is biomancy, right? But if we look at what biomancy is, it is +2 to move. So that one, do you always want? You probably want +2 to move turn 1.
Turn 1, yeah, or turn 2.
The rest of the game, it's probably better to have hit rerolls of wounds in 1. Hits and wounds,
buffing your damage.
You're pretty much choosing not to have a lot. You get into a lot of situations where you have to be like, do I want the best thing for the entire army, or do I need to do something less optimal for the entire board in order to use a strat for it to become better on this one unit?
Yeah,
and that's a trade-off that you're going to have to manage as the commander of this army.
It's a lot of thinking, which makes sense for being a librarian. You got to be really smart.
Oh, I actually had some examples here. So you only get lone op from the enhancement if you're in telepathy discipline, but that's the ignore modifiers thing. So that you would probably never. That's the one you would want to use the least generally, is to ignore hit roll, wound roll modifiers.
Yeah.
And the enhancement, I think it just gives you stealth if you're not in it, without not giving you lone op, so it makes it a lot worse. Biomancy unlocks the best melee strat, but it's +2 to move. It does go along with melee, but it'd be nice to have that +2 strength and rerolling hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. It'd be nice, but you can't do it if you want +2 strength. And then telekinesis is overall mids, but it unlocks the mortal wound strat. So to do the mortal wound strat with the 3+ instead of 4+, you have to choose for every time a range attack targets you -1 strength to be your thing. is the one really going to move you between the brackets on a lot of weapon profiles? It really depends.
Yeah.
It really depends.
And
So-
you need that enhancement too.
Yeah. So all that being said, where would you rank this one, Imperial Agent?
Shoot. Maybe buzzed.
You think it's buzzed? I think it's tipsy. I think
You think it's
well
tipsy?
now we're in a situation
We
where
gotta put something else in buzz.
we're in a situation where we made both the knight detachments tipsy when they should probably have been buzzed. So I think it's definitely better than both the knights detachments.
Maybe we can do a
And
retroactive.
also, I think it's worse.
adjustment?
I think it also might be worse than the fly blown host. All right, do we want to give up on this and get ourselves off the hook and just do this and this and this and then this?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get away with the cheat code here, y'all. Thanks for holding in with us.
It happens sometimes.
It happens. I do
Already
think
comparison,
it's better than both the Knights ones. I do think it is maybe not as good as Fly Blown Host or Solar Spearhead. Do you want the beer of Superior Tacticians?
I think so. Thank you, sir.
I think we should cheer to the health of the Lord Regent.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ah, I'm feeling tactical, baby.
Tactical.
And with that, we go into the next guy
14th day.
on the 14th day of Grotmas. We're almost halfway done.
We're 2 weeks in there.
The Fabius Bilius Gabois gave to us the Chaos Space Marines creations of Bile. Now this one, I think we're gonna have to chug these beers because I think this one's gonna be hammered.
This is gonna be great.
This is a good one.
Look at that man.
Look at that man. So the Chaos Marine rule, you can do a Dark Pact. If you fail leadership, take D3 mortal wounds, but you still get the buff. You get to stay in early.
I think it's gonna be one of my favorite army rules.
Yeah, it's
Just
great. You're
it's
like praying
always
to the
good.
dark gods, and they might hurt you, they might not.
It's so
but
flavorful.
no matter what, you get it.
And it's great.
It's great.
It's very fun. Love that one.
Now the detachment rule here, it's a buffy one. It's a buff stacky boy. So
Yep.
you can select one of these buff or randomly roll for two of them, and all infantry units get these buffs all game. All infantry units get them all game. Now if Fabius Bile is your warlord, you can reroll one or both dice. But if you end up with a duplicated result, you're stuck. It doesn't do anything else. So you just didn't get to pick one, and you still only get one if you have a duplicate. Now with Fabulous, it's a little less likely because you get that reroll, but
Right.
it'll still come in and fuck you maybe at the championship table of the world or something like that. So
Right when you don't want it to happen,
Yeah.
is gonna happen. So at was it Murphy's Law?
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
So-
Sorry.
Top.
That's cool.
Chaos Spice. It is really cool and it's really
Very
powerful
fun.
because you can get two of these if you roll randomly for it. +1 attacks and melee, +2 to move, +1 weapon skill, +1 toughness, +1 strength, or +1 ballistic skill. These are all good. You know, there's some that are good for everybody. There's some that are good for shooting units. There's some good for melee units. Your best strategy is probably to run a generally mixed army of Chaos Space Marines and then roll every time. Although you could, if you really want to do it, you run all melee and you pick, I just want to get the board quick. I do +2 to move. Or I do all melee, but I want them to hit better. I give them +1 weapon skill. There's a lot of options in this attachment. However, if you roll for your melee army, you could get +1 attacks and +1 weapon skill potentially. So it's
High risk, high
there's
reward.
a lot of options.
Some randomness
how
in
you
there
want
can be
to
fun.
play this. I think you should always roll because that's the fun thing. But
Yeah, definitely.
the enhancement, surgical precision, a non-damn model, and a Astartes model essentially. Models melee weapons have precision. Now something fun about this is it doesn't say non-damned infantry model. So you can give a Lord Discordant on Hellstalker precision and melee, which is sweet. Living Carapace, the Chaos Lord only. Bear gets +1 wound and 5+ feel no pain. It's cute. He's an infantry leader guy. It's cute. Helm of the All-Seeing, a non-damned infantry model, gets a 12-inch bubble of Don't Set Up Reserves, which is awesome because I don't think, and I might be wrong, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I don't think CSM have that on any of their units. I think this is the first time they're able to access it.
I don't know. That's good though.
It's a great toolkit to have.
Great.
It's
Only
a little
25.
expensive at 25.
Yeah, 25.
It's not 30, but it's probably if you end up in a meta where Grey Knights are popping off, which we might end up in again, it probably is good to take.
Definitely.
Prime test subject, 15 points of non-damage infantry model gets +1 damage in melee and reroll all hit rolls in melee.
Ooh.
So this is actually
Good for that dark path.
pretty spicy on a Chaos Terminator lore with his demon hammer or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of units where this could be good on, and it's only 15 points, so it's a little bit of filler. It's probably better than the pilot field paint on it, make him more killy. He's not going to survive anyway. Now the stratagems. The stratagems get pretty spicy. So in monstrous visages for 1 CP and shooting or fighting, An infantry unit selected for target attack, -1 to hit. We love it. We've seen
Mhm.
it. We love it. It's good. Masters are watching, fighting. Infantry unit selected as target attack gets a 4-up fight on death for 9 damage or a 5-up fight on death for damage. Fight on death for your possessed. Great.
Mhm.
Potentially 5 on death for obliterators or something. Great. 5 on death for chosen. Great. Specimen for the Spire. This one's a weird one. It's 2 CP in the fight phase. Heretics targets infantry. You reroll all wound rolls if you're targeting a character unit. And if you kill a character model, you select an enemy unit within 6 inches, and they have to take a battle shock test. And if you killed the Warlord, all enemy units in 6 inches have to take a battle shock test. The battle shock portion is just weird. Rerolling wound rolls against characters is good, especially because big knights are characters and stuff, right? So you would want to reroll wound rolls against big targets. Some of those are character units.
2 CP.
You don't have to have precision, so you can do this into a Terminator brick with a character. It still counts.
Oh, okay.
Because that counts as a character to you because it's attached to you with the character keyword, but
I
it
see.
is 2 CP.
It's kind of a lot.
Whereas if we think back on some of the other stratagems we've seen, Grey Knight, Sanctified Kill Zone, a lot of other armies are just getting full regrown wound rolls with no strings attached for 1 CP.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
if it was 1 CP, it could be really good.
2 CP.
2 CP
is a little much.
It's a lot.
Delayed mutations, command phase, infantry unit excluding dam, take D3 mortals and pick an extra augmentation for the turn. So that's a buff stacker. You have +2 to move, or you have +1 strength, +1 weapon skill. Maybe you're a little bit out of range for the charge. Boom, 1 CP. You take D3 mortals, but you get +2 to move, and now you're in range.
Mhm.
Very useful. Great stratagem. Again, 2 CP. The cost of these stratagems, you don't like seeing 2 CP stratagems. You'll want them to be 1 CP.
Yeah.
Diabolic Regeneration. In the command phase, a non-damage infantry unit return 1 model or unit, or if battle line, return D3 models. Now, this is way better. Way better than returning 1 Terran of War. And you know why? Because you can return 1 Obliterator for 1 CP.
Oh.
You can return D3 Legionnaires for 1 CP. All of a sudden, you might have a squad of 10 Legionnaires, all kitted out with melee weapons, a lot of chain swords, 1 or 2 power fists, that are toughness 5. They might be toughness 5, and their chain swords are now strength 5, and their power fists are now strength 9. They might move 7 inches and have 5 attacks in melee apiece instead of 4. And oh no, some of them are dead. 1 CP, D3 units back. Legionnaires are viable. You weren't seeing a lot of them, but in this attachment, now Chosen are still probably better. But if the points become an issue because other stuff you want to fit in, Legionnaires can be very killy depending on what buffs they have active. Auto stimulants, 1 CP in the charge phase, advance and charge. Amazing.
Hell yeah.
Great for a Chosen unit coming 3 inches out of a Rhino with +2 movement, advancing and charging. They're good. You get amazing setting buffs that affect a wide variety of the CSM units. You bring the balance set, you're probably good no matter what. Fabius Bill gives his own unit +1 strength and +1 toughness. So those chosen are then doing the buff stack with whatever they roll as well. So that unit becomes a really nice wombo combo because his ability is that he gives his unit +1 strength, +1 toughness.
Okay.
So now, if you also have the toughness and strength from this, you're getting +2 strength, +2 toughness.
Okay. And those can stack.
Those stack.
Okay.
Those stack. The only thing that doesn't stack is hit rolls and wound rolls. So this stacks.
Or saving throws. Okay.
So you go from 2 buffs to 4 buffs.
Okay. That's cool.
And 12-inch reserves is nice. -1 hit track good. Augmentated Legionnaires can be interesting, and they can res D3, like I said, and advance and charge is good. The bad, I don't really have much to complain. I think this is probably the best Chaos Space Marine detachment. I think it is. I mean, they haven't been doing the best competitively. You know, Renegade Raiders had its kind of time in the sun. I think a lot of people have figured that out. Maybe Renegade Raiders is still better than this, but I think this one's better than Renegade Raiders. I really do. And then, like we said, you might occasionally get screwed over with the double augmentation, even with the Fabius Bill rerolls. And specimens for Spider Strat, it's weird and it's expensive. That being said, where do we want to put the Creations of Bile? And I keep showing this, which is going to be weird for people watching, but that's because I think that I can do Control Tab to switch out when I need to be pressing Escape and switch out. Where do you want to put the Creations of Bile? I think it's loaded. I think it's hammered. I think it's hammered or loaded.
Really? I'm thinking loaded.
You think loaded? We'll put it in loaded, but I think it's the top of loaded then.
Yeah.
I think it's better than the Hexwarp. Oh, is it better than the Hexwarp Thrallband though? I don't know. With the Devi wounds? Here's the thing. There's a lot of... It's just like the Possessed can become crazy. You can have Possessed where they move naturally 8. You got Possessed moving 10 that are now toughness 6. But We'll do loaded. We'll do loaded.
I say loaded.
This one might be one of the ones that we come back and it's like, obviously that should have been hammered, but we'll leave it in loaded for now. Hey, what's up, party people? We're back. I've shed my ultramarine clothing, but I'm still drinking the most tactical beer in the galaxy. And we are moving on to the 15th day of Grotmas with the spicy redhead here, giving us the Eldari Armored Warhost. Now, this is Star Shatter for Eldar. Eldari have fate dice. You roll some dice at the beginning of the game. If they're good, you keep them. Otherwise, you roll again, but you discard one each time. And you can use them instead of rolling stuff throughout the game. You can auto six stuff if you have sixes. And there's some characters that make them sixes as well. So it's one of those, you don't have to roll mechanic. You use one of these dice instead.
Nice.
An attachment rule, vehicles get assault. Woohoo. Same thing as the Necrons one. Fly vehicles can also reroll advances, which is most Eldari vehicles.
Cool.
Enhancements, a Psyker model, select a vehicle within 9 inches in shooting. It gets +1 to hit. Harmonization matrix, 30 points. Eldari model command phase. If the bearer or transports the target objective, get 1 CP on a 3+. That's nice. It's always nice to farm CP. Spirit Stone of Rylyeth, Eldari Psyker. Bearer gets blown up within 3 inches of the vehicle and heals the vehicle. You get a random, cheap infantry character becomes a Tech Marine.
Nice.
Whatever his rules are, it doesn't matter. Now he's a Tech Marine and it only costs 20 points. Guileful Strategist, Eldari model, redeploy 3 vehicle units. That's good. Always good to redeploy. And that one's only 15 points, which is pretty undercosted for redeploying 3, I would say. It's pretty much, that's probably the best one. I mean, you do want the Tech Marine guy, but this one is the must take, in my opinion. Stratagems, layered wards. You can give a vehicle 5 field of pain and mortals, swift deployment, movement phase, transport units you can disembark after the transport advances, but you can't charge. That's nice. I mean, you have some good transports, you have some good shooting units. It's nice to have. Yeah. Vectored engines, movement phase, vehicles with fly can fall back and shoot. Great. You'd want to fall back and shoot with them to ignore the -1, and you'd want to use on your prism, your fire prism. That's a blast gun. You'd want to fall back and be able to shoot that without penalty. Strat of reinforced cloud strike. Strat and reinforced to the movement phase. Vehicles with fly and strat reserve get a 6-inch deep strike. That is the best part of this attachment. You can 6-inch deep strike a fire prism.
Nice.
That's pretty much it, though. And then Soul Sight, 1 CP, shooting phase, vehicle, reroll, hit roll, wound roll, and 1 damage roll. That's nice. That's pretty much, rerolling 1 hit roll, 1 roll is literally the detachment rule from the other attachment. So this lets you do it for 1 CP on 1 model. Anti-grav repulsion, opponent charge phase after they declare a charge on a vehicle with fly, it's -2 the charge. See, this one's actually reactive, which is way better than the start of the charge phase. And it's -2 to a charge, which can turn a 7-inch charge into a 9.
Yeah, there you go.
The good, all the enhancements are good, all the strats are decent. No more always rerolling hit rolls and wound rolls, which is good for us, not for Eldar players, because that was annoying. Being able to sub in dice and then also do a reroll. And then reroll 1 hit, wound, and damage roll can be really good on a fire prism, but again, a fire prism other attachment is rerolling that hit and wound roll for free without spending CP. The bad, reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll always was pretty good. It really sucks to lose that. There's a lot less face dice farming. There's a lot of face dice farming going on in the enhancements and some of the stratagems, the other attachment. Vehicles are all T9 or less, and for Eldar, there's really not that many types of vehicles. We got them all listed here. There's 8 vehicles. 2 of them are flyers and 2 of them are transports. So really you have 4 vehicles to pick from. One of them is a little T6 boy with 1 Bright Lance. One of them is Warwalkers. They're like Sentinels. Night Spinners' damage output is not great. Their whole thing is that they pin people. They do the -2 to move shit. Really, you just have fire prisms you have 3 fire prisms, and then the other vehicles kind of suck. You're probably better off just taking 3 fire prisms in the other attachment with a bunch of Eldar infantry, to be honest with you. So that being said, it just doesn't have as many good unit options that our vehicles like Necrons does. That being said, I think I would just put it at Tipsy.
Yeah. Others already pretty
good. Yeah, the other attachment is definitely still better, and who asked for vehicle spam Eldar? Is that what Eldar player want? Is that what you want Eldar players? Let us know. Let us know in the chat.
Comments below.
All right, and then on the next day of Grotmas, the other day of Grotmas, the 16th day of Grotmas, the Drukhari gave us the Weeper's Wager. Now, I think this one is really, really nice. It's a soup detachment between Drukhari and Harlequins, which is interesting because Harlequins are Eldar units that do not have anything specific about them in any of the Eldar attachments.
We love our clowny boys.
And now Harlequins are a Drukhari unit. Suck it.
I think it's very cool.
I think it's very cool. Obviously, Drukhari's army rule power from pain. You get 3 pain token at the start of 2K game, and +1 each time an enemy unit is destroyed or fails a battle shock test. You can use them on units in movement or charge to reroll the advance or the charge roll, or what you really want to use them on. I mean, a critical charge is good to reroll, but you want to use them in shooting reroll hit rolls, or in melee to reroll all hit rolls and get +1 AP in melee, which is great because a lot of the AP here is only AP1. AP2 is a lot better than AP1, and on Incubi you go from AP2 to AP3. So. The detachment rule of the Reaper's Wages. You can ally up to 1k Harlequins. So the other super detachments we've talked about so far, they've been up to 500 points. This allows you to have a full half and half army of Drukhari and Harlequins. And I think it does the best of meshing the two armies into one. It's really that you're playing both armies. You're not playing one army and bringing little guys from the other one. It's like really you want to play both Drukhari and Harlequins at the same time and give benefits to everyone. So the rule is that Drukhari, they start winning the wager. When Harlequins kill a unit, they're winning the wager. And then Drukhari kills a unit, they're winning the wager again. The team losing the wager gets to reroll hits and wounds of 1. So you really want to stage like, all right, I'm winning over here, so I'm going to kill my first unit with Harlequins. They did it. Now I can shoot with my Scourges over here. They kill a unit. Amazing. They don't. Need to finish that off with some of my Cavalite Warriors over here. That then empowers this troop over here, who's now getting the rerolls over here.
Very back and
it's
forth.
very back and forth. It's a bit of a mental game, but it's when you have half and half, it's pretty good to balance.
Balance it well.
If you can balance it well, it can be very, very good. And then let's get into the enhancements. The enhancements here are all pretty awesome. Arch Raider, a Harlequins or Drukhari model, gives the transports there and back embarked in Scout 9.
That's a lot of Scout. 9 inches for Scout.
That's a Raider. And you're going first, and it's full of an Archon with 10 Incubi, right scouting 9, and then just getting you right into combat.
Right in there.
Turn 1, potentially. And then, Archons give the Incubi reroll all hits and wound rolls when they're powered. So there's a lot of alpha, even in Harlequins, they have good melee. So there's a lot of alpha melee units that you could just put 15 points on them. If I get the first turn, I scout 9 really aggressively. If I don't get the first turn, I deploy aggressively. I can scout back 9 into safety, play in normal. It's only 15 points. You're taking that risk. It's pretty good.
For a 50-50 shot, that's definitely...
It's not bad for 15 points.
No.
Webway Walker. Harlequins or Drukhari model gives their unit deep strike and reroll charges until the end of the turn when they were set up if they're losing their wager. Now, a 9-inch deep strike with a reroll is still only a 47% chance to work, y'all. The real threat here and the real benefit of this 15-point enhancement is rapid ingressing. You rapid ingress a match from the troop with the troop master. You rapid ingress a squad of Incubi. You don't have to pay the points for the Raider now. You just have to pay 15 points to give him deep strike. So it saves you a lot of money on the transports, and it really lets you get potentially an Incubi with Archon rapid ingress into a very vulnerable position for your opponent, where traditionally they're not worried about you rapid ingressing anything because you're playing Drukhari. Reaper's Cowl. It's not 205 points. It's 20 points. Harlequin's model only. It gives the unit stealth and infiltrate. Now I think this is a must take. Because you can infiltrate a big brick of troop. I think it's 10 troop with a troop master who gives them like +1 or lance or something on the charge. Okay. You get to infiltrate. It's probably a troop master here, or any Harlequin's character, any of the characters with the troop. It's probably the best melee infiltrate unit in the game, and you're unlocking it here with the detachment with an enhancement. It's awesome. Conductor of Torment, 20 points. Drukhari model in the command phase. If Drukhari is losing the wager, gain 1 pain token and be winning. Or if you're winning the wager, discard 1 paid token and be using. Okay, so if you really need to switch it at the start, but usually really you won't need to. But if you need to, this is nice to have, and it's also just a way to farm a pain token if you're losing the wager. At 20 points, I don't know if I'd always take it, but it's there.
The strats, you got Malicious Frenzy. Shooting your fight phase and a unit, you either pick lethals or sustain. That's a common
good
one. It's a good one. Always good to choose. Fateful Roll, fight phase, and use it. Fight on death on 4. 3 if you're doing your wager. Great
for glass cannon melee.
Murderous Circus, fight phase, any unit selected as the target of enemy attacks, -1 to hit. Good for survivability. Most are T3.
They're all T3, yep.
All T3, good for that.
Unless you're like a homunculus coven guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Shorten the odds. Any unit moving phase, advance in charge. That's good.
It's great. You're an army full of melee glass cannons.
You need to get those. You need to make those charge rolls, or else you're cooked.
You can also rapid ingress and then advance in charge, and for 1 paid token, reroll the charge with the enhancement from the Incubi. A lot of thoughts going on.
Scintillating tempo. Any unit, movement, or charge phase, they cannot be overwatched. Another good defensive.
Great.
This is great, especially because they're so squishy. Overwatch can just completely wreck your.
Now you have this in Renegade Raiders, but it's only works there or in whatever it's called, the one that they gave them because they had a 30% win rate. The second detachment, the name's escaping me, but they have this in that attachment, but it only works on the turn they disembark from a transport. So this is flatly better because it's just always. You can never be overwatched.
Nice. The Dance Macabre. In your opponent's movement phase, if your unit it ended within 9 inches, you get a reactive move. D6 if winning, or 6 if you're losing that wager.
Yep.
So we love that.
It's good. I mean, we talked about all the stuff that makes it good.
Yeah.
What makes it bad is that the Harlequins, even though this is the best soup, they still don't get power from pain. So they're losing.
Yeah.
They lose their fate dice rule, and they still don't benefit from power from pain. But I think there's enough to benefit in here that they benefit from to make it worth it. You probably want to bring 750 Harlequins, not the full 1,000, because Rukari's still going to be your only source of anti-tank in here. And it's going to take a lot of staging and planning. And Sky Splinter, that's the name of the detachment. You're going to miss that extra AP when you get out of transport from Sky Splinter. That being said, though, I think this one's safely loaded.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of cool combos. It's got a lot of competitive play. It's not quite as good as these top two that we've talked about already, but I think
play Harlequins too, which
are so cool. And if you're a Drukari, when have you been able to really ally Harlequins effectively before?
I don't know.
This is definitely the best Drukari Harlequin soup we've seen in 40K.
Yeah, if you can paint those Harlequins, that's impressive.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next one. We've got
the Orks.
Oh, I'll let you do this one. You're a big Orks guy.
We got the Tactical Brigade. Now this one, Blood Axes are my favorite of the factions for Orks. So we got, as everyone knows, the Wah. Once per game, your command phase, you call the Wah. All Orks get your 5 invul, advanced charge, and +1 to your strength and attacks and melee.
Great army rule.
That is a fantastic army rule. For your detachment, you got Listener. You get pretty much orders for your Orks. Any mech,
they're smarty Orks.
They're Orks. They like tactics. A lot of other Orks be like, "Why would you even try with you and your tactics? What are you, weird?" That's what they think. But as we can see, they're going to get things done in this one.
They're going to get things done.
They issue orders to any infantry mounted within 6. You can choose 2, but if you fail leadership, you take D3 morals, keep battle shot. So you get reroll charges, +1 strength in melee. You get stealth and cover on range, and +1 to hit roll and shooting. Plus your storm boys are battle lines. So that's a lot of really good buffs that are really going to stack well with these
the ability to take battle line storm boys is awesome.
That is very cool.
And something to think about as well is that +1 strength in melee, it would stack in the Wah, so it would make you +2 strength in melee.
Yeah, so for a power collide, that's strength 11.
Strength 11, wounding vehicles now on 3s potentially.
That's spicy. For a squad of knobs doing that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's some good stuff. So you got squad leader, so a war boss can lead commandos. Right now, you can take a Death Killer War Trike.
You can take a Death Killer War Trike and infiltrate with commandos. You can also take a Beast Boss on Squigosaur. I imagine that...
I need to do this. I have a Death Killer War Trike. I will be doing this, just for the lulz.
You got to get in. They're definitely going to errata that to Infantry War Boss, if not just literally the War Boss without Terminator armor, which is what I think the intent might have been.
Mega armor.
Yeah, I think the intent was literally them trying to say, no, just the data sheet War Boss. Yeah. But the way they worded it, it looks like a keyword.
Right.
So people are bringing Death Killer War Trikes.
You can do it. It's possible. Does it make sense? No, but is it orky?
It's
yes,
sick.
It's orky.
Do it while you can. Do it while you
can. For all you Badrook fans out there, we got Mech Captain. 35 points. Big Mech of any kind. Flashes, reroll, hits, and shooting.
It's awesome. So Badrook's back. Just proxy Badrook at him.
Use your model.
You're going to want to use him as the shock attack guy because his gun's good too.
Yeah.
Although you could use the other big mechs if you wanted to for whatever reason. Shock attack's the best one. You bring the Badrook model out of the Legends closet and use him as this.
He's back. You got Mork's Cunning, 15 points. Redeploy 3 units. Redeploy in.
It's good, especially in an army that's going to have infiltrators with commandos.
Yes.
You can do the move block commandos and then redeploy them wherever you actually want to put them. That's great.
Yeah. That's some big brain stuff there. And then God Boomer, you get 18 inches for your orders.
It's not bad. For 10 points, it's filler. It could be good.
It's filler.
I don't know if it's a must take just because you're going to have a lot of mechs running around with the units anyway. But if you have 10 points and then this guy's dead, oh no, who's going to order that Gorkanaut? Now this guy can. So
so it could be useful in a pinch there. You got your strat. That's ours. You're getting +1 OC. Good for stealing those points. That's really good. 5 Propa, like we saw just before. Sustained or lethal is awesome. Tactical retreat, fallback, shoot, charge, amazing as always. Crunch and descent for your storm boys, it's tank shot for them. For each model you have, you roll a d6. On a 4-up, you can do up to 6 mortal wounds. Great. Cool.
We at Drunk Bolter are big fans of the infantry tank shot.
We love it. We love doing mortal wounds. We love that. It's very flavorful. On to the next. So your opponent's movement phase, if they fall back, you move up to 6 inches.
That's great.
That's good.
And they're falling back, you're chasing after them, or you're going back into cover. You're falling back, now I'm exposed. psych, I'm moving through this wall, you still can't shoot me.
Exactly. We like that movement. Dead Sneaky, you get Stormboys or Commanders back to strat reserves. So
Great.
Secondaries.
Uppy Downy
That's
is
good.
one of the best things. Having it on tap for 1 CP is great.
It's got all these strats are amazing. They're so good.
There's not
It's
one that's
amazing.
bad.
Not one that's bad. This is honestly
So,
probably the best.
This is the best Orks detachment.
It's that good.
Daka. You know, we've talked about all this stuff.
It makes Daka good again. Daka is great again. That's what it did.
I have nothing bad to say about this.
Nothing
It's
bad.
definitely the best Orks detachment. The one thing, though, is I don't think it's hammered. I just don't think Orks have access to anything that's hammered. I think it's just loaded. I don't think it's on par with Halo's Creed Battleclade.
Didn't you lose to this detachment?
I did, but there was some misplays, and I also did a cardinal sin. I abandoned my home objective when there was a weird boy afoot. I totally forgot there was a weird boy.
Jump.
And then that was like literally like a 20-point thing over the course of the game. I only lost by 5 points, so that kind of was on me being dumb to lose, honestly.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But I think it's loaded. I mean,
is the top loaded?
These loaded ones, it might be worse than Creations of Bile, better than Hexport Thrallbrand. It's definitely
maybe number 2.
It's definitely. I think it's in here. All of these, and the thing about loaded, right?
How easy is it to use though?
Tactical Brigade?
Yeah.
It's not bad to use.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of options, right? So I think loaded detachments can win, right? Mm-hmm. They can win big. They can win big tournaments.
Yeah.
I think hammer detachments have win rates and tournaments approaching or better than 60%. That's kind of the criteria I got going on.
That's our breakdown.
So these loaded detachments are still competitive. You can still run in big tournaments and probably have a good chance to win. But when you are that attachment running into the hammer detachment, those are going to be your tough games.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the next detachment we have, which is going to be the Imperial Guard Bridgehead Strike.
Another one close to our hearts here.
Yep, I'm a Guard player. I've had Guard models since I was 13 years old. Now, maybe not these Guard models, though. Imperial Guard voice commands, the original orders, you get +3 move, +1 weapon skill, +1 blitz skill, +1 attacks for rapid fire guns, +1 saver, +1 leadership and OC. Officers can give these orders if they're in a command squad. They have a master box. It's 24 inches. Usually it's 6 inches. If they're inside of a vehicle, it could be 12 inches. Vehicles order vehicles. Infantry order infantry. Sentinels and horses generally. But there's some exceptions to that rule.
We like horses.
The detachment rule here, now, they split this up to try and make it sound like it's not just for Scions. This detachment's only for Scions. Only the best infantry models reroll hit rolls of 1. Okay? Fire Zone Purge. Only Scions, including Aquilons, get +1 to wound and shooting on turns in which they are set from reserves and disapart from the transport. And Scions get battle line if it tempestates your warlord, which you would do if you're running this attachment. Now that is very, very spicy, considering that Scions, on the turn, they exit a Torox Prime. The Torox Prime shoots something. Now they've got reroll all hit rolls from the Torox Prime in the new codex. Previously, it was switched around. The Torox did wounds, they did hits. Now the Torox does hits, they do wounds. So the Torox hits something. They pick that. The guy that disembarked gets to reroll hit rolls. The Scions themselves have a rule. If you're shooting at on an objective, they're rerolling all wound rolls. So now these Scions with 4 special weapons and like 30-something shots of hot shot las potentially hop out of a truck, order themselves on the turn they hop out of the truck, then shoot at something with full hit and wound rerolls and +1 to wound. Wow. That is very spicy, but only for Scions units. Everyone else reroll hit rolls of 1, cry me a river with a basic las gun. Enhancement, Bomb Blast class Vox Array. A Tempest's command squad can give 3 orders. Awesome. Replaces the Lord Solar ability that you can't run in this attachment because you'd want Tempest Prime to be your warlord. And Lord Solar has to be your warlord if he's in the army. So this turns one of them into more like a Lord Solar. Tempest's command squad can deep strike turn 1, 2, or 3. That's awesome. You're deep striking turn 1 with a command squad. So a command squad can be attached to a full Templars Warrior. So that could be 15-man unit that is that has like 3 melta guns and 2 plasma guns, because there can be 1 melta gun in the command squad itself. Coming down turn 1, on the turn they're set up, they get +1 to wound. If they're targeting something on an objective, they get reroll all wounds. So now they're +1 to wound, rerolling all wounds. Turn 1 alpha strike.
On their home objective.
On the home objective, or if you go second and they've touched something else, really.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the strat.
Shroud Projector, Tempest's command squad, gets Overwatch immunity. That's nice. It's not as important for Scions because they're not going to be charging things. But the turn you hop out of the truck, right, you could get Overwatch. Now you can't. So it is nice. It's not as good as it is for Drukhari.
And then we have another redeploy one.
Redeploy, again, that replaces a Lord Solar ability, so trying to mitigate the fact that you can't bring Lord Solar.
I really want to see a bunch of these attachments that have these redeploy ones both go against each other.
Yeah, and
There's
then
like
just
3 redeploys.
back and forth. All right, now I'm here.
I'm moving here.
Oh,
that will be interesting to see.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Okay,
Another
that's
thing,
some big brain stuff.
When we get into Tzeentch Demons later, the funnest thing was going to be a Tzeentch Demons versus Tzeentch Demons list. I'll show you when we get to it. So the stratagems here, you get a 6-inch deep strike with Scions. That's nice. You know, Aquilons get this normally, but the normal Scions are going to get this, and they have a lot more firepower than the Aquilons.
Mm-hmm.
Firing hot in the shooting phase, Tempestus or Khazarkin. Yeah, right. Like we're going to run Khazarkin in this attachment.
They're so cool though.
They get but this is not.
This is a Scions
attachment. You get +1 strength and AP on hotshot las guns. That's awesome. Brings the las guns up to strength 4. It brings if you bring the hotshot special weapon that has 5 attacks up to strength 6, I think. So it's really nice. Fire and relocate. Shooting phase. Any unit besides Bane Blades can advance and shoot. Makes sense. Advancing shoot is good. You probably do still need some tanks in this attachment to do anti-tank stuff.
That's what I was thinking about.
So, but a lot of the other guard types, including combined arms, they don't buff tanks that much. Like a lethal hits on a Rogal Dorn, like you're helping out the stubbers essentially.
Right.
So like the oppressor cannon's already strength 12. You don't really need the lethals.
Lethal hits seems wasted.
Yeah, so advance and shoot is good. You can use it on a Rogal Dorn in this attachment. Servo designators, shooting phase, target that was hit by an infantry unit, take away the cover. We love that. Although you have Hellhounds here, you maybe don't need to spend the points to it. You just do it for 1 CP. Aerial extraction, at the end of the opponent fight phase, 1 Valkyrie unit that isn't engaged, and 1 unit that has deep strike that is engaged, and you put the deep strike unit back in strat reserve. That's a little tricky. Valkyries kind of suck, and they're easy to kill, so you're kind of relying on both wasting the points to bring the Valkyrie into the list, and then also it's still being alive for you to do the stratagem to uppy downy a unit. But uppy downy is good. They give you a lot more steps than other armies have to go through guard to get uppy downy. Yeah. Although you do have Gaunt's Ghost, which it does it for anyway. On my position, 1 CP. This is a fun one. At the end of the opponent's fight phase, a regiment unit, so this is an infantry unit or a sentinel, with 1 or more or horses, with 1 or more enemy units engaged, roll a 2+ for each enemy unit or engagement range. On a 2+, they take D6 mortal wounds, but then you take 3d3 mortal wounds.
I love this strat.
It's fun, but it's not worth it. On average, you're doing 3.5 damage on average, and on average, you're taking 6 damage.
It would have to be on a tougher opponent. It'd be like Terminators or something.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be
infantry.
It'd have to be something that has 3 or 4 wounds left to try to kill it, because you're taking on average 6 mortal wounds on yourself, and those are 1 wound models, and you could take all the way up to 9 mortal wounds, which is the whole squad.
Blow us up, blow them up.
Is it worth it? I don't know. It is cool.
If you're doing it for the Emperor, that's all we care about.
Yeah. It's great buff for Scions. Plus wound to wound coming out of transports is nice for plasma guns and melta guns. Really helps them punch up into vehicles. Scions rerolling all hit wounds. We'll talk about that wombo combo. Turn 1 deep strike, alpha threat. Firing hot is nice, but you're not going to really have Khazarkin. You're probably just going to do it in the Scions. And advance and shoot is good on tanks. Uppy downy is good, and you can use it on Aquilons, so they can uppy downy the 6 inches, which is great. And then they can also, when they keep coming back in, keep using. They have like a double shoot on the turn they come in, so you can keep double shooting with them every time they come in. So that's a nice combo there. Because they shoot normally when they come down your movement phase, and then they have their shooting phase as well.
Oh,
so you keep putting them up, you keep double shotting every time they come in.
Oh, that's fun.
It's good for players with full Scions armies. The bad is it's really only for Scions armies. And listen, guys. So the whole thing here is you get +1 to wound out of transports for Scions only. There is an attachment in the new Guard Codex we know about now, which is going to be our next video, that is just +1 to wound when you come out of a transport period. So if you want to run anything but Scions, you take that one. If you have all Scions, you take this one. Anyone without like 40 Scions on the board, this is not the detachment for you. That being said, it does have legs, and it can be, it can win a tournament if you have all Scions. I would put it, I don't like Scions. I play Guard, I don't play Scions. I would put it in Tipsy, but I recognize that.
I was thinking Tipsy.
Logically, I think it might be loaded. You think just Tipsy?
I think just Tipsy.
All right, we'll just put it Tipsy.
It was kind of niche.
I do think it's probably the best in Tipsy, but it is just for Scions. Yeah. It's only for full Scions armies. There are better options if you want to run mechanized Guard, wait for the new Codex, and do that thing. All right, coming back into here on the next... Oh, I don't want to share this PowerPoint, although I will include a link in it. In the bio, we realized that the clipping is not great on what's going on here.
So if you want to really follow along...
If you really want to follow along, we will provide the link to the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
All right. On the 19th day. Okay, now this one, go ahead and grab beer.
Yes, I need to
Go ahead and grab beer.
one. This one's going to be good. if that's any indication of what's going to come up, I'm going to do this.
All right, so this one, I'm not going to lie, guys. This one is singularly, in my opinion, the most busted detachment in Grotmas. And, I mean, they're going to have to change. They're going to have to change a lot to the core of this detachment to get it in something that's not crazy. The unofficial stats for this right now, there hasn't been enough tournament play, Imperial Agent IPA, for them to do like the official stats. But the unofficial stats, just from the little app that Goonhair made, has this at a 73% win rate. 73% win rate. The Slaanesh demons, Legion of Excess.
That's crazy.
So the demons army rule.
Imperial.
It's zone of control. Agent. It's zone of control for Shadow Chaos. What did you say? It's Imperial IPA Agent.
Imperial IPAgent.
Oh, it's Imperial IPAgent? Oh, my God.
I try to get clever with it.
2.5 hours into the podcast, I finally get it, guys. It is good. We'll never that's good. Imperial IPAgent.
Yes, there it is.
We'll do it better next time. The Demon's Army rule. It's the Shadow Chaos. It's zone of control. It's kind of a shitty zone of control, although you get more benefits from it later. Greater Demons have a 6-inch aura of it as well. When Demons unit in your Shadow Chaos +1 to battle shock test, when they pass, they heal D3 mortal wounds or bring back D3 models in battle line. And when an enemy unit in your Shadow of Chaos fails, they take D3 mortal wounds. So keep that in mind. If you're in the zone, it's a battle shock 1 in the zone, but you get benefits for passing, which is a likely scenario. You get heals. So that part is good.
Mm-hmm.
Now the detachment rule. There's 2 of them. They're both very good. And together, they're insane. Beguiling Aura. Slaanesh demon units, just all of them, fall back in charge.
That's their detachment.
That's one of their attachment rules. Another one. On turns they charge, Slaanesh demon units can give up fight first, and then reroll all hits and wounds in the combat.
That's so good.
So
flavorful.
You charge with a unit that's hard to kill, a group of fiends, or Keeper of Secrets.
Right.
You give it fight first. You then reroll all hits and wounds. If for some reason you don't kill what you're attacking with that profile, which you should. In both cases. Guess what? Your next turn, you can fall back, charge, and do it again. There's no scenario you can't do a seductive gambit because you can always fall back and charge.
You just keep doing it.
And the fact that you can just get reroll all hits and wounds as your army rule, no CP for either piece, is pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Enhancements, False Majesty. Any Slaanesh demon model gives a 6-inch aura of +1 to wound that applies to themselves. And you can put that on Keeper of Secrets. So their Strength 9... giant sword is now Strength 9 with +1 to wound, so wounding everything on 4s, and also re-rolling all wounds. It's like a 300% damage output increase or something like that. If you know the actual numbers, put it in the chat. I'm sure it's not 300, but it's definitely over 100. Dreaming Crown, 30 points. Same deal, 6-inch aura of +1 to hit. I'd say the +1 to wound is better, but your +1 to wound or +1 to hit, re-rolling all hits and wounds, they're both pretty good.
It's good having options.
Avatar of Perfection on a monster only, so that's your Keeper of Secrets. At the start of each phase, if there are no friendly units within 6, so if you're kind of doing it by yourself, you get to reroll advance and charge rolls and ignore modifiers to move, advance, and charge. Again, I think the only thing is the Guard Siege Regiment that could affect a monster, but whatever, you get to reroll advance and charge rolls. The other 2 are better than this one, but they're also double the price. And then Soul Glutton, monster only. I think this one is actually a must-take as well. At the end of a fight phase, just regain D3 wounds if you destroy an enemy model. So just a flat heal on a giant monster that has, I think, 15 or so wounds, and also they also have a 5-up Feel No Pain.
Wow!
So
for 10 points,
makes them a lot more killy and makes them a lot more survivable. Let's go on to the stratagems.
You got Thieves of Pain for 1 CP. Any phase after the attack or mortal wound allocated to Slaanesh demon unit, excluding the monsters, select another demon unit within 12 inches, and they take all damage as mortal wounds instead.
So that's nice.
Okay.
You're just taking, so your fiends are pretty killable. They only have like a 5-up invul. No base save, no demons have base save. But now you can move that max fiends unit up the board, and if they get shot, guess what? You're not killing my fiends, you're killing these demonettes over here. These fiends are getting in at full strength no matter what you do.
Transferring that damage over.
Yeah, to a less important unit.
Then you got Arc Agonists. Fight phase, 1 monster or 2 of the units get +1 to wound and melee.
That's nice. Again, one of your monsters is going to have +1 to wound anyway. This won't stack with that. but for 2 CP, you could have 2 other units get +1 to wound. It could be good. It would be good. We'd say it was good if it was a different detachment. But, this detachment's already giving you much access to punch up with the wounds. It's probably not needed.
With those rerolls. Yeah. Sensory excoriation?
Excoriation. Something. I don't know.
Command phase. Moss unit. All units in the battlefield in the shadow of the chaos must take a battleshot test.
This is freaking awesome. You know why? Because when it applies to your units too. So you're making everyone roll a battle shock test, and then when you pass, because you have a +1 leadership in your Shadow of Chaos, it's just an army-wide D3 heal for your entire army for 1 CP.
That is crazy. That's the best battle shock.
That's the best battle shock one.
In the whole game.
It's just making yourself pass to heal yourself. So it's awesome. This might be where you spend your CP every turn. It's great. It's 1 CP. It's way better than Archagonist. And then you got Phantasmal Logging. Go ahead.
It's a movement phase or charge phase, so any Slaanesh demon can move through the walls, as we always know.
Great. And this one lets you charge through walls as well, so you're charging that Giant Keeper secret through a wall.
Nice. You have the Cavalcade of Blades, charge phase. You get tank shot for all your units. 1d6 for each model that made it in there, and then you get 6d6 if it's a monster on 4 if you're doing those mortals.
So you get it on 4s here, not 5, so it's a little bit better than tank shock. And again, it's nice. You can do it on infantry. We love it.
Overwhelming excess in your opponent's shooting phase. A demon that was targeting. The opponent unit takes a battle shock test at -1. If you pass, it gets -1 to hit. If failed, cannot shoot, but can reallocate. So
this is a -1 to hit strat is always good, and then you also just have a rare chance to battle shock your opponent and be invincible to their shooting. So even if it's a -1 to wound strat or -1 to hit strat in range, which other detachments have, and you get a little something on top.
Yep.
The good thing is that it's completely busted. The fallback and charge lets you do seductive gambits every single turn. You reroll all hits and wounds combined with +1 to wound auras on Keeper to Secrets, which is disgusting and reliably destroys any tanks and monsters. It's just crazy. Thieves of Pain, Max Fiend's bricks are getting into combat like they never have before. Sensory Excoriation is insane. A 1 CP full army heal with, again, the potential to battle shock a lot of your opponent's units and maybe flip an objective or something. It's busted. It's the best attachment. It is going to be hammered.
Yes.
And I'm going to have to edit out potentially every time I do that because it's going to look so trippy, but I probably won't. Hammered. Let's finish it.
Oh my God. Cheers.
And with that, we are going to move into the next detachment. So and this is going to be a fun one. Imperial IPAgent. The Khorne Blood Legion. The Legion of Blood. Detachment roll Murder Call. When an enemy unit moves within 9 inches, you can do a D6 reactive move for Khorne units, and you can move within engagement range if you want. That's nice. You want to be in combat. Again, you're moving a maximum of 6 inches. Your opponent can play around that, get a 6.5-inch charge without you being able to engage them. Blood Tainted, end of a phase where a Khorne demon unit destroyed an enemy unit on an objective. You make that sticky. So you're sticking objectives with blood, and you can do a D6 reactive move and get into combat, which is nice army wide if your opponent's not careful. They're going to risk it, or if they're really want to get in there and don't care if they have to fight first, they might risk it. But it's pretty easy to mitigate for your opponent, honestly, if they're a skilled player. Enhancement Slaughtered Thirst. Any Khorne demon's model, 6-inch aura of Lance for non-monsters. That's amazing on Bloodletters. That's amazing on Blood Crushers. Fury's Cage, 20 points. A Khorne demon monster only. When selected to fight, it can choose to use it or not. You take D3 plus 1 more wounds, but then you reroll all hits and wound rolls with your Bloodthirster.
Whoa.
Those Bloodthirsters are spicy with this one. Raisin Maw. Any Khorne demon unit add 2 to the charge. That's good. You want to be charging. You could Deep Strike and charge, get that 7. You could just use it on the Bone Crushers. They move like 10, and then they're advancing, and then they're adding to the charge. It's great. I'll let you read this last one. I think you're really going to like this one.
Okay, it's Gateway Unto Damnation for 10 points. Monster only. Bears Deadly Demise triggers on a 2-up for D6 mortal wounds. And the bear has destroyed any units this battle. It goes off for D3 plus 3 mortal wounds instead. Okay.
That's pretty nice for only 10 points. You eat a Bloodthirster into your opponent's deployment zone. It kills one thing. It gets annihilated, but then guess what? Every unit around it takes potentially D3 plus 3 mortal wounds.
I love
minimum
it.
of 4 mortal
I
wounds.
love that. That's
It's sick.
flavorful. We love it. He's just going in there, wrecking shit and blowing
And
up
then
for
boom,
Khorne.
boom, boom, boom.
That blood is flowing.
It is, and Khorne cares not from whence. Now the stratagems.
Now the stratagems. You got Wrath Undeniable. You got Fud Phase, 4-up Fight on Death.
Great.
Love it. Gore Hungry Onslaught. Moving or charge phase. You move through walls. Love it.
It's good for blood crushers, which are mounted, and it's good for the bloodthirsters.
Love it. Skulls beget blood. Shooting phase, infantry mounted that's eligible to shoot. You throw skull grenades.
It just says it's basically you throw a skull, but it's grenades, but you're throwing skulls.
Ah, okay. Sweet. We love it.
66, 4 plus mortal wounds. It's great.
Yep. Blood begets skulls. Okay. Charge phase, advance and charge. Ooh.
That's spicy because now you're for 2 CP, you're advancing and charging a bloodthirster through a wall that's going to blow up on a 2 plus.
Okay. You better be doing that. All right. Fool's Flight, 2 CP this time. In the opponent's movement phase, unit within 6 inches of a unit that fell back from it can declare a charge in that unit. So it's that heroic intervention again.
It's the 2 CP heroic intervention. I don't get it.
I still don't understand. If someone in the chat can explain
This
to us.
This is no. This one's better. It's in your opponent's movement phase. So this is when they fall back, you can just charge back into them. So this one is good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's this.
So I think in the Inner Circle Task Force, there's something similar to this.
No, it's in the Inner Circle Task Force.
Inner Circle
maybe,
one.
maybe.
I think it's something similar.
The one in here sucks. It's just a
What
2
the
CP
what?
heroic intervention. This
Right,
makes
this
sense because
one
it's like
makes more
you're in
sense.
melee, something's running away from you, then you can be shot.
I'll look it up.
All of a sudden, for 2 CP, this pivotal unit can't be shot, and you can continue killing them.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that. Sheathed in Brass, the opponent shooting phase, Khorne Demon unit that was targeted. It's a plus
The
3
3
up.
plus base save. That's
Hey,
pretty nice. I mean, they have
What's their normal?
they,
save?
they have no normal save. They only have a 5 up invul save.
So they're all like.
So a 3 up base save is good. A bloodthirster or something special would have a 4 up invul save, but no base save. So if you're getting shot by a lot of piddly stuff or AP1 even, and your blood letters, this is honestly a decent defensive strat for them.
I see.
The good, it gives Khorne players something to sink their chain axe into. Reactive blood surge can be good if your opponent's not thinking. Sticky Drays are always good. The Lance enhancement on Blood Ledger, Blood Crusher is great. Full hit and wound rolls and Bloodthirster is awesome. Bloodthirster splitting on 2s and moving and charging through walls is great. Advancing charge is great for Bloodthirsters and Bloodthrusters. Fool's Flight can be very worth it and protect a unit from getting shot off the board that's getting fallen back from. The bad, reactive Blood Surge can be skirted around by pretty much any skilled player. It is not going to let you utilize that so it's max at all in the game. Doesn't do enough to protect an extremely gas cannon army, although the bronze skin one is nice. You're still pretty gas cannon. That's not really doing that much to you, especially against high AP guns. And then it's nowhere near as OP as the Slaanesh Detachment. That being said, I think this one it's either loaded or tipsy. Is it tipsy or is it loaded? It's definitely flavorful. I think it's tipsy. What do you think?
Tipsy.
You think tipsy? I think it's especially if Bridgehead strikes tipsy. I think this one was just tipsy.
Yeah. We need more for Buzz.
Now we're in a situation. Now we're in a situation where now I want to put Armored Warhost into Buzz. Are we just gonna be fluid like that?
Yeah, might as well. I mean,
Armored Warhost is definitely
the more information we have,
the better we're able to do it.
we can judge it better.
All right, we'll never move one we say that's hammered, and we'll never move one we say that's loaded. How about that? We're making a rule here, and then like the third hour of the podcast,
in the middle of them, they
could shuffle. Tipsy and Buzzed is kind of like honestly a skilled player with Armored Warhost might be able to win a tournament. Like a super good player,
it all really depends.
It all really depends.
Personal.
We're trying to judge the general tool set and how good, how easy it is to win a big event with it.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right. I was totally off with the Inner Circle. There's no sort of movement or.
I think I've heard of it. I think I've heard it before. I don't know what you're thinking of, but I think there is something. Yeah. That gets us into what I said was the funnest one to see in a mirror matchup, and you'll see why shortly. And that's the Tzeentch list on day 21, the Scintillating Legion. Okay, so this is funny. So the detachment rule: Fates and Flux. You start with 3 Flux tokens. Each time you spin a Flux token, give 1 to your opponent. So when you spin it, you give 1 to your opponent. All right.
Here's a coin.
I used 1. I have 2. You have 1. You and your opponent spin Flux tokens to reroll advance, hit, wounds, damage, or saving rolls. Whenever you want. So you can reroll. If you want to spin all 3 on hit rolls, you can spin them all in the same activation on hit rolls. It's nice. Okay. It's just a reroll. But then you get 3 Flux tokens that you can then use on saving throws.
My coins.
So You can spend flux tokens to improve some of the strats. Each time your opponent spends a flux token, they give one back to you.
Mm.
And then it says that unless they're also playing this detachment. So,
So
the question is, if we're both playing the Tzeentch Demons detachment,
right.
I spend a flux token, I have to give it to you,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have to give it back? Or do you not give me any of your flux tokens, and we both have 3? It's very vague as to what happens when everyone started with 3 flux
So,
tokens.
so it's basically the first person who starts, they give you the tokens, then you're just
So
sitting
do you?
with
So
6 tokens?
they say it here as in like you don't give it back, but
It's like, hey,
but I think the intent is that if everyone's changed, then there's just no trading of the tokens. But the way rules as written, I would have 3 flux tokens, you would have 3. I would give you 1, you would have 4. Now you spend 4, but you don't have to give any to me. Or do you just not have to give the 1 back to me? But then also, because I'm also playing Tzeentch, so if we're ignoring this part, I don't give you the flux token. I just keep my 3 flux tokens. The fact of it being so confusing is very Tzeentch.
Very Tzeentch. Very flavor. We love it.
I can't wait to see a TO.
I don't know what's going on.
I can't wait to see a TO have to sort through the situation before there's an errata. I hope it happens. I hope I see it.
Good luck.
All right.
For these enhancements, you got Inescapable Eye. Any Tzeentch Demon model in your command phase, if it's on the battlefield and your opponent has any flux tokens, you gain another one. Okay.
Great.
Cool tokens. We love it. Infernal Puppeteer. A monster.
Oh,
only.
yeah. Sorry. We forgot to mention that. So, as a part of the rule, if your opponent has a flux token in your command phase, you gain 1 flux token. So, this enhancement lets you gain 2 flux tokens.
Oh, cool. All right. So, you got Puppeteer. When you select the shoot, you can select 1 friendly Tzeentch unit within 9 inches and can use their line of sight
and range from them instead, which
okay.
is awesome. So the greater,
so you see through them.
The Tzeentch greater demons are shooty boys. So they are now hiding behind buildings, getting their very good shooting attacks off through a cheap unit that's out in the middle of nowhere.
That is cool.
So that's pretty spicy.
I like that. That's very fun. I don't see that in other ones.
Yep.
Then you get the Neverblade for 20 points. Monster only. 2 plus strength, plus 1 AP, and plus 1 attacks and melee. And then press 1 to hits.
So this is nice. I think it still only makes their big sword like strength 9. So they're still not super good at killing tanks, but it does make them a little bit spicier melee. We're
force or a rhino.
Yeah, so they're really they're shooty boys, but this makes them a little bit better melee into some things.
Then you got the Improbable Shield for 30 points. You get a 6-inch aura of Feel No Pains, 4 up to Psychic and Mortal Wounds. Ooh.
So this one again, if Grey Knight meta is the oppressive meta, you would take it. But besides that, you're not going to take this to a tournament because it's very specific to the type of armor you're playing against.
Psychic is very Slaanesh at the time. Then you got your strats. You got Impossible Eclipse. Any phase monster unit on the battlefield select either
No Man's Land
or your opponent's zone and spend 1 flux token to pick both. For the phase, those areas are in your Shadow of Chaos.
So you essentially get to just put your Shadow of Chaos everywhere for 1 CP. It would be good if then you could do more stuff with your Shadow of Chaos thing. The bad news is there's nothing in this detachment specifically about Shadow of Chaos besides this. So all you're doing is getting your base if you're battle shocked heal, if they're battle shocked wound thing. You get nothing else from being your Shadow of Chaos in the detachment. So there's no point spending the CP for this, I don't think.
You got Pyrogenesis.
Pyrogenesis.
Shooting your fight phase, any unit, you get plus 2 strength or spend 1 flux token for plus 3 strength and plus 1.
That's
AP.
spicy. That's spicy on your flamers units and shooting. Yeah. This stack with the Neverblade and make it like a T11 or strength 11, strength 12 weapon. So this stratagem, it is 2 CP, but it could help a Lord of Change kill a tank.
Yeah. The fact that it's both shooting and fight phase is good for that. Then you get Flickering Reality. Fight phase just after enemy units have selected your target. 1 targeted unit, roll a d6. You can spend a token of flux to reroll.
To reroll the d6.
Whatever you roll is a failed roll to hit for your opponent that phase, even if it's a 6.
So this is a fun one.
Interesting.
But the problem is you have a 50% chance of it being a 1, 2, or 3, which might miss anyway, right? So you could re-roll it for a flux token that's probably better spent elsewhere, but then potentially, they have lethals, they have sustained, but a 6 is a fail to hit, it doesn't go off.
Oh, okay.
So
that's pretty cool. I mean, that's definitely a unique
it's fun,
ability.
It's Tzeentchy, but you got like half, and then if you're spinning to re-roll, maybe a 0.25% likelihood that it doesn't do anything for you.
Interesting. Definitely cool. Fate-born Nightmares. Movement or charge phase, any unit move through walls. Hey,
Yep.
we love that
There
one.
it is again. That's a good one.
They really like doing that one now. Fickle Fire, shooting phase, one unit that is engaged, no longer counts as being engaged, so you can shoot into that combat. When an opponent model is destroyed on a 5-up, your engaged unit takes 1 mortal wound.
This is the least severe penalty of any of the shooting to my own guys.
Mm-hmm.
You only take a mortal wound on a 5+ when an opponent model is destroyed, as opposed to like the new Guard Krieg detachment, where it's like every time a wound goes through, destroy a model.
Oh.
The one we saw in Bridgehead, where it's like D6 mortals to them, 3D3 mortals to me.
Right.
This is the least penalty of anything for this happening.
For a very shooty army.
For a very shooty army.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty good.
I feel like you've been using that one a lot.
I don't know, but all of these, it's like, why not just fall back, you know?
Well, yeah.
Why aren't you just falling back? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then you got Delirium Unmade. I'll be down here for 1 unit at the end of your opponent's turn.
That's nice. You got a lot of flamer units.
You get you 2 of them.
2 units. 2 max flamer units with the Exalted Flamebringer upping and downing every turn. This is where you're going to spend your CP in this.
That is actually so good.
Also, you can do the 2 flame units, or you know what else you can do? 1 flamer unit, 1 Lord of Change, flamer unit, Lord of Change with the enhancement behind a wall. Use that flamer unit for sight. You can do that too.
And then you can go through the walls.
That's great.
Save it for your CP, guys. You need it.
Don't spin it on Fickle Fire.
Pro tip.
So it's very flavorful. It's got all those good combos we talked about. The bad news is an opponent can mitigate your token generation just by spending all their tokens. If I spend all my tokens, you're never going to have more than 3 flex tokens.
You just ditch them.
Because the only way you get 1 or you get 2 with the enhancement in your command phase if I have a flux token. So I just if I'm on my last activation, okay, reroll 3 hit rolls. There. You can very easily, because otherwise, where this really gets crazy is if you allow your opponent to start farming flux tokens. Now I have 7 flux tokens. Now by the end of the game I have 10 flux tokens. If you keep them at 3, they're not going to have enough to really do a lot of stuff. They'll still be able to do some cool things, but they're not going to be able to do as many cool things as they want.
As always, Tzeentch is all in your head. You got to think about it a lot.
You got to think about it.
Let's go to the next one.
Let's rank it. Let's rank it.
Sorry, I got
Let's rank it. And I keep doing that. I got to stop doing that. That's really going to be a bad viewing experience, guys. Sorry. Listen to us on Spotify if you don't like how shitty I'm doing this.
If you're not looking at us, you can also just
listen to us instead. You don't want to listen to look at our ugly faces. All right, so the Centennial Legion, I think it's tipsy. It might be loaded. No, it's not as good as loaded. I think it's just tipsy. It definitely has some play. It's not even. I'd say the Blood Legion is better than it.
So I really want to see a nice bell curve if we can. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Of what? Of the detachments?
Right. It's like well.
Or you want to rank them all from 1 to 30 at the end?
No, you're saying like, okay, you have the most in the middle. You have a couple.
Oh yeah, you want to see
a nice standard deviation.
It depends. It's not up to us. It's up to Games Workshop. How shitty or good are they making these attachments? We'll see how it is at the end.
We need a little more buzz.
We'll see how it is. Yeah, let's get another sober, dude.
We need. Sorry, go on. I think we got one coming up.
You think we got one coming up? Let's see.
If it is what I think
let's see.
I think it might be.
The Nurgle Flame Legion.
I love that. I love that image of Nurgle. That's a great demon.
That's the Grotkin, yeah, great and clean one. There's gonna be some problems, or that might be Nurgle himself. He looks like that too, I think.
He does, but he's got that big cauldron.
Yeah. This guy doesn't have the cauldron with the elf girl in it.
Mm-hmm.
That attachment rule. Drum roll, please. Would you read us our attachment rule, Imperial IPAgent?
We got Melancholic Miasma. Ooh, Miasma.
Sounds cool, but what does it mean?
Miasma is fun. Well, an enemy unit is within 9 inches of any Nurgle demon unit that is within your Shadow of Chaos. In each player's command phase, select 1 enemy unit in your Shadow of Chaos, and they must take a battle shock test. Ooh,
a battle shock detachment.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, already off to a great start. For your enhancements, you got Canker Bite. I tried to zoom in. Any demon, if you're within 6 inches of that bear, you fail battle shock test. Ooh, battle shock. Test the Barrett can use this enhancement, and one model in that unit is destroyed. Ooh,
So this one, if you get it off, I mean, it's one model, right? So if you're playing against like a Lord Titan and you battle shock him, you're destroying that whole thing. If
that way.
So that would be sick.
Okay.
But again, they have to fail a battle shock test. It is at -1, but it is relying on battle shock.
Probably only like a 6 or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, Maggots, Moz, any Nurgle Demon, you select a visible enemy unit within 6 inches of the shooting phase. They have to take a battle shock test. They roll a d6. On a 3-up, enemy takes mortal wounds. If they fail the test, they do not take.
They don't take the extra D3 damage because that's the demon's attachment rules. When they fail a battle shock test in your Shadow Chaos, they take mortals. They just take this mortal wound instead. They don't take both.
Okay.
They're just saying that you don't double it up on them. Whatever.
Sure.
Battle shock, more battle shock stuff.
Droning Shroud, 6-inch aura of
18-inch low up. That's good. So this is actually really good because it's an aura. It's a self-applying aura as well.
Ooh. Yeah.
So you get on a great unclean one, and then anything around him also gets it. Just parking a great unclean one on an objective is already hard enough to move. Him having 18-inch lone op, damn near impossible.
I feel like that's a great one. Having faced Chaos Space Marines with that Nurgle lone op stratagem, very annoying on those Venom crawlers.
And a Grand Clue one has more than 20 wounds. He has a 5-up feel no pain. He's toughness 13, I think.
13. Wow.
I think he's toughness 13.
That is.
He's definitely at least toughness 12.
That's more than Mortarion. He's toughness 12.
Let's check it out. How much? What's the toughness of a Grotkin? Fact check.
Can't do that on Facebook anymore. Unfortunately.
The great and clean one is toughness 12 with 20 wounds, 4-up invul, and the feel no pain must have been an enhancement from the other attachment. No feel no pain.
Interesting.
But it is 20 wounds, toughness 12.
I feel like he would have a feel no pain.
I thought he did. Maybe it's an attachment though. Let's see.
Interesting.
Oh no, he has an aura of feel no pain 6 plus that's self-apply. So yeah, 6 at feel no pain. All right.
Okay, that makes sense then. You got the font of spores. What does that even mean?
It's a fountain of spores.
Oh, fountain.
No, but it is font. That's it's like a font.
Oh, okay. I learned so many words.
Well, not all of them are real, so you shouldn't do that. Font is a real word. Cankerblight, not a real word.
That's probably not. Well, canker is a real thing.
Yeah.
I learned what a menhir was yesterday.
Is a menhir a real word?
A menhir, if you're into like Irish or like Gaelic, it's in Great Britain. Obviously, it's a British company. They're like pillars of stone that just stand straight up, like in the Necrons as menhirs.
Well, that makes sense.
They just stand up in the middle of they're like druid stuff.
So
if you're into history, I've learned so many
Weird
things.
for them to take Gaelic inspiration. I thought Necrons were all Egyptian.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you'd think so. They'd be Egyptian and
these British fuckers that run Game Workshop.
They're running them in there. But yeah, that makes sense, of course.
So this is a +1 AP buff, whatever.
On the stratagems, you got Seeping Virulence. Fight phase, any unit, crits on 5s. We love
That's
crits
good.
on 5s.
The Plague Bearers have, or the little infantry, they have lethals. So
anytime
you're
critting on 5s, you can do it's just standard lethals with that. It's great. You got Fever Visions. Shooting or fight phase, any unit, +1 to hit, and if someone that was hit has to take a battle shock test.
So, and again, trying to battle shock them for the other rules to apply, but whatever.
Then you got Fetid Resurgence with their British spelling of that word.
2 CP.
2 CP. Command phase, any unit, return 1 model to the unit. If non-monster,
battle line.
Return D3 models to a battle line unit or heal a monster D3 plus 1.
So it's good. It is good. It's 2 CP, but it could return a whole Beast of Nurgle, or it could heal a big boy D3 plus 1. That is decent. Is it worth 2 CP? I feel like literally in the Slaanesh, they get this essentially army-wide for 1 CP by triggering the battle shock test in their own units.
Right.
So it kind of sucks that you get on 1 model here for 2 CP.
And
Slaanesh gets it to trigger it army-wide for 1 CP.
We see some favoritism for the Chaos Gods right here. Yeah. All right. Come on, Papa Nurgle. We need you.
Yeah.
Rot and Renewal for 1 CP. Move charge phase.
Through walls.
Through walls. We love that one.
Love it.
That's a great one. Merc Shadows. Movement phase. Infantry. Plus 5-inch move. Oh.
That's good. So that's good on any infantry units. It really helps them get a charge off. Plus 5 is huge.
That's a lot. For these slow moving guys, they need to get there.
Yeah.
They're getting their steps in.
Here they go killing again.
Her Plague of Woes. In your opponent's command phase, any unit, select an extra unit to take a battle shot test.
We're trying to battle shock here. They want us to care about the battle shock.
I mean, it's good that it's in the opponent's command phase.
Yeah.
That's probably the best time to have it happen.
Because then they take damage. They take damage
and
from the army rule. It synergizes with the demon's army rule. They're getting it a -1 if they're in your shadow, but it's not going to come most games.
It's going to fail half the time.
Anyway.
Yeah. You could auto pass it with
insane bravery. If it's in command phase, you can definitely auto pass it. So the good is Kager Blight could destroy a big monster or vehicle if they fail the battle shock. A Grokken with a 6-inch aura of 18-inch lone op is very nice, and it self-applies. A Grokken with a 6-inch AP1 aura is nice. Crits on 5s is okay for Plague Bearers. They have lethals. They don't have a high volume of attacks, though, but it is something. Rezzing models or healing Grokkens is good, although not as good as Slaanesh attachments. A Grotken moving through a wall is good, and plus 5-inch move on max out Plague Bearers with a good character could be spicy.
That one sounds good.
The bad news is the whole thing is about battle shock. And the res or heal on one unit costs 2 CP.
So why?
So with that,
dude, is this sober?
I think it's sober.
I think it's
got to be sober.
I'm sorry,
Nurgle. Not only do I think it's sober, I think it's worse than Deathwatch. I think it's the second worst to the Assassins one.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Nurgles. Everyone else got a really fun way to play. Slaanesh, they're gonna at the top of the detachment. I think they're literally number 1.
I mean, when you have something that is so, it's a coin flip, or worse.
Anything based on battle shock historically is just trash.
No, it's since
you'll have one game where it actually works and it's great, and then you'll have 5 games where your opponent passes every time. So
it's like, wow, that was fun.
Glad I'm doing that. Very fun. So anyway, worst of the demons. Sorry, Nurgle.
Sorry.
Wait, maybe in the Codex we'll get something else. I don't know.
I love this one.
The Votann
voice.
Hearthband. It is rock and stone. All right, the Votanns. Their attachment rule, they judge things. Oh no, the army rule. Every time an enemy unit destroys a Votann unit, they gain 1 judgment token. They can gain up to 2 judgment tokens max. 1 token, you get +1 to hit against them. 2 tokens get +1 to hit and wound against them, which is nice for your whole army. The detachment rule, methodical annihilation, excluding blast weapons when targeting the closest eligible unit. Reroll hit rolls of 1, and if the unit includes a call, is an Iron Hero Hearthguard unit, or includes Uthar the Destined, add 1 AP. That's nice. Reroll hit rolls of 1 is good, +1 AP is good. This one really wants you to bring 3 max squads of Iron Hero Hearthguards. Calls can lead them, or other units. Uthar can lead them, or I think Uthar has another option as well. So you can potentially get this on a large portion of your army by mixing out your calls.
Nice.
Enhancements, Bastion Seal, 25 points. Any leagues of Votann model, each time targeted by a range attack, worsen the AP by 1. It's permanent armor contempt on one of your units. It's very nice. Very nice. Quake Multi-Generator, call only, something he personally hits in shooting is -1 to hit that turn. Meh. Whatever. I mean, suppressing something is good. You could do something where you're like trying to kill things, and the call takes a pot shot at a tank just to give it the -1 to hit. Right. That could be nice. It's only 15 points, kind of a filler if you have the room for it. Iron Skin, any model, +2 wounds. That's not great. You only have infantry characters here. You don't have vehicle characters. High Call, 30 points. Call only. Models get 4+ fight on death in combat. That one, when you think about what a call can lead, is okay. Berserks, he can't lead, and they have fight on death anyway. The Hearthguard have decent melee, but not really. The 4+ fight on death on them is probably not worth 30 points.
That is a lot.
It's a lot. It's not the best enhancement, and it's the most expensive one.
If it was like 20 points or 15.
If it was 15, it'd be a lot better, I think. Stratagems, Breckenrots. We got enemy shooting or fight phase. 1 call with the Destined or Hearthguard unit selected as the targets of the attack. It's a 4-up invul. That's nice. They don't have a 4-up invul. Now they do. Sure purpose, fight phase, any unit. And with that stacking with the -1 armor contempt, I mean, I guess potentially you're hoping that you don't need to use that if you have the armor contempt enhancement on somebody, because you have the 4-up invul strat anyway. But anyway, sure purpose, fight phase, any unit can pile in and consolidate 6 inches. That's a nice one. We've talked about that before, why that's nice. Superior craftsmanship, 2 CP, fight phase, any unit gets +1 damage against vehicles.
Ooh, it's expensive, though.
It's expensive, and why are you charging vehicles? You're the Leagues of Votann, you want to shoot vehicles. You know, it's not that... I don't think you're going to end up using that one a lot. It's too expensive. Unyielding aggression, 1 CP, movement phase, infantry unit, fallback, shoot and charge. That's awesome for a shooting army.
Yeah.
Materialization, matrices, movement phase during reinforcement step. A unit with deep strike can do a 6-inch deep strike. So that is really good on the Hearthguard, who have really good guns and can now 6-inch deep strike, shoot against the closest enemy weapon, Reroll hit rolls of 1, get +1 AP. Maybe it's got 2 judgment tokens. I'm adding +1 to hit, so I'm hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, +1 to wound, with +1 AP on a 6-inch deep strike. And then maybe, just maybe, I have 1 more CP for Fury of the Hearth. For shooting phase, Iron Your Hearthguard, non-blast weapons get rapid fire 1. All my plasma guns get 2 shots instead of 1. That is the one will come with this attachment.
That's it.
So the good news, you get that Hearthguard go off in this attachment. They can deep strike in and target closest eligible and double judge unit, hitting on 3s down to 2s, rerolling 1s with 10 or 20 for that rapid fire. Strength 8, AP3, damage 4. It goes from AP2 to AP3. Or no, AP3 to AP4, damage 2 plasma guns. So just eviscerating something.
Yeah, same with like Hellblasters.
Even like, but they have the +1 to wound as well if you're double judged. That's kind of equal.
That +1 to wound is really nice.
You can do that within 6 inches for another CP. Bashing still goes.
Can they get like sustain hits or lethals or anything?
I don't think so. I think the call, but I do think the call gives them a free strat actually, so that helps with the CP hungriness of this. Bastion Shield gives Hearthguard unit permanent AOC. Piling Assault at 6 is good. Fallback shooting charge is great. The bad news is that your other detachment rule is that when the game starts, you double judge 4 units off the bat in your first command phase. 4 units that you now have +1 to hit and wound 4 against all game.
That seems better.
That's a lot better than this. This is like trying to make Hearthguard make up for it, but they just don't. That is so much better.
Like the purifiers.
It's trying to make them like the purifiers, but they're not quite getting there. And your other option,
just the number of attacks. Okay,
it's only 20.
CP
It's only
to get
20 instead of 10.
And they're just plasma.
They're just plasma.
You can do that with 10 Hellblasters and then Lieutenant, and they'll be better.
Whereas over here,
for fighters, but
I mean, think about 4 units. If you're playing against an elite army, it's like half the army. But yeah, +1 to hit, +1 to wound against army wide.
Damn, that's like
there's just no beating that.
That's kind of mid, dude.
So I don't think this is sober. I think there is a way to have it be winning. I think the overall record will be in the 40s.
It's gotta be buzzed, though.
I think it's buzzed. I don't think it's quite sober, but I do think it's buzzed.
Yeah.
All right, and that brings us into a really fun one of the soup ones. I think you're gonna like it, Imperial IPAgent, and I'll let you read it.
I really like the name of this one too.
Yeah,
it's very dramatic.
Because it fits in because their index one was like Ascension Day.
Yeah,
and then this is like Final Day.
Like all the other ones, like they sound cool, but this is like
this is the dramatic. Final day they're alive before they are back into the gene pools. They're consumed back into the swarm.
And they're coming to eat everyone.
But they'll eat them last. They'll eat them last because they're the little buddies.
No, I love it. I've always thought the gene stealer cult, like the aesthetic is so cool. It's like Mad Maxy, kind of deal. I wish I could fight them more. If only our friend played.
If only Noah would actually play as Gene Stealer Cult army.
I've only played him maybe once.
Was Gene Stealer Cult his first army and Blood Angel was second, or was
no?
first?
Blood Angels was first, and then you got Gene Stealer. For
I've only seen him play. I've only played against Gene Stealer Cult once in 2.5 years. One time. And he has 2,000 points of it.
He bought it for super cheap. If you're a Gene Stealer Cults player, give us some reasons to play it. It's really
send
cool.
us out. Help our boy Noah realize that it's good. He's been struggling with his Blood Angels.
Didn't he beat you?
He did. He did beat me, but I was like kind of coaching him.
I need that too. Anyways, onto their armor rule. We got Cult Ambush. You get some points here and there. There's a chart. I don't understand it. I've never played them. It's been so long. You pay the points to bring the units on a chart back to life when they die.
Yeah, you don't roll for it now. Now you pay the points.
I don't know. It's great to me. Maybe the attachment rule is the psionic parasitism.
Very fun.
You can soup in your Tyranid Vanguard Invader units. So, like another one, soup units. It's fun. You've been collecting these things for a while. You think they're both really cool. You put them both in the army, and then you're fun. At the end of your movement phase for each Tyranid Synapse unit in your army, select one friendly GSC, excluding the pure strain GSC units or Patriarch, and one friendly Tyranid unit visible within 9 inches of the aforementioned Synapse unit. You do GSC unit suffers D3 plus 1 mortal wound, and the one model in the Tyranid unit regains that many wounds. Okay, so you're transferring.
You're sacrificing
those wounds.
A Synapse creature is siphoning the life from the GSC, but not the Gene Stealers or Patriarch, because those are real Tyranids. Just the somewhat human GSC, and transferring those wounds to the Tyranid model.
Oh, that's cool.
But then they're also getting +1 to hit. The Tyranids also get +1 to hit from it, which is nice.
That is a fun attachment.
It is, and there's a lot of good units that are Vanguard and Invader units, which are the only tiers you can ally, but it unlocks some really fun things happening that we'll go over later.
Let's see it. So we have some enhancements. So you got Synaptic Augur for 15 points. Tyrannus model, each time the barrier unit will gain runes from the detachment rule, you gain twice the number of wounds.
That's a must take. That's a must take.
That is good. If you're doing that a lot, you want it. What would you put that on?
You get a big bug, so you get a winged Hive Tyrant is the big bug that can be a Vanguard Invader. I think he only has 10 wounds, but he is like a monster. He's large. He's got a high toughness. He's got good damage output. So this is him healing twice as much as he normally would.
Well, that's just great. We love that. Enraptured Damnation, GSC model. Bears unit cannot be overwatched.
We love it. They're T3, or they're the Gene Stealers actually are infiltrating and then trying to get a charge off. Now they can't be overwatched. You can put this on a tier on the prime.
What is their toughness? I'm not sure.
4. Their toughness 4. And
okay.
they're one, I think they're 1 wound or they're 2 wounds. And then also you have your hybrid acolyte metamorphs. They're 1 wound toughness 3, I think. So both would be overwatched. Both melee units. Great for them.
So good for preventing those overwatches. And then you get your Vanguard Tyrant for 25 points. Winged Hive Tyrant only. Improves strength and AP by 1 each.
It's good for him.
That's good.
And there's a melee and a ranged version, and it's good for either. It's good for
covered that earlier. And human integration. So GSC model, Bearers unit gains sustained 1 when targeting an enemy unit within 6 inches of a friendly Tyrannus model. Okay, so that's
nice.
Cool.
It's a nice little buff. You might not take it. It is a little expensive, but it's nice. You have a lot of units that have like a vast number of shooting attacks, so it'd be good for them.
Yeah. Just saying that's always good. And then you get your stratagems, Hyper Ferocity. So you got your fight phase Gene Stealer unit. Reroll wound roll of 1 or reroll all wound rolls if within 6 of a turn.
Now that's nice. We love to reroll all wounds. Not everyone can be a purifier and just get it for free. Sometimes you gotta stand next to a Tyranid, but it is very, very good. And again, you can use this on your pure strain Gene Stealers who are getting access to devastating wounds from the Patriarch, now standing next to an infiltrating Vanguard Invader who's a lone op, getting an Alpha Striker rerolling for death wounds. It's very sick.
Nice. Then you got Psi Surge. Any phase Tyranids unit increase the range of the detachment ability by 3 inches. So from 9 to 12.
So if you end up with a big bug that you want to heal that's out of range for 1 CP, you can get it back in range potentially.
Nice. Then you got Avenge the Star Children. Opponents shooting or fight phase when destroy a Tyranid's character unit. GSC get +1 to hit and +1 to wound for the rest of the game.
That's good. There's a lot of different detachments throughout several armies that have something like this. It's always good because it's a permanent debuff to an opposing unit till it's dead.
Nice. You get Divine Imperative charge phase GSC unit +1 to charge and reroll charge units that are engaged in turn. Okay.
It's nice. It's situational, but it is nice. Yeah. Plus, you get +1 to charge and reroll the charge for 1 CP.
It's going to pretty much guarantee some charges there that you really want to get off. Then you got Darting Attacks, shooting or charge phase, Trinity's unit,
fallback shooting charge, huge.
Good. Then you got your Upper Downy one with Distance Tunnels. Nice.
Which is awesome. And an opponent's turn, 1 Tyranid or GSC unit can uppy downy. It's great. We love to uppy downy.
That's always
you can do it with the shooting unit. Now,
the scoring points.
Because of Vanguard Invader, there's one very fun thing that I want to talk about. And let me see where it is. Okay. So
that's a lot of
inside of the Vanguard Invader, there's something called a Tyrannocyte, right? And now a Tyrannocyte is a transport that deep strikes in turn 1. It can come in. Huh? And inside that Tyrannocyte, you can put a monster with 12 wounds or less. And a Winged Hive Tyrant has 10 wounds. You can have 3 Tyrannocytes and 3 Winged Hive Tyrants, and it's not 1,000 points, and put them in your GSC list. And deep strike in turn 1, 3 Winged Hive Tyrants. That's a fun one. That's a fun one to do. Some other stuff you can do. A lot of the Tyranid Vanguard units are lone off. The Death Leaper's in there. He's got lone off and fights first. Von Ryan's Leapers are fights first and infiltrate. A Neurolictor fights first, infiltrate, lone op. You have a lot of lone ops, so you get a lot of utility pieces out of the Tyranids. You can bring the one killy guy, or you can bring a lot of utility guys. You also get to bring in Gargoyles, our Vanguard Invader, and they shoot and scoot. So you can deep strike them in, shoot and scoot, uppy downy them, do it again, shoot and scoot.
Interesting.
There's a lot of tech pieces and some killy pieces here. You are still going to want to bring in some mining lasers, though, for anti-vehicle. You're still going to want to bring in some Ridge Runners, potentially, maybe a Goliath Rock Grinder. I think that the infiltrating Patriarch with the Can't Be Overwatch attachment or a truck full of hybrid Metaforce that can Overwatch attachment is a must bring. One of those two units is going to be really strong with that.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, I do think this is going to see competitive play. I don't think it is quite hammered. I think it's going to be loaded.
Yeah.
We're getting down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left.
We're almost there, boys.
6 left. We're almost there. If you stuck with us this long, get a life. But, no, we definitely appreciate it.
Yes.
And we're going on the 25th day of
Grotmas.
Grotmas.
I love this image you got. Where did you find
Look
this?
at this. I don't know if it's AI generated or this
It
chick
looks-
is a cosplayer out there,
Where
but
is this?
I've just been Googling. Also, I do not own any of the artwork used in this thing. I'm not going to monetize this video, so it should be fair use based on commentary. YouTube, we'll see what happens.
Is that how it works?
That's
I don't
how it
know.
works.
If
I
you
don't
know,
know.
if you made it in this art, or if you were a computer, let us know.
Let us
about
know.
that, I guess maybe.
But we just Googled images and put them in here. So Sisters Battle Army Rule, it's the dice. You replace them. It got a lot worse recently. You get half the faith dice you used to. You only get to roll a faith dice at the start of each battle round now instead of each turn, and only in every phase in which a sister squad dies. So every time a sister squad died.
So you die in the shooting phase. You
With-
get one.
you get-
even if multiple units die.
If your entire army is wiped in the shooting phase, you only
You
get
get
one miracle
one.
dice.
you get one, or the 5 days, or whatever.
So it kind of sucks
so
that
you're
way.
not getting as many miracle dice anymore. So making those ones count or making them better.
You're gonna have
It's gonna be very
a
important.
very. You might have 10 miracle dice throughout a game.
Travis and Catherine maybe useful making them 6s. Anyway, we got the attachment rule. It's righteous purpose. In your command phase, discard up to 3 miracle dice that you're probably not going to have. For each discarded one, you make a unit righteous. So when you make a unit righteous, you're going to get +1 move, +1 leadership. If you're a Battle Sister Squad, Celestin Sacrosanct, or Peregrine Warsuits, you get +1 to your ballistic skill and +1 to your
So
weapon skill.
that is really good. They might as well have just said you can only make sister squads, Celestian Sacrosanct squads, or Peregrine Warsuit squads righteous. Because if you don't use it, you're wasting your ability to do it.
Mhm.
You're wasting your very rare miracle dice to do it.
Very rare.
And you're doing it on you that doesn't need it. But it's so +1 blitz skill, +1 weapon skill on Peregrine Warsuits or Celestian Sacrosancts is amazing.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, you're gonna end up with a lot of turns where you don't even have 3 miracle dice. You're only gonna be able to do 1 or 2. And then that means that you don't get to use your miracle dice to summon for your rolls.
Right.
So it's just two miracle dice hungry of a detachment. If you are righteous, you get some better stratagem usage, which we'll go over in a second. And here are your enhancements.
You get some enhancements. You get the Triptych of Judgment, 15 points. This is model. You ignore modifiers. It's good if you're facing those.
It's
attacks.
good. Well, it doesn't ignore the damage one. I missaid that earlier, but it is good if you're facing something that's -1 to hit, or something that's -1 to wound if your strength's greater than their toughness.
So yeah, I mean, good if that happens, but
It's only 15 points, maybe.
maybe. You got the Mark of Devotion, so you got +1 for the attacks for the bearer's weapons. If you're righteous, you get +2 attacks and +1 damage.
But like, what is that good on in Sisters though? For 30 points,
Damn, that's a lot. I
a
really
non-named character that's worth taking that on for 30 points. I don't think there is one.
no.
There's no
Maybe
there's no
Canonus.
Canonus and Paragon Warsuit, right? It's just Morgan Ball.
Yeah,
So
you can't put maybe a jump pack Canonus
but
with the
she just
halberd.
has it's damage 1 though, right? Her power sword.
She's got
I
a
guess this
halberd.
makes it damage 2.
Yeah,
Maybe you put on a jump pack Canonus, but
not worth it.
Not worth 30
probably.
points.
That's a lot for 30 points.
Yeah.
Eye of the Oracle. You get precision on their weapons, and you gain a CP if they kill a character.
that one's cute.
It's cool.
Again, are they gonna kill a character even if they have precision?
I couldn't kill Rattlings with my Power Sisters one time, so I don't know if that's even gonna happen. Then you got Sanctified Amulet for 25 points. You get I like this
A
one
12
a
inch
lot.
bow with no deuce
That's
reserves.
what-
This is good. I don't
Okay.
think Sisters have this anywhere else.
They don't.
They could ally with agents, but it'd be a lot more than 12 points. or
No,
25
this
points
is
to do it,
definitely the
so-
best enhancement they have right now, at least in this attachment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
expensive.
the other 3 ones are kind of crap.
Those are, shit.
This is the only one you want.
This is the only one that's
Sanctified
pretty
Amulet.
good. So we move on to the stratagems. You got Shield of Denial for a CP. Any phase after any
It's a
unit.
6-up Feel No Pain and Mortal Wounds or a 5-up if righteous.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen it before. Why did they make you be righteous to get a 5-up? Everyone else gets the 5-up with no strings
It's
attached.
just that all of these have to have the CP, the Miracle
The
Dice.
miracle
using-
dice, and you're
to make
you're
it
not
actually
making it,
good.
You're not making any miracle
You're
dice.
not getting any of them anymore. This is definitely written before.
It was definitely written without the changes considered.
Yeah.
I hope
I think
that they would
this is
have.
like dead on
I would
arrival.
hope that they would have errata soon that just let you pick 3 without spending miracle dice.
Yeah.
That would make it a lot better.
Okay. Yeah. If
And
they
it
make
wouldn't
that,
even be busted. That would make it like mids.
yeah, it would make it tipsy. Anyway, moving on. Suffer not the unfaithful. Shooting your fight phase, righteous unit, pick lethals or sustain one.
It's good. It can be good. It's good on Paragon Warsuit. That's
you
righteous.
have to be righteous. I mean, if I'm using
You have to be righteous.
I'm pretty much only going to use it on the Paragon Warsuits.
On the Paragon Warsuits. And you're going to want to make 3 Paragon Warsuits righteous. I mean, Celestian Sacrosaints could be good.
Yeah.
But you're going to want to use them.
Tough, but
you're going to want to use them on Paragon Warsuits.
The Paragon Warsuits, they're going to be doing
until they're dead, you're going to want to use them on Paragon Warsuits.
Yeah. To the Heart of Heresy. Very nice name.
It's a nice name.
It's a nice name. Fight phase any unit, +1 strength, and you also get +1 AP.
If righteous.
So it would be good. It's good for the Paragon Warsuits. They have the highest strength.
What's the strength on the...
the War Mace is strength 12.
Okay, so that makes you wound big things on 3s.
13 strength, I believe.
What about the Sacrosaints? What's their melee strength?
I actually don't know. I don't have any of those
Let's
yet.
pull up this lesson Sacrosaints.
I can pull them up. Anyway, moving on. We got Bastion of Faith for 1 CP. In the fight phase, they sell Sacrosaints only.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it's really, if you like Sacrosaints, you're going to be wanting around the detachment. -1 on the hit, and the first unit is righteous. You can select the second Sacrosaints unit within 6 inches as well to get it. So it's a lot like at the Army of Faith one, where if you're within range of a jump pack model, you get those buffs as well. So expanding those auras around is kind of cool.
So the Celestian Sacrosaints are either sustain hits 1 at 3 attacks, strength 5, AP 2, damage 1, or lethal hits at 3 attacks, strength 4, AP 1, damage 2. So +1 AP can make that damage 2/1, strength 5, AP 2, +1 AP, +1 strength. That's pretty nice. That lets it punch into elite infantry a lot better.
Then you get Indefatigable Dedication, Moon Phase, any unit fall back and shoot. If righteous, you can fall back and charge.
Great for Paragon Warsuits. Great for righteous Paragon Warsuits.
Take more of Invol with them too.
They're good. +1 BS and +1 weapon skill is pretty much amazing for anybody.
Yeah.
The Sanctified Amulet enhancement is good. If you are able to consistently have 3 units righteous, then there's a lot of combos that can be good, but specifically with the Paragon Warsuits.
Yeah.
The bad is you'll never have enough Miracle Dice to do this. It was clearly written before they changed the Miracle Dice. All enhancements besides second element suck. The strats are kind of mids, especially if you're not righteous, and it's nowhere near being the best Sisters attachment.
I mean, after all the nerfs, we're going back to the index for.
We're going back to the index for Hall of Martyrs, and even I would say this even is less good than the nerf version of Flamebringers or whatever, and it's potentially less good than the Penitent Host right now.
I think Penitent Host is cool.
All right, so this one I think we're going to go sober.
No, absolutely.
It is better than Deathwatch, worse than Tyranid Warrior Bioforms. Yeah, well, maybe. You think it's buzzed? No, it's sober. If they change the Miracle Dice, we might be able to get it to tipsy or upper buzzed, but right now it's sober.
They need Miracle Dice to do it, and you're not getting very many.
You're not getting very many, so that means that
you need to save those essentially, for your charges,
you could maybe do 3 every turn, and then you just don't have Miracle Dice for anything else. So,
I suppose so. I mean, if you're unlucky, you keep rolling 1s.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. All
Sorry.
Right. What else we got?
It's not working right now.
The Blood Angels Angelic Inheritors. All right, so this one, it's all about Blood Angels characters
and beefing
up the generic characters. Thank you again. I found it on Google. If you made this artwork, you're great. I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
Very nice. I like that cherub.
Shitty Oath, and you can use not Dark Angels, you can use Blood Angels.
We copied and pasted it.
We did. The chapter rule, Legacy of the Angel. So you pick 2 of the buffs below, and then applies to all Adeptus Astartes character units in your army for the entire battle. You got Sanguinary Grace, Fallback, Shoot, and Charge. Good for Blood Angels. Carmine Wrath, reroll hits and wounds rolls 1. Good for Blood Angels.
Nice.
And their appointed hour, reroll advance and charge rolls.
Ooh.
Now, because you picked 2 for the entire game, you're probably just using Carmine Wrath and the appointed hour. Fallback, Shoot, and Charge you're probably not picking.
Yeah, not right.
Yeah, reroll advance and charge is great, and there's also some specific combos with the reroll charge that get very nice. And then reroll hits and wounds are good, especially because you have some elite units that can potentially be hitting on 2s anyway. Enhancements, Prescient Flash gives the unit Scout 6. That could be good.
Yeah.
Shoveling Visions, once per battle, the bear activates in the command phase, and it gives his unit the 3rd detachment rule. So if you do need to fall back and shoot and charge with this one unit, you can do it.
Wouldn't that be good on?
It would be good on anybody. I mean, anybody that would get stuck into combat, which is any Blood Angel unit. So they just once per game they can fall back and charge. Yeah.
I think that fights first.
Yeah.
Nice.
Blazing Icon, you can't be Overwatched. Great for a melee army.
Yeah, definitely.
We love it. Ordained Sacrifice on a 2+. The bear stands back up with 3 runes of mating the first time he dies. It's cute. Is it a must take at 25 points? Probably not.
It's a lot. for 25, I think.
Stratagems, Armor Contempt, of course. Why
Nice.
wouldn't it be here? It's always here. It's always with us. Focus
Always
Fury,
focus.
1 CP, fight phase. Any unit gets lethals, and if its character also gets lance, that's
Lance is
nice.
cool.
Lethals and lance is nice, but you know what's better? Lethals and sustained, and you don't have to be a character unit, which is a stratagem you have in the Liberator Assault group. It's a less good version of Liberator Assault group. This whole
Less
detachment it limits the buffs to character units, which it's easy enough to, put characters in all your infantry squads, although it costs
Right.
points.
Right.
But your dreadnoughts, your Brutalis dreadnoughts for Blood Angels, your Death, whatever they're called, Black Rage Boy dreadnoughts, what are they called?
Company.
Death Company dreadnoughts.
Can't
You're
forget
not
Death
getting
Company.
any of the buffs because you can't be a character.
Lamarties.
Strike Now for Glory. It's 1 CP probably. Shooting phase, and then you get Sustain 1. That could be cute on a Redemptor Dreadnought, or it could be cute on a Vindicator. It's probably not worth a CP. In the Shadow, Great Wings, 1 CP. Opponent shooting phase, that character selected, it gets 18-inch load up. That's good. You're a melee army. Someone shoot you across the map, they're not shooting anymore.
Yeah.
Onto the Burning Skies, end of opponent's turn. This one's really fun. It specifically has something really fun set in it. So any jump back unit can uppy downy if they're not engaged. Specifically, the Sanguinor is allowed to uppy downy while he's engaged.
Oh.
So the Sanguinor has that rule once per game. When you're charged, you can just pop the Sanguinor into the combat. He just appears from. So anytime you're charged, he appears. He has fight first. He's fighting. Maybe he doesn't get the unit. He's still engaged. 1 CP, he's back into the sky. Then I don't know. Another turn passes, then he rapidly agresses down. Then he's back into the sky after his next fight.
I love that.
It's amazing. He's just going up and down all game.
He is the goat.
It's freaking awesome. So this is, if you're a fan of the Sanguinor, you maybe should run this attachment. Otherwise, we'll get into it. So the good. Reroll hits and wounds of 1 is great for Sanguinor with Dante because they hit on 2s. Dante gets the +1 to hit. So they're just rerolling all their hit rolls in melee, Dante.
Yeah.
It's also a decent army-wide buff. Reroll charges is free and good for Blood Angels. Now, Dante, when he is deep striking in with Seminar Guard, gives a +1 to charge out of deep strike. So with a free reroll charge with no CP, they now have a 65.972 chance of getting it in, rolling for an 8 repeating.
We did the math hammer for that.
We did the math hammer for that one. That's pretty good. Can't be Overwatch enhancement's good for Blood Angels. Lance and Lethal strat's good for Blood Angels.
Definitely.
Can combine Sustain Shooting Strat with Oaths to make something a little bit spicy, but again, your Blood Angels, you don't care about shooting that much. Sanguinor using his Appear ability, although I will say supplementing your Blood Angels list with Vindicators is great, and that's the list I played against Noah with, is a list with 2 Vindicators and then a lot of big hard-hitting melee units, and he was able to set up some good scenarios with it. So maybe you would use it, but again, I think Liberator Assault Group is still better. The Sanguinor using his ability is sick, but the bad part, like I've been saying, is just flatly a worse version of the Liberator Assault Group.
He ran the Liberator Assault Group.
Yeah,
right?
the Liberator Assault Group, when you charge, it gives you +2 strength and +1 attack.
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty huge.
That's
and
huge.
They have an enhanced stratagem like the +1, the lethal and the lance, but it is +1. It's lethals or sustained, or lethals and sustained if you battle shock yourself.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting lethals and sustained with Death Company that by default reroll all hits in melee.
That's cool.
And they get +2 strength, so their power fists are strength 10. It's way better than this. Non-character units don't get the buffs in here, which it's easy enough to negate for infantry club. Like I said, the Liberator Assault Group applies to everything. You don't have to worry about bringing characters. It just applies to all Blood Angels units. This is one of those cases, and I think there's one later that's also kind of like this, the Black Templars one, where the Index Detachment or Liberator Assault Group is the redone version of the Coast Index Detachment. It's just this is literally just a worse version of the detachment that already exists.
Unfortunately.
So they try to be like, oh no, this was about the characters. The only thing that's cool is the Sanguinor. Everything else is just a worse version of something you already had access to.
Fluffy, but not competitive.
That being said, I don't think it's quite sober. I think we can do this one as buzzed.
We can do this one as buzzed.
Because it's got a good rule set. You can win some games with it, but it's not better than what you already have. All right, we have 4 detachments left. And on the 27th day of Grotmas, the Gobbo gave to me the Tau, if you pronounce it as it's spelled, auxiliary cadre. Now, the Tau rule, you got units, they can spot for other units, observer units, and that gives them +1 ballistic skill against the unit they're spotting. So they're spotting an enemy unit, they're syncing up with another unit that can see it. That unit gets +1 to shoot against this unit, but if they shoot anything else, it's -1 to hit instead of +1 to hit. And then if the observer unit, the one with the glass, is spotting, Has marker light. They also get ignore cover. Now, technically, the spotting units have to spot before they shoot, but that as a rule, I do not see being observed by many Tau players. I mean, it's complicated. It's kind of hard to track. It honestly does make a big difference, but pretty much everyone lets it slide because it's so impossible to keep track of.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? The detachment rule, auxiliary cadre. If crew investments can see a unit within 9 inches of that unit, other Tau units get +1 AP and shooting against that unit. That's pretty nice. Crew investments get 18-inch lone op if they're wholly within 6 inches and invisible to a friendly Tau unit who's not a crew investment. So it helps keep your crew investments alive if they're by you, but the buffs are when they're downfield and not by you. So it's a little bit of a contradiction there. It is a nice +1 AP is always nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Student Kayun, Kroot Shapers, you get to Deep Strike 3 Kroot Carnivore and Farstalker units. The good part about this is that that's cool. The bad part about this is that you're not going to be able to set up the 9-inch off a Deep Strike because you have to be outside of 9. So you could rapid ingress them and then move them up, but otherwise you're going to be waiting a turn to get your buff off with that. Admired Leader, 20 points. A non-Kroot model in the command phase. Select one Kroot or Vespid unit within 12 inches, and it gets Leadership 1 and OC 1. That could flip an objective if you need extra OC.
Yeah.
Fanatical Convert, Kroot model only. Their unit gets to use for the greater good, so usually Kroot models can't be spotted for. This lets a big Kroot unit get spotted for. Transponder to Lock Module. It's okay, Gromit. Walker with Deep Strike can do turn 1 Deep Strike within 12 inches of friendly Kroot or Vespid unit. That's nice. So this helps set up a big brick of battle suits with the turn 1 Deep Strike next to Kroot units that can infiltrate.
Yeah.
So that's very nice. That one's the must-take one. The good, extra AP is good. There is some play here with Kroot infiltrators going in turn 1, followed up by big units of Kroot scouting forward quickly, so you can have your first wave of buff, the infiltrators, then they die, but now you have big 20 bricks that have scouted forward. Now they're giving you your buffs. Transponder lock module for a Kroot infiltrator is nicely, and it can nicely stage up a battle squad suit in turn 1 to do turn 2 damage, which is great. Usually they have to wait until turn 3 or to get in the fight. Uppy Downy Vespids can help get guided fire strat off. So now the Vespids can go up and down to get one of those strats off. The guided fire strat was, I don't know. Anyway, the bad thing is you have to take a sizable chunk of Kroot and Vespids in order to not just have them die in the first 2 turns and lose all your buffs here, right?
Right.
And they're not kill units. So you're sacrificing a large portion of your army to make your kill units better. But by doing that, you're taking less kill units. So your kill output, it's going down, it's going up. It's a balancing act to do, and there is a lot of thought to get the buffs off. So with that,
sounds worse than the Kayun.
I don't know if it's as good as Kayun or not. I really don't know because Kayun's not that good. It's not that good. They have been struggling for a while now since they got rid of their cyclic ion blasters they had access to on the battle suits and index days. It's definitely buzzed. I mean, it's not sober. A skilled player could probably really do something nice with it. +1 AP is nice, but it's
we'll
a fine.
See what Matt can do with it.
Yeah, it's a fine line. It's a fine balancing act, and I don't think it'll have a very high. I don't think it's going to have like a 55% win rate. It'll probably be like 48, 49, 47 maybe, at best.
Look at this distribution now.
It's pretty awesome. If only all of these were going to be hammered, but I don't think any of them are. Then it'd be perfect.
Sorry.
Let's look at the last 3.
What we got left?
What do we got? All right.
Black Templars.
The Black Templars Wrathful Procession.
I always thought that Black Templars are really cool.
I did too. And you know why? Because they get shitty Osa moment, and you can take Black Templar keyword units. Amazing. The detachment rule, Zealous Lanes. At the start of the battle round, pick one of the abilities below to apply to all infantry and mounted units. So you can change this each battle round. +2 move and +1 to advance rolls. They're melee army, okay. +1 strength to melee. They're melee army, okay. 5+ invul against ranged. It's all right. It's not that great.
Good.
They have a 3 at base save anyway. So some of them have 2 at base save. 5 up invul against ranged. Against ranged only. I don't think you're going to be picking that one a lot.
Probably not. You got your enhancements. You got Pyrebrand. You got Black Templar Modern gives unit stealth. That's good. It's probably better than that part of the detachment rule.
Yeah.
You got Sacred Rage. Adeptus Stars model only. Once per battle, fights first. Ooh,
We know that can be very powerful. We see that in other detachments.
very good. We love that. This is a good Judiciary. The Terramon's Sensor makes enemy units in combat take battle shock with
Whatever.
whatever. Yeah. Benediction of Fury, Chaplain model, Barragus Dev Wounds. Flavorful,
Flavorful. It's 10 points. It's not that
but
great.
if you have
They
an
don't
extra
have
10 points,
We're talking 4 or 5 attacks depending on your chaplain with no anti-keyword.
Chaplains are cool, though.
They are indeed.
Stratagems, Fueled by Faith, you got 1 CP, 5 field of pains and mortal wounds.
It exists. Sometimes you use it.
AOC, got
Of course,
it.
got it.
Cascade the Demagogues. That's a fun one to say. Fight phase, any unit gets precision.
That's simple and it's good. You could have, a big unit with a lot of attacks just getting you assassinate easy peasy.
Yeah, exactly. If you get assassinate, you'll probably get it with
Or if
that
you're
one.
fighting a unit like where the character really buffs the shit out of them, like a
Necrons.
Technomancer or something.
Exactly.
He's out of there.
Done.
Yeah.
Got him. Let's see. Brute Fervor, melee, any unit, reroll hit rolls of 1 and ignore modifiers. So
It's your weapon skill, hit roll, and wound roll.
yeah. So
That's
good.
nice. If you're fighting something that has -1 to hit in combat, or you're fighting
Yeah.
something that has the -1 strength, or toughness shit.
I mean, as we've seen, a lot of units can get those.
Yeah, so
with debuffs.
we're ignoring that.
Ignoring those, yeah. Just a straight up buff to your damage input. Relentless Momentum, 1 CP, fight phase. Any unit increases engage range up to 3 inches.
So this is interesting. Instead of increasing your pile, it's increasing your engagement range.
Yeah.
So you have a bad charge. Instead of gaining the extra movement, you literally can just fight 3 inches now.
So this attachment is made for. It's made for taking all those, all the infantry.
Sword Brethren, the Novitiate or whatever they're called, all that
Just,
bullshit.
You know, taking as many bodies as possible, which I think is really cool.
It
Especially
is cool.
for Templars, that's what they're kind of their thing. They're going on a crusade. They have
So
lots of bodies.
I have a big problem with it that I'll hop on the next slide. Let's talk about the last stratagem.
We got Voice of Devotion for 1 speed. In command phase, change the detachment rule for one of your units.
So you don't get both like some of the other ones we've seen, but you get to change it. So if you had move and advance rolls, you can now change it to strength and melee.
Yeah, so if you want to switch it, if you're winning the melee, you can do that. But
you can do that.
CP,
read the good, and then I'll go into the bad.
Yeah, so we got the good. The detachment buffs are good. They're fine. They're all positives. Once per game, fights first is a great enhancement. Fights first is really good. There's ways to get around fights first with like consolidations and pylons and things like that.
There is.
So if you're like skilled at the game, you can get around those sort of things.
It's still powerful though.
Still
it's not the easiest thing to get around.
Generally, it's gonna be a really tough, good thing for melee armies. The whole unit getting from precision is really
insane.
Good.
It's insane.
Really
you're killing any character with a big unit. It's because you have a heroic challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just your character. And now you have this, which is just your whole squad is just picking on that character.
Epic challenge, epic something.
Yeah, epic challenge.
Like
that's just one character versus one character.
Is this character versus
this is your whole maximum size Sword Brother squad led by Grimaldus against one character.
Brute Fervor, it can be good against units that you're getting those debuffs against, which is a lot of them as we've been seeing. That Relentless Momentum is cool. It's definitely like a unique strat where we're getting that extra engagement range.
Yeah, it's almost worse though than the ones that let you pile in 6 because then you get the movement too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you still get that shitty charge. Okay,
yeah,
more
you're
than
stuck
fight,
there. You can fight, but now you're still stuck back there.
You're not moving.
Yeah,
it's almost worse.
Yeah, and then my big bone to pick with this, and it's more glaring here honestly than it is in the Blanders one. But this, again, is a worse version of the Black Templars attachment they already have. Mm-hmm. So the attachment they already have, they pick one of these for the entire game. Lethals in melee, Sustain 1 in melee, 6+ army-wide Feel No Pain, or 4-up Invul to Psychic and Anti-Psychic 4+ in melee. So the Psychic one's very specific. Most of the time you're picking lethals so that you can damage into vehicles. If you're playing something without vehicles, you pick Sustained. 6+ Feel No Pain is way better than a 5+ Invul for an army-wide with 3+ base saves. It's just better. I mean, lethal hits is better than +1 strength. Sustain hits is honestly probably better than +1 strength. The +2 move and +1 to advance rolls is nice.
Like +1 strength can either be like, okay, you get +1 to the ruin roll, or
but you don't. You just get +1 strength. So sometimes it doesn't even matter.
No, yeah. I mean, it's either you're getting that or it's doing nothing. Like, it is a potential to do nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, +1 strength. It's like
they try to make so the Blinders one they were like
Right.
it's all about characters. This one they're trying to make it like it's all about chaplains, but they didn't even go all in on it. Like the enhancements aren't locked to chaplains. Like
Right.
the strategies aren't chaplains. It's weird. It's weird to try to say that this is different enough from the already good melee focused Black Templars detachment to be like make this and be like, oh yeah, this is different because it's melee, but we're calling them litanies. Like it's like whatever. You could play it if you want. It's literally a worse version of the other Black Templars attachment. I'd put it sober.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that hype to me, unfortunately.
Then we go into the final two, and this second to last one it's a really good one for an army that's been struggling for most of the edition, and it is the World Eaters, Vessels of Wrath. And look at this OG artwork. Isn't that sick?
That is pretty epic.
Don't sue me, Games Workshop. I think this is the Games Workshop. Don't sue me.
Look at him.
I'm not monetizing the video.
Look at that bolter.
Yeah, he's sick.
That is epic. Look at that.
All right, the World Eaters Army roll, Blessing is Khorne. You roll 8d6, the blessed number, of course, at the start of your each battle round, and then you can pick buffs to do based on what you roll. So you can spend them as many ways as you can to get as many as you can fit in. There's no limit, but you only have 8 dice to do it, and once you spend it, you can't use that dice again.
Ooh.
Any double +2 to movement, any double feeling of pain 6+, or feeling of pain 5+. They already have 6. Like Exalted 8 have a 6+ innately, so they improve to a 5+. Double 3+, so 2, 3s, 4s, or 5s, or 6s. You can sustain 1 in melee. Double 4+, or any triple, 4-up fight on death. Double 5+, or any triple, lethals in melee, or a double 6 or triple 4+, advance and charge. So advance and charge is the best one. All of them are pretty good. Depending on your dice roll, you could maybe get 3 of them if it really works out for you. A lot of times
that is really cool.
That's the army rule. You didn't know that was the army rule?
I did not know that.
Yep, that's the World Eaters army rule.
I've not played World Eaters this edition, so that is very cool.
All right, the detachment rule, Wrath of Khorne. So this is where it gets spicy. This is now we're in the detachment.
I see. So at the start of each battle round, select 3 eligible models to be Vessels of Wrath for the battle round. Eligible units are World Eater characters, so they're non-epic heroes. 8-bound champion, any of the champions.
Yeah, so the champions are like the sergeants in the squad. So you can pick a character, or you can pick an 8-bound sergeant, Exalted 8-bound sergeant, Khorne Berserker sergeant, or a World Eaters Terminator sergeant, essentially.
Nice. Then select 1 Khorne blessing that's not active for your army. Vessel or Wrath units get that blessing in addition to your active blessings.
So that is huge.
Yeah.
Because it's putting more control in the World Eaters players' hands than they've had all edition. They've just been rolling these dice and hoping and praying for advance and charge. And whether they get it or not, you don't know. Now, no matter what, 3 of your units are going to have advance and charge every turn. So it's very, very spicy. And if you already roll advance and charge, now you can play around with, okay, well, for these 3 units, now we can that with sustained hits. Now we can go with +2 to advance rolls and get advance and charge, Now it's really getting a lot of control and make it more of a tactical game about World Eaters, whereas before, more so than other armies, a lot was just up to the dice and how that Blessings of Khorne roll went.
Not as fun.
Not as fun. What do you mean not as fun?
Well, not as fun being so random.
It's too random. It's too random. It's like your stage.
I'm not saying random isn't fun. It's fun in some cases.
Yeah, but it was too much. You really had no control. You're planning. Okay, hopefully I get advance and charge next turn. I'm gonna keep my unit safe this turn. It's turn 1, and turn 2 I'm gonna need advance and charge to get my wave in. You don't get it, and then you're off all the objectives. You miss out on a whole turn of primary. You don't get your charge in, or you're stuck out in the wind. This way, you can reliably stage 3 units and give them advance and charge no matter what, and that is so huge for World Eaters. Enhancements, go ahead.
You get Arch Slaughter. Bear gets +1 AP in melee, and while they're a vessel, you get +1 damage.
Potentially spicy on a Lord on Juggernaut or a Demon Prince. Give it to a Demon Prince too.
What damage do they do? 2 up to 3 or 4?
I'll look it up. Continue with the enhancements.
The Vox Diabolus, 20 points. If Bear's unit destroys an enemy unit in melee, you gain 1 CP on a 4-up or a 3-up if currently a Vessel Wrath. So good for them getting more CP.
CP.
More CP is always good. And, 50 or more % chance of that happening. I don't think they have any other way to gain more than 1 CP.
I don't think they do.
That could be a good take if you have the points available. After that, we have the Avenger's Crown. You got 15 points, 2-up fight on death for the bear. It's like be really good for
2-up is amazing. Again, good on a Demon Prince, good on a Lord on Juggernaut.
Anything that hits super hard, that might be a really good auto take.
It's only 15 points.
And most of the time it's going to go off unless they're super lucky. In Gateway to Glory, 10 points. Demon Prince or Lord on Jug?
Yep, Lord on Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. Can move and charge through walls. Ooh.
So that's sick, and it's interesting here that it's an enhancement he gets all the time instead of something he has to spend a CP on. So 10 points, it's probably pretty spicy. Now, going back to Arch Slaughter, so the Lord on Juggernaut base stats for his melee weapons, the Exalted Chainblade is Strength 6, AP 1, Damage 2. So that goes up to Strength 6, AP 2, Damage 3. It's a Terminator killer. His Bladed Horn is Strength 6, AP 1, Damage 2. So that goes up to Strength 6, AP 2, Damage 3. So he gets a lot better at killing the elite melee of the world.
That'd be really good.
The World Eater's Demon Prince, his strike goes from Strength 10, AP 2, Damage 3 to Strength 11, AP 3, Damage 4.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. And then his sweep, I still don't know if you would take the sweep, but it goes from Strength 8, AP 0, Damage 1 to Strength 8, AP 1, Damage 2. Maybe you would now take the sweep into like normal Marines or something because it's Damage 2. But
yeah, the killing squad.
I think specifically it'd be good on the Lord of the Jug. It does make that Demon Prince kill Rhinos pretty easily.
Yeah. On the strats, you got Aspire to Infamy. 5-phase Berserkers or Jackals within 8 inches of Royal Dealer's character, +1 strength and +1 AP for non-character modules.
That's good.
Models.
We love it. It's huge. Berserkers all have chain swords, right?
Okay.
So making their chain sword strength 5 and AP 1 is huge.
Nice.
It is huge for them.
Overshadowed by none. 5-phase Infantry Mounted or Demon Prince reroll wounds against monsters or vehicle. Ooh.
That's nice. Again, we've got that Demon Prince that's got a strength 11 weapon now. Now he's rerolling all wounds against something big.
Nice. Gory Dedication. 5-phase World Eater's unit kills an enemy unit within melee or on an objective.
Sticky.
And now
we saw the same thing with Khorne Demons. It's part of their army rule. You're killing something, it's sticky.
Sticky.
The blood is sticky.
Punish the Craven. Opponent's movement phase. Force a desperate escape. If your unit is a Vestal Wrath, -1.
So that's good. This is probably the best Desperate Escape one because the other ones are like if they're battle shot. This one, if you are a Vestal Wrath, their models are dying on 3s.
Nice.
That's good.
It's like definitely the best one of those. Meet force with force. Opponent's shooting phase after they shot Infantry Mounted or Demon Prince that took some damage. D6 Blood Surge plus Berserkers and Vow can reroll the D6. Okay, so they're moving.
Yeah. So that they do a blood surge, and they can the Berserkers can do this innately as part of their data sheet rule, and when they do it, they can engage a unit.
Right.
So this lets them potentially engage it, and if you're Berserkers, or I forget what VOW meant, but you can reroll the
D6. Brazen Contempt for 1 CP. Opponent shooting phase targeting unit if the
-1 to wound. Great, we love it. It's a good defensive
strat.
One. Better than armor.
It's a good one.
Better than Armor of Contempt. Chickens Workshop. Does every Space Marine detachment need Armor of Contempt? Maybe one can get this instead.
Yeah, honestly, this one's kind of better.
It is better, especially because Armor of Contempt just lasts for one activation now, and these still last for the whole phase.
Why did they make it worse?
All the other defensive ones last for the whole phase.
Oh no, you get it for 1 unit. I'm like, okay,
yeah, whatever.
Sure.
All right, the good is the armor rule is extremely powerful. It's easier to have some consistency when you can pick one of your blessings to give to your Vessels of Wrath. Oh, VOW is Vessels of Wrath. So
that's what it was.
Boom.
Like, okay.
Bing, bang, boom. We're back. It's been a long session. we might split this up into 2 videos for y'all. We're doing this all in one night.
It's basically just playing a game of Warhammer.
It's just longer than playing a game of Warhammer.
Yeah, probably.
This is like when we were learning how to play Warhammer. The strats are a lot better in this attachment. A lot of times, when I was playing against roleplay players, I would notice they'd have a lot of CP throughout the game because they didn't have good strats in their attachment. And this attachment, you're definitely going to be spending for some of these strats. Lord on Jug and Demon Prince moving through walls is nice. Plus strength, plus 1 AP is huge for Berserkers. Reroll all wounds against monster vehicles. Really helps them hit up without having to take Anger on Royal Lotus Skulls. I still think you do have to take Anger on in a World Eaters list. Yeah. I don't think this is good enough to the point where you don't have to take Anger on yet. But I do think it helps your army have more consistent damage and more consistent strategy overall than just, I hope I can advance and charge, move forward. I hope I can advance and charge, move forward. Now you can plan some things out.
Or are there any like chaos lists that you wouldn't take the Demon Primarch with?
What's it called? Mortarian's not auto take.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mortarian's not auto take. And that's it. That's just the 2, right? And then we're getting Fulgrim soon.
Fulgrim looks pretty cool.
So it looks pretty sick. We'll do a video of that when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely sweet.
The other detachment was you get +1 strength and attack. That hurts a little bit, but I mean I still think this one's better. So that being said, where do we rank it? It's not going to be hammered. It's not going to be hammered. I don't know if it's loaded or if it's tipsy. I think so. Let's look what we got. Is it better than Blood Legion? I don't know if it's better than the Khorne Blood Legion. It's definitely worse than Final Day.
Tipsy.
You're thinking tipsy?
Yeah.
Bridgehead Strike. It's all. Yeah, I think we got to put it tipsy. If Blood Legion's tipsy, this has to be tipsy. And now Flyblown Host looks like it really belongs in Buzz. See, we screwed up.
Dang.
Dang. We gotta keep it. We've been changing too much. Fuck you, Flyblown Host. You fucked our whole system.
You kind of did for being number one.
You son of a bitch with your turn one, going first, going second bullshit.
Well, it makes sense. It's gonna be in 50%.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it does. All right, and going into the last one, it's been a long ride.
We're there.
It's been a long journey.
We made it.
On the 30th day of Grotmas. I know I saw this one. This one was from Goonhammer. Goonhammer, please don't sue us or get the video tagged. The Space Wolves.
Hilarious.
I know it is. Keanu did. The Space Wolves champion of Fenris.
Oh, man.
All right. Let's surprise. Shitty moment. You can use Space Wolves. Great.
We hate the Space Wolves. At least I do.
Why? Because they're furries?
Oh, no, because Dark Heroes hate Space Wolves.
Oh, Grey Knights hate Space Wolves too.
Oh, good. We're in agreement.
Fuck you guys.
They suck.
The Great Wolf watches. End of your opponent's charge. This is actually a really good detachment rule. End of your opponent's charge phase, all infantry and walkers get to heroically intervene for free within 3 inches.
Oh, that is cool.
So you charge one. You've charged my unit of 5 turns, then you can kill it. Great. Oh, what's that over there? Is that Murder Fang standing within 3 inches? He's in. Oh, what about over here? Is that 10 other Terminators within 3 inches? They're in. Oh, what's this? Bjorn the Fell-Handed with a steel chair 3 inches away? It's like, if you are a skilled Space Wolf player and you just keep your units bunched up, like, charging you is just suicide. You know?
Why would you do it?
Why would
like,
you?
Hey, you charge us, we're all in there.
We're
it's
all
a party
in.
now.
We're all in. It's so good.
And Terminators get
Enter the Velocity. That's nice. We've seen this in like if you break Darnath Lysander and then that other one. You know, it's nice to be able to field Terminators and hold objectives at the same time.
That is cool. You got some enhancements. You got Wolves Wisdom for 30 points. You got Infantry Model Bears Unit, get 6
So instead of doing the 3, they get the full 6 inch.
Nice. Then you got Terminator Model, First Desperate Escape. Cool. And their fallback shoot and charge 1, and then a reroll charge.
All good.
All good. You got a Lethal there's a Sustained 1. We like that one.
Can you use it in shooting or fight phase?
AOC,
Look.
wow,
Look.
so
Armor Gun 10.
creative.
Thanks,
Can we
Games
get some more
Workshop.
creatives? You know, they only have to do 5 out of 6 of them.
How many times do you think that we have the words Armor of Contempt in this document? A lot.
5,
It's
maybe.
bullshit.
Too many.
Games
Come on.
Workshop. I don't know why you guys are just like
And they
fucking
made it
Space Marine
worse.
players so hard, and you made it worse.
You made it worse. Like, at least
Like
make it like
you guys,
real
this
fucking
edition,
cool.
you were like, okay, oh, you've spent your whole life collecting cool space vampires. Great. Guess what? Shitty Oaths a moment.
I'm fine.
You like Space Marines, but you want them to be like werewolves. Great. You know what you get? You get Shitty Oaths a moment.
I'm fine.
Your whole thing is that you hate psychers and you're an intolerant piece of shit. And what does that say about you as a person? I don't know. Black Templar is great. Shitty Oaths a moment. You like to wear hoods and do mysterious things. And you know what?
You like torturing people.
You know what really says we're mysterious? We have a million secrets. We're all about keeping secrets and hiding the truth from getting to the light. Nothing says that like Shitty Oaths a moment.
Yes. That is the theme of this edition. If you like Space Marines, I'm sorry. It's not working.
You better just like Ultramarines.
You're
like, you play.
Hey, Space Marines
like,
came out. You like
Titus? Yeah. Basically,
cool.
it's like a kid walking up to Games Workshop. I like the Dark Angels. And then he's like, "Oh, you like Ultramarines? Well, son, I know a thing or two about Ultramarines."
Anyways, back to our furry boys.
Runes of the Claiming.
Command phase. You get sticky. Cool.
Good.
Chilling Howl. Dude, Battle Shock one. Dude, fuck this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Your opponent's shooting phase. Oh, you get stealth.
Get stealth. Yay. We
Wow.
like that one.
Look,
there's an uppy downy one for Terminators.
But you don't even get cover.
Yeah, you just get stealth in this one. What? But the last one's good. End of opponent's fight phase, uppy downy for Terminators. That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
Dude, it's kind of
The 3-inch heroic intervention is pretty sweet though for everyone.
Yeah,
Army-wide heroic
that is
intervention.
cool.
That part, like the stratagems are kind of mids, but the army rule is like really good.
That's their army rule.
That's their detachment rule. Yeah.
Oh, is it a detachment rule?
The army rule is Shigeo's a moment.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I forgot. Sorry, it's so bad. I
So
tried to block it out.
the strats are all usable. They're just not like super great.
Termies get OC2. That's not
Skirmishes OC2 is nice. Really, they want you to run like all Termies and then your Murder Fang and your Bjorn and like a Brutalis Dreadnought. And just like maybe you don't have that much shooting, but you have a lot of mobility because you can uppy down your Terminators now.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything ever touches you, you're getting 4 other units in on it, and that's fucking nuts.
That's pretty cool.
So if you're playing against a melee army, you really have a big advantage. If you're playing against a shooting army, you have a stealth stratagem.
Right.
So that's better than just having armor contempt. You have stealth and armor contempt, so it is
and
good.
It's very easy to cover anyway.
And you got a lot of characters who have like rights of battle in the Space Marine Terminators thing. So you can potentially stealth 2 units because you stealth the first one and then you use rights of battle on the second stealth.
Oh, for a captain?
Oh no, you can't do that anymore, but you just get it for free. So yeah, you can't. You can't do it unless it specifically names it as ability. So if he was like, I get to use, if his ability said, I get to use Stalking Wolves once per turn for free, no matter what, then you could do it twice. But because he says, I get to use a stratagem for free, it's not the with the errata. It's now I get to use a stratagem at -1 CP cost. And only if someone else hasn't used it. That's what it really is now for Rights of Battle.
Oh, so you can't use it again.
You can't double use it unless it specifically says it. Like a unit that says, I get to Overwatch for free, you can still double use that. But just the generic one, you can't double use anymore. That being said, that's the last of that. And what are we going to say about it? Tipsy? It's not buzzed, it's tipsy.
Yeah, I'll put it tipsy.
We'll put it tipsy. And that's
it.
Is our 2024 Drunk Bolter Grotmas special. Thanks for hanging out with us, Gromit. If you liked the content, definitely like and subscribe. We'll be posting this on YouTube and also on Spotify and try to provide links to everything. We might even cut it up and do some shorts on TikTok.
We'll take the best parts.
We'll take the best parts. And then, our next podcast we're going to do is going to be a lot shorter than this. So if you made it to the end, thanks for bearing with us. We're just going to be reviewing just the new Imperial Guard Codex, 5 detachments instead of 30.
It'll be a lot faster.
It'll be a lot faster. It might be 4 hours. It might be 4.5 hours.
Maybe 4 hours.
And again, I've been Grandmaster Logger.
This is Imperial IPAgent.
Imperial IPAgent. And we are Drunk Bolter. You nerds have a good night.